Yo, my mic's been muted this whole freaking time and no one told me. Oh, I'm an idiot. Yo. Hello. Hi, everyone. Hi, chat. Dude, chat, no one? Okay. Hi, Twitter guy. Yo, chat. What does that mean, bro? Yo, what does Twitter guy mean? Am I just a Twitter guy nowadays, chat? Is that this all I am to you guys? A Twitter guy? Come on now. Come on now. Chat, good morning, everyone. It is 11 a.m. for me, and I've never seen this early before. And it's been like a month since I've seen this early. Ain't that crazy? Hi, Caitlin. Hi, Neon. Hi, Comper. Hi, Swagger. Hi, Mish. Hi, Orbit. Hi, Neon. Hi, Mortal. Hi, T. Hi, Mortal. Wait, I said like Mortal 3 times. Hi, Izume. Hi, Sally. Hi, Sailor. Hi, Rowan. Hi, Mr. Woo Woo. Hello. Welcome, guys. Yo, I kind of like Billie Eilish. I'm not going to lie. I ain't going to lie, chat. Billie Eilish kind of crazy. What's up, Joker? What's up, Glitch? Chat, let me go get some water real quick. I want everyone. No. Turbo Piggy said for me to say it. Dude, this Turbo Piggy guy is crazy. This Turbo Piggy is crazy. He actually just followed me on Twitter too. So, bro's fake. Bro's fake. Chat, listen. I am gonna put up predictions. Will I get top 8? Yes or no? Keep in mind, this is my first ever event. Ismay giving us up. Thank you, Ismay. Wait, how was there already? Oh, we've come so far. What the halfway?
Underscore 340.
Hey, hey. I thought. Okay, okay. I'm going all in on yes. Don't let me down. Okay, I'm scared now. Chat, listen. We have been I've seen a lot of people make predictions on this event. I have been getting no, not even top 11, like bottom 11. Chat, why is music depressing? Oh, I got you. Okay, this is even worse. Hold on. Let me hold. There you go, better. Yes. Wait, why is it this is the song? No, this isn't the song. This is the song. This is the song. This isn't the this is the song. There you go. Chat, as I was saying, I'm gonna want to be top 8, top 9, top 10, top 11. Okay, top 11 and I'm happy. Bottom 11 and I'll go bald. No, I'm not going bald. What event is this? Is it the one with a lot of minions like MC? Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It's me, Boosfer, insaneorbitzz, and Potato Pie. That's our team. Yep. The event starts in 1 hour, but me and Boosfer are gonna pre-practice before the event. So yeah. Yeah. Let me see. Yep. Okay. Cool. I gotta make sure 10 minutes. Okay, chat. We gotta make sure that you're going bald. No, I'm not gonna go bald. Only for like 400 subs I'll go bald, but that's it. No. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Low key though. Chat, low key though, I do need a haircut. Should I go bald? Chat, honest thoughts. Should I go bald? Like low key? Nah. Like 1,000 I'll go bald. Nah, not even. Wait. 2,000 I'll go bald. Yeah, 2,000 subs. Yeah. Nah, I'm not gonna go bald, bro. Dude, if I go bald, y'all gonna make fun of me, bro. Nah, I ain't gonna go bald. I ain't gonna go bald. Will Qndres get top 11 of this event? Yes? No. I'll give you guys like 30 minutes to put in your book because you know the event doesn't start like in another hour. So chat, y'all stop putting your predictions in. Let me call Boosfer real quick. All right, chat. 100 bucks. He says hello. Watch. Or he just doesn't answer me. Okay. Yo, let me tell you guys about this fake Boosfer guy. Yo, he is not answering, bruh. Okay, this has to be crazy, right? Wait, this is crazy. This guy's not answering. Holy shit, y'all going all in, bruh. Chill out. Hi, VO. Yo, I miss you guys. Holy shit. Wait, why is everyone here all of a sudden? What the hell? Yo, chat, why is everyone here? Everyone's literally here. What's the Fritos here? What's up, everyone? Oh my god. Yo. Nope, he's not here yet. He is not here yet. We are supposed to be practicing and he's not here. It's a weekend. True, it is a weekend. And people didn't start school. You're right. Yo, why is my Minecraft loading, bruh? No way, it's crashed, right? No, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. We're good.
Hello?
Hello?
I farted.
Okay,
I mean,
I'm streaming, dude.
actually?
Yes, dude, I'm streaming. Everyone just heard you say you farted, bruh.
I didn't say that.
Dude, everyone in chat just heard you say you farted, bruh.
Wait. You didn't have a prediction with your chat what I would say when I joined?
Yeah, I did, pretty much. I said it.
No.
Will you say hello? Wait, get on MCPVP Club. 1v1 me.
MCPVP is nuts, bitch.
MCPVP my nuts, bozo head.
Only if we are both doing it
Why
blindfolded.
are you eating a yogurt? I heard that. What
I'm
flavor
not eating yogurt. You know what I'm eating? I'm eating the most diabolical thing known to
Peanuts.
man that I enjoy.
Pickles.
But I don't think you. I think you would. When you hear this mix, you're gonna throw up.
Typical Danish
So it's
lunch.
no, nothing like that.
Dinner.
It's a can of.
Ew, sardines.
Corn?
They're fucking disgusting. Oh,
No,
whatever.
no. It's a can of corn.
Okay, yeah. Okay, I've done
A
that
packet
before.
of. Wait, what is this exactly?
Well, I kind of.
It's like a packet of ham, like cut up ham pieces.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then it's pineapple, and it's just
Yo,
that. I just
what
mixed that. It's a
the
can of pineapple.
What the
I just mixed it
are
and
you
eat it.
eating, bro?
It has fiber. It has some vitamins from the pineapple and fruit. It has some sugar. It has some energy, and it has protein from the ham. What can I say, dude? Outplaying. It's It's all the best parts of pineapple pizza, but without the downsides. You know.
pineapple pizza though goes kind of crazy.
It does. So this is the best parts of pineapple pizza.
Yo, you know what else was fun?
I am not capping, by the way. Next time I eat it, I will take a picture and post it on Twitter. I am not capping.
Yo.
I
By the way,
eat that.
did you see what I have to do if I don't get top 8?
What was the deal?
I have to kiss your forehead.
Yeah, we're boosting you to top 8. You're not touching my forehead.
forehead.
But you know, you're not gonna place above me, so it's like, you know.
Okay, well, yeah, exactly, because you're gonna get 8th and I get 7th. Let's
No.
go!
No, I said you're not placing above me, which means that I'm. Why do you have number 1 in the left corner?
That's how many subs I have so far this stream. That's my sub count.
Oh, I thought you were like predicting your placement in the event. It was just like cringe, dude.
No,
That's cringe, bro.
No, I would never do that. If I did, I would.
By the way, I
literally be
beat
second.
you were there. By the way, I beat the 2 final bosses of Lies of P today. You
I
were
saw
there.
that.
You
Yeah,
were there.
I saw that.
Yeah,
Wait,
I'm crazy, dude.
Yo, so do you like my skin?
No.
I'm literally just
Are you
fucking
wearing my?
orange.
Are you wearing? Yeah, they made me. I thought you were
Let's
wearing
go,
my skin
we're
for a
both
second.
Orange.
Fuck.
It's me. It's
Okay,
me.
let
Hi,
me.
advanced. Yo, so like, okay, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
What the fuck are these team skins? Okay, I saw our team. Yeah, our team is like orange, and our team's dark orange, dude. We're like a light orange, bruh. Like no troll. Like you what? Yo, who made these skins, dude?
Yo, we got them commissioned. I think insaneorbitzz asked for those skins. Yo, don't diss them, bro.
Chat,
They're never gonna make
anyone,
skins again.
Wait, watch it. Yo, chat. Anyone in chat want to make us a quick fire team skin? Thoughts?
Yo, don't diss the
Dude, I'm
skin
fucking
maker. These
naked.
skins are fire,
I'm
dude.
naked,
Yeah.
bruh.
Alright, let me
I'm
log on
literally
with my
orange
skin.
naked.
Give me a second.
Yo, I've seen other people make skins for other people. Like even if they're naked, dude, they get like this crazy like. Let's
Okay,
just say,
dude,
like,
our skins are
blueberries on their skin,
fire.
bro. I get a
Yeah, but okay,
It's
but if
orange,
somebody,
bruh.
but if somebody makes a skin for you, you don't diss it, right?
Oh wow. Oh wow. You know what? You're right. Chat, I love this skin. Yo,
You just be
chat,
thankful
honest,
that
yo.
you even have a skin, you know?
Watch, look, I'll even let my chat vote. Chat, put a 1 in chat if you guys like the skin. Be honest, but be honest. Watch.
Your chat's gonna be nicer than you. They're
I
at
know, they
least gonna
probably
say
are.
that they like
Yep,
the skin.
Yep, there you go. Just 1. Yep.
Exactly. See, your chat is your chat is a
Yep.
are just properly educated human beings, unlike you. You probably grew up in a steakhouse or something, dude.
Okay. Yo, that's crazy.
Like
Yo,
where Gordon Ramsay just
that's
disses
dead,
everything
that's
all
dead.
around.
That's literally dead. Also, listen. You know, just saying, but like, you think Dad would be down to join the MC Mayhem? I think he would. I think he'll sweat.
I don't think Kier or Dev want to
Nah.
join a Minecraft event.
No, they do. They trust.
They don't.
Do.
They don't.
No,
They don't.
100%. 100%. If I
Nah.
tell them that there's money on the line, like $3 million, they'll say
Dude,
yes.
you know what? I bet you that Dev hasn't touched Minecraft,
That's
or
true.
better yet, a
His
PC
PC,
game in
yeah.
months.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll be honest.
Dev definitely hasn't. Dude, Dev definitely hasn't logged on Minecraft in like years.
No.
And then here, maybe to like check out some plugins
Do you
or
know what's
something. I don't
crazy?
know.
He asked me if I wanted to play CS:GO when he was back.
Oh my god! Wait. He probably opened some crates as well. Did you know that CS:GO earned $40 million in the first 24 hours of just
Wait, that's light though. That's light for
openings?
you. That's like
No,
your
but
schedule.
like, how addicted are people to gambling that they're opening 40 million worth of in the first 24 hours? That's crazy. To me.
Chat, if I gave you guys 20 crates and one of them was worth $1 million, who would open them for $5 each? Everyone would, bro. If one knife.
Okay, but that's not how the crates work, is it? Nobody has opened anything that's worth $1 million.
I mean, yeah. I mean, not 1 million, but like 300,000. Yeah. That's a dragon.
Somebody has opened that. Somebody has opened that.
Someone has opened that. Yeah. Someone has bought.
No, I mean in CS2. In CS2.
Oh,
in CS2.
Well,
I know people have opened it in CS:GO, but like in CS2,
wait, hop on.
it's probably not been a. Okay. Let me hop on. Let me just change my skin first.
Bet. Get Bobble up, but it's the event's already like what's it called?
Bubble's not big enough for this event.
Bubble's
Come on
not big
now.
enough. Bubble's not big enough.
Bubble's irrelevant. Bubble's not relevant enough. You know, he's not as relevant as the Qndres.
Yeah, exactly. The almost 1,000 subs away YouTuber. Chat, which I should mention, if you guys have not subbed already, go sub to my YouTube channel, please. I'm like 30 away from 29,000.
Dude, this sounds like your video. Oh my god, how did you go from 1 sub to 0 subs?
Yo,
he just lost a sub, bro. Somebody just refunded. Somebody just refunded.
No.
That was me, by the way. I refunded.
Oh. Yeah, that's
fuck you.
Fuck you. What the fuck?
Fuck you,
hey,
dude.
Fuck you, asshole.
Fuck.
Wait, watch this. Ready? I'm gonna make it 300 or 150. Watch. Ready? Watch. I'm gonna. Oh my god, 100.
Everybody unsub. I want to see that number going negative.
No.
Somebody unsub. I want to see that.
Face cam. I'm not doing face cam. Actually, I'll go face cam for like what's a good number? 200. Fine.
1.
No. Wait, I'm not. Dude, I have my face. Dude, I look like trash, bruh. 500 now, because
I mean, yeah, that's always been the case, but like, that deal is a deal.
Fuck you.
Let's go.
By the way, chat, this is gonna be a VOD, not edited, by the way. Just going straight to YouTube after this. So
actually, straight to main channel?
No, dude, what the?
Yeah.
Hell no, bruh.
Getting last place in a Minecraft event, main channel.
I dominated a Minecraft event. I wonder who did that one, huh? I wonder who did.
Oh, should I just?
Oh.
I just used 30 gems in a crate machine.
Okay, well, you're trolling. Thanks to follow up.
Fuck, dude!
Something bear. P-berry. Yo, P-berry, thanks to follow. Appreciate it. Wait. What if we get like top 1 and top 2? That's just not gonna happen. That is not gonna happen. Let's be honest. Let's be real with ourselves. We're not getting top 2. If we get top 2,
I'll like ask the event organizer if I can suck his dick for first place.
Yo, come on now. Wait, for what place? For
first place.
Yo,
yeah. What do you mean last place?
That's crazy.
Just subscribe.
That's crazy. That's
almost
crazy.
2 years. Qndres and chat.
Or almost 2 years. Appreciate it.
It has to work, right? It has to work.
But you know, the last time I was live was 2 days ago. Ain't that crazy?
You know, the last time I was live was today.
Wait, really?
Today. Yeah. Dude, you were literally here! Oh, you dumbass, dude.
Wait, you're live right now?
Holy shit. No, not yet.
You're live in an hour? Wait, you're playing Pandora's Box tomorrow?
Yeah, I am.
That's crazy, bro. Chad, this guy's a sweat, bro.
I am, bro!
I literally have events every week. I'm only my first event. This is my first event. And if I win, I'll give all my proceeds to charity. Wait, there's no...
What can I say? You're just not relevant.
Oh. All right. You just had to say that, huh? Wait, when was your last upload? Oh. 3 months. Oh. Oh. Right.
I'm muting you.
Yeah. All right, get on. You want MCI?
Yes! I've been for a while, dude.
Hey, my fault, bro. My fault.
You want to see my skin? You want to see my skin?
Yeah, the P skin.
No, you don't.
Log on. We had to play Battle Box.
I'm on. Why Battle Box? Why not parkour? Can we play parkour?
Yeah, sure. Yo. Okay, there we go. Yo, I don't know why, but my FPS was a little choppy. I hope it's not laggy. What's up, Night Horror? What's up, AJ0? What's up, rare account name? Chat, if you are new here, put a 1 in chat.
It is very laggy. You should fix it.
Is it actually? No, it's not. Yes, it is actually. It's a little choppy. But it's just my computer, to be honest with you. Or not my computer, but like my frames. I don't know how to fix it, low-key.
Yeah, I don't know how to fix it either.
Chat, how to make less... I don't know, actually. Okay, I guess I'm just going in.
What is this Mayhem 20 what?
23. My house smells really, really good. I just hit blinds on him.
I'm dead.
Shot one. Killed one. Ow. Okay, I just died. Boosfer, where the hell are you at, bro? Yo, wait, I'm lagging. Oh shit, chat, I'm lagging. Yo, I got lagged out, bro. Oh well, we can just get into that game. Hi, Natalie. Hello. Put on everything in the performance tab. Wait, put on everything in performance tab. Performance. Bet. Did I just like break my game? I hope I didn't break my game. I think it should be fancy. Yo, this feels even more. Actually, it could be just the
Mayhem 23. You say? Okay, I trust you.
What's up, potato pie? We check. Can someone double check it for me? Is it actually Mayhem 23 or 24? Yeah, it should be Mayhem 23. Unless I'm actually trolling. Then it might be Mayhem 24.
It might be actually.
It actually could be 24. Well, I'm actually an idiot. Well, you're literally green, bruh. You didn't change your skin. You're not. Are you an imposter? Yo, speaking of imposter, we should play Among Us again. That's actually pretty fun.
I'm just waiting for. Actually, isn't 5up going to? I don't know if he's told anybody, so he's like going somewhere, so for something. So I don't think he's gonna be getting a lobby this week.
Wait, during a summertime he's going somewhere? Where is he going, bro?
I don't know if he's told anybody, so I don't want to leak anything, you know. Kill somebody?
Way in here.
Shot somebody again? Oh, one shot? Nice.
Okay, I got the alien.
All
Let's
dead.
go.
All dead, all dead, all dead, all dead, all dead.
Okay. Mwah. Wait, that's a Boosfer. Mwah.
Yep, you just get strong, dude.
If you, huh? Yo, if we actually win though, I'll be actually like I'll be pretty happy actually for the day. Because after this, I have to watch a boxing fight. So yeah. Try to make sure you guys all predict. Oh my god, yo, what is that bow on there? Any help? You have healing? Give me. Got him. Oh, behind. Yeah, yep.
I know. I wasn't paying attention.
Yo, you good, bro? Are you good, bro? What's up, Potato? How are you, Potato? Yo, thanks for following Stuffy Stuff. Yo, what is the name? Stuffy Stuff Boy. Thanks for following. Appreciate it.
I am just setting stuff up, so
You're not really in the mood yet. You're not in the zone. You're not in the zone.
Not in the zone, no.
Get your ass in the zone now. Wait, everyone in. Wait. I'm so confused.
Is everybody in this team just dead? Oh, I'm rushing this solo, dude. Oh my god, he smacked me with the.
Yeah.
He's running.
Whee. Boosfer, what the hell are you doing, bruh? You're trolling. What's literally a 1v4. I'm gonna make it 10 times harder for him and just start.
Dude! My kill!
Nice. Yo, do you want to hop on, Potato, and pre-practice? Up to you. What's wrong with my name? Oh, nothing's wrong with your name. Also, yo, thank you for the follow. Fading Jed, thank you. Thanks so much. Yo, do you want to get on VC and maybe practice with our other teammates?
Sure.
Teammates?
If they're on, if they're
I think
on,
one of them's on, yeah. Yeah, one of them is on.
I should probably get Discord bubbles.
Oh, I probably should too. Wait, do I not have Discord bubbles? I actually don't have Booster. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, thanks to follow. Adzy, appreciate it. I'm a VC bet. Boosfer getting wild. Boosfer chat. Yo, who here thinks Booster's gonna get like top 8? I think Booster get like 10th place, to be honest with you, chat. Not even. I think Booster gonna get like 12th place. Damn, I should probably stop talking because I think I might get like last place. Okay. Everyone, clear comms. Yo, hello.
Yep.
What's up, friend?
Well, how are you?
You know, pretty hyped. Pretty hyped, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. For this being my first ever event, I'm actually like nervous. I don't know. Should I be nervous?
Yes, because you're ass. I mean,
Oh.
Yo, what's wrong with you, bro?
what's wrong with you? Come on, don't be a bitch and win this.
Did you know if I don't get top 8, I have to kiss Boosfer on the lips?
No, it's not
Oh.
happening, bro.
It's
Like,
sorry, I mean-
get away from my forehead.
I'm gonna have to kiss your forehead in real life.
No. You know how this guy kisses, by the way? He licks the entire area he's supposed to kiss.
Well, how do you know that?
Yeah, how
He
do you know
literally,
that?
Wait. How do you know that though?
I've
Wait.
seen you do it in your sleep.
I don't kiss in my sleep though.
You make out with the walls.
I kiss
sleep.
Boosfer in real life, and this is what happened. Yeah, okay.
Bro, there's a dude that doesn't know how weird we are in the voice chat. Don't make them
Oh,
uncomfortable.
yeah, I
Andres.
forgot.
Come on now.
I'm sorry, by the way. If we're weird, you can just say stop. Okay.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
We should have a safe word. Yeah, just have a safe word.
If you, honestly though, if you think we're too weird, just call Boosfer
Okay,
and Elbozo.
don't say we. Don't drag me into this. Just say I. Just
sorry.
drag yourself into
if
it.
Boosfer's weird, just call him out on it, alright?
you
Just say
bitch.
like,
Okay,
yo,
okay.
shut your mouth up, green
Can
guy.
we swap out Andres? He
Yo,
honestly
what
he
the hell?
destroys our team synergy.
No, what? No, we'll tick you out, bruh.
Tick?
No,
What does
take.
tick mean?
Yo,
Tick?
don't be
What does
talking, bro.
tick
You have
mean?
like 3 more events this weekend, alright?
Tick.
Upload. Three months ago. Yo, you're saying dick now.
I ran out of breath.
Yeah, you should. You know why you ran out of breath? Because you're a smoker. Is this true? You smoke every day, Boosfer?
I hardly know her though.
Yo!
Yow!
You know who taught me how to say that? Dev.
Hold
Yo!
on. Nah, Dev doesn't know what to say. He says yo like with his
Okay,
fat
he's not-
voice.
Yo, bro. No, it
His
is not.
thick voice. Is it called fat? Is it called thick
No,
voice?
it's
no
Giga
deep
Chad,
voice.
Giga Chad voice.
Deep,
Giga Chad voice. Let's be honest. Dev is not a Giga Chad. Dev's like. What is
Nah,
Dev?
Dev
What
is
is
the
Dev?
biggest Giga Chat ever. Dude, Dev pulls. Dev pulls.
Oh,
Dev pulls.
dude. Have you seen him, bro? Wait, Boosfer.
Yes, I have. He pulls. What do you mean? He pulls.
Wait, Boosfer, come to the Battle Box lobby, bro. They added you to the lobby, bro. Holy shit.
Where?
Yo, chat, it's Boosfer.
Where are you? Where are you?
Holy, bro, over here, look, I'm highlighted. Holy
you
shit,
orange?
dude.
That's great.
I'm throwing on purpose.
No,
I don't care.
please.
Nah. We're losing. We're losing.
I'm
We're
kidding,
losing.
I'm
We're
kidding, I'm
losing.
kidding, I'm kidding, I'm kidding,
100% loss rate.
Yo, no. I'm just kidding. That's not you. That's not you. You're the goat. It's up there. That's the goat up there. You're the goat. You're the goat. You're the goat. You're the goat. Holy shit. I see myself. I'm sorry, Boosfer. Did you take that the wrong way? Okay. Just clear comms.
I'm not talking to you.
Okay. Chat, are the Discord Yo, thanks for getting a sub. Live, appreciate you.
Live
Chat,
Love Laugh 2020 has gifted a sub to Green Rider.
Yo, I'm in a queue. Yo, are you bugged
The
too?
worst player.
Yeah. I'm
Hey,
gonna
we lobbied.
relog.
We lobbied.
Okay, we lobbied, and we go to we queue up Skybet. Never mind. We queue up. Okay, we can't queue anything up. Apparently, we're in a game already.
Huh. Relog maybe?
/ reload. Wait, what do you mean?
I'm relogging. Logging off, logging back on.
Oh, relog. I thought you said like.
Yeah, sorry.
Wait, why are you
Give me
relogging? Yeah, I'm
Bro,
relogging as well.
Because okay. It literally said teleported, but no one was teleported. Right there. That should be good. Okay. Okay, everyone on, right? Battle box.
Yeah.
I cannot queue when you're not the party leader. Oh, because you're the party leader now.
Oh, am I? Okay. Sky battle or battle box?
Parkour.
Parkour.
Okay.
Yeah,
No, battle box, battle box, battle box, battle box, battle
Ah,
box.
parkour.
We are getting parkour out of the... Dude, we gotta get it out of the line first, bro.
Nah,
Parkour.
last. We keep parkour for last.
way,
Keep parkour
dude.
for last. Yeah.
Oh, no,
Hi
no.
guys.
Oh, hello,
Oh
Orbitz. Okay, I'll stop
no,
you.
oh no.
Oh, yeah, everyone just did.
I
Everyone
mean,
get out, everyone
yay,
get
the
Yeah.
British person's here.
out. Yeah,
Huh?
we love the British.
Orbitz, we
Hey.
got a new teammate. Sorry, didn't have a way to tell you that.
Yeah.
Who to get?
She's actually...
Not British, so
Not
we're
British.
gonna actually
Yeah.
not get less players.
Yo, Boosfer, did you complete your Life of Pi, whatever it's called?
I beat the
didn't.
final 2 bosses, so I'm
Yo,
moving on to
Yeah,
the
only
new
took you
game
5
now.
hours. Only took you 5
Yo,
hours.
Boosfer, did you upload it?
No!
Yeah, when you gonna upload a Manhunt video, bro?
Oh.
Manhunt? Ew!
Minecraft Mayhem Manhunt when?
Manhunt.
Disgusting.
Ew. Minecraft Manhunt, but Copper's
Disgusting.
OP.
I don't make
Minecraft
Manhunt
with this
video.
OP. Minecraft Manhunt, but...
Dude, you sound like one of those kids that comes to my
Minecraft Manhunt
like
by the Ender Dragon.
and gives me random garbage Manhunt ideas. Minecraft Manhunt, but your grandma's in the game. Like,
Yo.
dude.
Minecraft Manhunt by I'm the Ender Dragon.
Okay,
Wait. Hold on. Let me just write that down real quick.
That's actually a banger. That's actually a banger idea.
shot.
That's actually a banger idea.
Minecraft Manhunt, but I'm the dragon.
Shot.
Orbitz, get on.
I am on. I'm on
Wait,
the
what?
Aren't you
server.
technically the dragon?
Oh, wait,
'Cause,
what do you want me
the
to
dragon
join?
has
MCCI?
one death.
We're on MCC Island.
Holy shit.
Oh, let me go on MCCI. Hold up.
Wait, Booster, give me a manhunt idea in 3, 2, 1, go.
Minecraft Manhunt, but I stopped making Manhunts because they're trash.
Fuck you. Fuck
That's
you.
And you.
Minecraft Manhunt, but Booster's OP. Has anyone done Booster's OP? Let's see.
Minecraft Manhunt, but it's another MCC Rising application.
Oh,
Dude.
wait.
Oh,
I gave this player fake OP loot.
oh, loading up to MCC Island just crashed my Minecraft. This is big.
Wait,
Oh,
Booster,
no,
you
it's
got it?
Also, guys, aren't our team skins like really creative?
There we go, there we
Booster
go.
didn't put on his team skin. I think
Oh,
that's
he
kind
put
of
it on
weird.
soon.
I put it on.
Yeah,
What
he
do you
put it
mean?
on. You're just colorblind. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Ah,
I
okay.
put
He
it
is.
on,
He potatopie is, by the way. Like he actually is.
I'm literally not, but okay.
I put it on. I swear. You guys want to see?
Sure, let's see it.
Bro, definitely got like his own one. Like he probably paid like a Manhunt viewer to make it.
Huh?
You're just the man
No,
who got
no,
now,
no,
Booster.
no, no,
Let's
no.
go! Wait, what am I known for? Apparently, I'm the Twitter guy. I don't know what that means or that.
Nah, you're
entails.
known as the guy who appears in Booster's video.
Fuck you. I fucking hate you.
Yeah, he just
Do you know how many times? Do you know how many times people tell me that?
Bro
dude?
has a tiny bit of orange. This is crazy.
Dude.
And
No,
that's
I
a crazy-
don't. Oh yeah. Do you like my mango?
That is a crazy. That's a crazy game.
The first
That's
ever
actually
Booster video that was
interesting.
in, I log into Legacy. Wait, Qndres, aren't you the guy that hunted Booster the last video? Like, dude. And ever since then, that's just what it was when I logged into Legacy.
So funny.
Wait,
So funny.
Now, to be fair, for a while I was known as like knockoff potato pie. To be fair, so
wait, you
Oh, the British
hunted
potato pie.
Kieran Dev. Wait, you hunted Bobble. Wait, you hunted Bubbo.
bro
Wait,
potato.
it's never. Wait, you got hunted.
Red
It's the same
Bedrock.
kid,
Bedrock
isn't it?
way, dude.
Also, to be the 10
Well.
minutes before the event, right?
Yeah, so we got like
yeah.
2 games on here before we gotta go onto the server.
I fell.
We're actually gonna
I fell
cook.
off,
We're actually gonna cook.
Yo, if I cook, I clean.
Yo, that's
Yeah.
actually that's
I
bad.
don't cook. I don't clean.
Let's go.
You should actually make your own song. That's really original.
Who is that? Rihanna, right? I don't even know. Who it is.
Yeah. No, it's
You know what was a fire song? Starships.
Starships.
Yo, true.
You know, for the longest time, I thought that
Beach.
said. I thought it said Star Shits.
Joe Matip just got an own goal and now Tottenham are winning 2-1.
Yo, who won? Did Unite? Not me. What am I saying?
Spurs have just scored, or Matip scored an own goal.
Spurs.
That's the name. That's
Of course
literally the name of that
Spurs.
team. That's literally the name of
Is it
that team.
called-
I suck at this clock.
Is it actually? I don't think people say Spurs.
Everyone says Spurs. No one says Tottenham Hotspur.
No, people say just Tottenham.
Yeah,
Nobody
I wonder-
says Spurs. Spurs.
Everyone says
Spurs.
even the Premier League
Spurs.
refers
I
to
just
them
got a
as Spurs.
spa
What do you
in
mean?
bowling, bruv. Like, come on, man.
What? What are you waffling about?
Sorry.
Yeah, guys.
Is it over?
How have you not completed? How have you not completed? How have you not completed? What are you doing?
So are we doing parkour first to get the multiplier out of the way?
No. We keep it last.
I hope you know that this event is more movement Andes than PvP Andes, by the way.
Okay.
So they're gonna get the
one,
PvP games. Yeah, they're gonna get the PvP games out of the way first.
Yeah, Andy, you hear that, Andy? Oh.
Yo!
Yow!
They literally have game modes after.
Oh! Dude.
Son of a biscuit with the gravy on it.
Yo,
Son
my
of a
team's
bitch,
trolling. Where are you
Come
guys?
on, you're not a grandma, dude.
Okay, we get it. You sort of, you haven't played Bedrock for the last week because you've been playing Java for the time. We get it. You've been tryharding.
Okay.
We get it.
Bro. Okay, I'm
If you don't carry Potatopie, by the
Does
way.
it count as bullying?
Okay, I'll carry.
Yo, you had it first.
You gotta show the tournament people that you know what's up.
Exactly. Yeah, I will.
Frick.
By the way, I have like the ultimate. I have the ultimate buff. I'm unwell. I got a haircut.
You're unwell. What does that mean? Is that like
Let's go!
Every time I'm unwell, I play like 10 times better.
is that like a Minecraft mod? Unwell.
I think
Oh,
you're
yeah,
just delusional. I think you're just delusional. Actually.
No, yeah, I'm actually psychotic.
Yo, chat. Where do I download the unwell mod?
That was really funny, actually.
The unwell mod.
Also, I'm getting a tattoo tomorrow.
You're gonna
What?
get
A
A
tattoo.
toe? A
a
toe?
toe?
Tattoo.
Toe. Well, I'll give you my
Are you getting
toes.
an at-oo?
Huh?
Is this? Does
Yeah,
it
toes
count
are
as
actually
bullying
looking
at this
disgusting.
point? Like how much do we need to go on for it to count as bullying?
Until I
it's a
actually
British
start getting.
person, and it, like never, you know.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Because British doesn't exist.
Yeah.
No, but I
least
don't
you're
have
not French,
emotions.
you know?
I don't have
At le-
emotions.
Oh,
At
yeah.
least you're not French, you know?
Yo, the French Canadian are kind of something else.
True.
No, pure
Alright,
French,
nice.
not. Oh, please don't.
How was
was
Potatopie
out.
being eliminated?
I
Wasn't he
got
trying
stuck
shit?
on a jump.
Wait, weren't you trying shit Potatopie
What?
about your team?
Yeah, chatting shit.
Well, I'll show you.
Honest, how are you out, bro?
Chat. This is why I want parkour out first. I suck at parkour. If we get parkour out first, I'm telling you, we're probably gonna do well. Because if you think about it, parkour is 0x multiplier, right? So we need that 0x multiplier on it. Cool.
Yeah, but you're not sitting, are you? So
Is it too late to... Yo, hey, have faith in me, chat. Have faith in me, man. Trust me, I will sweat this event. I am gonna freaking sweat. Okay, I'm not gonna sweat. I'm gonna try hard. That's the same thing. Fuck.
Microwave. It's just a microwave. I can do this.
Yeah, you got.
So Andres and
Yes.
I was gonna say, so Andres and Potato are gonna carry the PvP, and then me and Boost for the movement. Oh yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I was thinking more like... Yes.
So,
I don't know what
I
I
ain't
said.
carrying shit, dude.
Yes, you are, bruh.
You carry your own weight, dude. Oh, I'm ass.
Oh, no.
I'm ass.
Oh, it's over.
Boy, how do you spell mayhem? I'm dumb.
Are you streaming this, by the way, Boost, or no?
Not yet, but
No, man, are you
Thank
going
you.
to?
No, he's not gonna...
Oh! I fell.
Unlucky.
For some
I'm
reason,
watching.
his hitting has been like crazy. Like
He didn't fall. He didn't fall, so he wins. He didn't fall, so he wins.
Wait, Boost, send me that kill lower mod, yeah? Send me that kill lower mod that you told me to install earlier today.
By the way, someone's predicted us dead last. By the way,
Who?
they predicted.
Ooh.
Finman, they put Boosfer in 9th. Andres
No
in...
shot! I'm not getting top
14.
10!
Wait, no, wait, I don't get it though. They put Boosfer in 9th, Andres in 14th, and then me and
Oh,
Andres!
Andres! Qndres!
Of being Boosfer
Sick and tired! Sick and tired! Nah, we're losing. If I'm 9th, we're fucking losing.
No, but I don't
dude.
get it, but it doesn't add up. So how are we gonna get dead last with them placements? That makes no sense. They put our placements and then put them up.
Actually, yeah, how is yellow
That's it.
above us with those placements, bro?
Wait,
Oh my god.
I just saw your
How is
stream,
wait, let's not listen to that. They predicted Kalen to not even be top 10.
Yeah,
Nah,
they
they're
said it was
trolling with these
Raj.
predictions.
I'm telling you.
Nah,
I'm
they're
telling you
trolling,
right now,
they're trolling.
It's not Those are just predictions. Those don't really matter. Like those aren't gonna.
They do.
Oh,
They
really,
do.
mate? Oh, jeez. I'm sorry.
Not
Thank you for
100%
clarifying.
I did see.
Thank you
though,
for clarifying
I
that
did
they're only
see the
predictions.
teams, and some teams are just crazy stacked. Like they just have like 3 PvP sweats on the same team. Like
Fire Breath
Yeah.
Man got subbed in as
Yeah,
well.
us. Nah, Shane
be
sucks.
honest.
We got it.
Oh, I'm telling you, he said that. No way, mustard from Mayhem.
no way, mustard for mayhem. No, it's mustard for mayhem. Booster, can you take your skin off and put like
My skin is fire, dude.
everything orange but green? Wait, no.
What does that even mean?
That one little speck, make it green.
Yeah, to make everything else orange.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
I think that's the better way to
Light
do it.
or yo, I told Boost for this, but y'all are like a different shade of orange.
Are we?
Yeah, no. Yeah, we are.
Yeah,
All
look-
Different shades.
Wait, what?
Look.
Skin artist.
Andre was
cool.
actually dissing
It's
the
Irish
skins.
potato.
On your skin,
He's
dude.
ungrateful,
Yo,
dude. He's ungrateful.
yo, I'm not
Well, no, because
ungrateful,
usually
It was-
potatoes there.
Oh,
Irish potato whipped up quickly for us, okay? Just be grateful. Because none of us
no,
none of us thought of the idea to ask for a team skin.
That's true. I thought people just made them. I don't know. This is,
Sometimes they do, but for the most part, you ask.
I'm new to this event thing, so I thought people just made skins for everyone. But
Nah, they do most of the time for like block wars and MCC, but
We're just
Yeah,
not
but like
I don't think
tournaments
it's
like this. Well, no, but for tournaments like this, it's like us.
I guess, yeah.
what's up, Femting?
I think once Mayhem like grows
Yeah,
a bit bigger,
exactly.
it's gonna be a given.
Yeah.
Like people are just gonna make skins.
Wait, so-
Mangoes and mustard are different shades.
wait,
Exactly.
Mangoes grow from trees, right? Like mango
Yeah.
trees?
Wait,
okay.
no way, we're
Yeah.
mustard. Nah, I'll throw up if me and Andres are the mustard here.
I think you guys are the mangoes
I saw
because you're
one, like-
lighter.
Honestly, I'm thankful that we're not like pickles or something.
True. Yeah.
I'm allergic to pickles.
Yeah.
I'll die if I eat one.
Pickles.
Amas!
Yes, you are.
Oh, you can jump here? Ooh, that's cool. I don't like these mushrooms. They're so weird.
Oh!
Yeah.
W first.
There we go.
First.
my
I got
God.
first.
God damn! I'm gonna start speaking American.
So, how's your love life going, guys?
Horrible.
Really good actually.
Oh, really? Do tell.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still together.
Actually,
We're
yeah,
still together.
mine's been great.
What do you mean you're still together? I don't know the backstory here. You gotta
Well, me and my girlfriend are still dating.
the imaginary one
That's a good.
that you told me about.
Ooh.
Yo. Sure.
Wait, girls.
Dude, like
ew.
it's a common trait amongst like British people. Jack has an imaginary partner. You have an imaginary partner. It's
Wait,
like,
who does? Wait, who's the
kinda
first
cool,
name
dude.
you send?
Yo, you just who
Huh?
Jack?
Wait,
No
Jack
way.
who?
Jack is your
Which
ancestor.
Jack?
He's your father. He's your grandparent. He's British. Just like you,
don't know
dude.
Jack? That's crazy, bruh. He's orange. He's
he
literally
was the
us.
biggest British
yeah,
idol.
but which Jack are you talking about? I don't know.
I thought he was the second biggest British idol behind
Oh,
the
what
Queen.
Jackass?
No, not
Yeah,
Jackass.
Jack-
Actually,
no, no.
Jack Attack
Yeah.
101 Go.
Production's
Our
live.
friend. Yeah.
I only know Jackass.
You should get to know Jack Attack Live 101 Go Productions Live. Pretty cool guy.
I'm washed.
Yeah, you are. First place.
Last place. For eighth, blah, blah, blah. Come on,
Why
guys.
you-
We got this.
Got it.
Top 4, boys. Top 4.
Nice. Wait, I
this
got
lobby's
fifth.
probably not
Never mind.
correct.
Yeah, I got fourth.
If we
Hannah
win this
does
event,
YouTube, guys.
I might go bald.
Shout out to Hannah YouTube.
Wait, what?
In our lobby, Hannah YouTube.
Oh, Hannah
They
YouTube.
probably do YouTube. Yeah, they probably do
I think
YouTube.
Hannah does YouTube.
Shout out.
Oh, Hannah takes
How do I not reach that? That's so stupid.
Oh, Hannah YouTube's gone.
Yeah, Hannah YouTube's gone. Rip.
Oh, God.
Fellow content creator, dude.
Fuck, I didn't know you had to do that.
Oh, Andres, what is that?
Oh,
my fault,
I'm
my fault.
clean with it.
Wait, what?
Okay, let's go.
Same. Bye, Andres. Bye.
Yeah, peace out. What
Oh,
the
no.
fuck? Yo, freak parkour, bro.
Bye, Andres.
L
Oh,
parkour,
I'm
L
selling.
parkour. Yo, chat L parkour, please. L parkour. I hate parkour so much. I just hope it never existed in Minecraft.
Yes. I'm ass.
Right. Yeah, same.
Booster, every time you die, you just say your ass. Oh,
Fuck!
take your time. Take your time.
Oh.
Take your time. Take your time. Oh.
Fuck!
Yep. Ears. Yep.
I'm
ears.
ass. I'm ass. I'm
my
ass.
God.
You got this. You got this.
Even worse, don't worry.
Do it for the orange nipple. Oh.
Yes!
Wow.
I win.
Oh my god. This is a 1v1 of the century.
I win.
Boosfer. Who wins? Booch takes right.
I didn't fall. It's fine.
Booch is coming back. This guy is
I am.
actually crazy though. I don't. Oh, he fell. Wait.
I also fell.
Wait, Boosfer. If you win this, we win the whole tournament. Oh my god.
Oh.
Say less.
The tournament.
Nice.
Do we have time for one more? The event starts at 8, so we have time for one more.
Oh my god. Wait. Clear comes. Booster's falling. Oh my god.
Ow, my ears.
Fuck.
Take your time. He lost. Trust me, he lost. Just take your time. You're good. Take your time. He sucks.
Oh, they can't do the last one.
Shh.
They actually saying that.
I'm literally sucking cockroach.
Yep.
Huh?
But you got it. Oh, never mind. You're just horrible.
I'm putting you down.
You're just.
I'm horrible. I know, dude.
Yep. They just GG.
What was that?
Let me win Palooza.
Yo.
Oh
It
wait,
really
they're a
works.
viewer.
Win.
Oh wait.
Wait.
Yeah.
Restart. Do it again. I didn't
Yeah.
see.
No, yeah. Let
you
Boosfer win.
pass.
Otherwise, we're not gonna win the tournament. You want Boosfer to win the tournament?
Exactly.
Oh,
Nah,
no.
go on. Nah. Go. Just win.
Go, Boosfer. We're not gonna win if you don't go. Boosfer, please. Okay, I'll go.
What's he doing?
Oh, never mind. I was gonna say I did it first try. Boosfer, you got this one.
I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yo,
nice.
yeah, moonwalk.
Let's
Go
go.
Booster. We're winning the
W,
entire
W.
thing. That was easy.
W, we win.
Bro,
What
they
can
were
I say,
trash.
bro?
Yeah.
What can I
How
say?
did they not
All
make it?
me!
That's kind of
That's
embarrassing.
All me!
We win
Embarrassing,
the event now.
bro.
We win the event now. We win.
Yeah.
Hey, I think we should end on a win. I think we should go
Not
to the
even
main
close,
zone.
not
Maybe
even
just end
close,
on a
not
win.
even close, not even
Let's just
close,
end on a
not
win.
even
Get on
close.
the win. Get on Mayhem.
End on.
Yeah, not even close, not even
Bro,
close.
we're cracked. We're cracked. It's crazy.
Not even close.
I'm so assed.
All right. Apparently there's music here. Hold on. Wait.
Yeah, there is. It's like win music.
I'm getting 2 FPS though. Hold on.
Actually, the best in the world. It's crazy.
There you go. Hold on, everyone. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. Bum bum bum. Ba-da-da-da-da.
Oh yeah, make sure to turn on Mayhem music, by the way.
Wait, where's that at? Video settings.
In settings, yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm deafening
Mayhem
because I'm gonna
music.
start stream. I'll be right back, chat.
Okay,
Guys,
Yeah,
I'll
I'm
be
gonna
right
do
back.
that.
You're back chat. You're back chat as well.
We're back, chat.
You're B.
We're back.
Chat. Here it is, chat. Ooh, MC Mayhem, baby. MC Mayhem. Will I win? Probably not. Okay, no, I am gonna win. What am I saying? Think straight. Qndres, top 8, top 10, top 35, top 36. I honestly just get top 1. Top 1. Win. Chat. By the way, I'm only on 3 hours of sleep with 200 milligrams of caffeine. Let's freaking go. Yo, Agora, thanks for all, appreciate it. Chat, if I actually pass out this event, GG's, okay? Tell them to go without me. We're gonna win. Oh, that's loud. That is really loud. Okay, cool. Chat, everyone, let's explore this. Let's explore the lobby. So we got a... Damn. Okay. I have like this guy here. They have a cosmetic selector. It's literally me. Gee. Wait, do I have a flower? I want a flower crown. Chat, which color do I get? Do I get orange? I kind of like... Yo, kind of like hot, not gonna lie. Yo, wait, hold up. Yo, no, trust me, you will win. I will win. I'll get top 8. I'll get top 8. Even with my 3 hours of sleep with 200 milligrams of caffeine. Should I just order coffee now? No, the event's in 20 minutes. I can't. Okay, beanie with ears. Ooh, this goes crazy. Yo, can someone give me a beanie, chat, in real life? I kind of want one of these. I want a banana as well. I want a banana. This is a pretty big banana on me. I want a frog mask. Perfect. Actually, this actually goes with my skin. Oh my god. Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. Hi, Barry Louise. Barry Louise, I'm playing in a Minecraft event. Also, you're reading my name. Thanks for follow. I appreciate it. Hi, Liv. Hello. Hi, Bandy Blue. Yo, by the way, if you guys are new here, let me say, everyone say, I'm holding a banana and a baguette together. This is a weird combination, is it not? Best of luck at Mayhem. Thank you. Oh. Oh, the loss is worth? W. Yo, is it possible to put bananas in a baguette? I don't know if it is. Would that even be a good combo? I feel like it would, right? Especially like banana pie. I mean, banana bread. Right? It's literally just banana bread. No? I feel like it would. Nah, I don't know. Wait, H. There we go. What if I just like throw my banana there? Meow. Hey! Hi. Do you want banana bread? Oh. So I guess you don't want my banana bread. I'll take my business elsewhere. You are gonna kill me. I don't think that would be very PogChamp. This banana costs like $5. Follow me. Yo, yo, over here, bro. Get your banana. Wait, get your baguette. Follow me. Get your banana. Get your banana, bruh. Okay, just got freaking ignored, bro. I literally just got ignored. Also, what's up, Pasha? What is up? What is up? Okay, I think the event's in 1 minute, or like it's everyone get on in 1 minute. Okay, this guy does not want his banana. Cool. That's nice. Bro got egoed. Literally got egoed. Qndres does NPC stream. Thank you for the road. What is this? Hub parkour if you dare. First try. First try. Yep. I don't know how I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna do. Let's see. Is everyone in like the lobby? Nope. Everyone's okay. I might need to go to the restroom soon. Low key. Might need to go to the restroom soon, chat. Should I go now, chat? Or my mouse is on 0%. Let me go now, actually. Let me actually go right now. I literally forgot that I didn't charge my mouse. My mouse is on 5%. Holy shit, chat. You guys didn't tell me that. Here, I'll...
Wait, how do I
gotta go to the restroom and charge my mouse.
You gotta do the potty? You gotta do the potty?
Yes,
Bro hasn't charged his mouse?
Yes,
That's crazy.
My mouse is on 5%, so I gotta charge it now. Like,
oh, we're actually screwed. We're actually screwed.
Nah, GG.
Nah, we're actually GG. He's gonna be playing on controller. He's actually gonna play controller.
Go next.
He's actually playing controller.
Nah, go next. Wait, we should all play controller. Yo, that sounds fire.
I have my controller right in front of me if you want to.
Dude, I bullied one of my viewers into like I bullied their grammar so much that they're scared to type in chat now.
It doesn't even surprise me that you bully people.
Is that a W? Is that a W?
Big W, actually.
W grammar correction. Let's go.
Nah, massive W, bullying people.
Massive Willy.
Huh?
What?
Tottenham Hotspurs.
W for
1-2-0.
No. Okay.
2-1, sorry.
We're not here. You gotta focus on the event. Screw football, okay?
Can you take that back?
Fuck football. Wait, why is my mute button not working? 1 second. Yo! Thank you for the 5 tier 1 gifted!
Oh, why you...
What? Oh,
you're
sorry,
mute. Screw you.
Sorry.
Can I have 5 tier 1 gifted as well? You have a level 3 hype train going. Yo, that's crazy.
Yo, thank you for the 3.
Where's the screaming, man?
My chat is probably dying. Why can I not activate action, dude?
How have you not learned how to hotkey after all these
I
years?
can, but my hotkeys just get deleted for some reason. Nah,
that's crazy, by the way. That's embarrassing.
Fuck you, dude. My hotkeys just get deleted for some reason.
That's embarrassing, man. That's
yeah, that worked.
You need to get better. Hello, potatopie25.
Hello.
Hello, Bedrock viewers.
Hello, Bedrock viewers. Wait, we have Bedrock viewers in here?
Yeah. I mainly play Bedrock, and so most.
Yo,
of my
new
viewers...
audience outreach. Yo, please come watch my stream. Screw potato.
Hey, yo, chill with that.
Wait, potatopie, you're averaging 500 viewers. That's crazy.
Huge.
5 million viewers? Yo, you.
Why can't I see that you're live?
Ah! I just closed my.
I was gonna stream snipe you. Okay, I'm stream sniping you. There we go.
Okay.
No way you're stream sniping potato pie, then.
See, it would be really funny though, and we might have a better chance at winning the event if we like stream snipe other people that were playing in the event.
That's how it works.
We're gonna get banned, dude.
No,
we win the tournament at least.
I'm not about to ghost people. Yo, relax, dude.
How would it be funny?
What's happening about ghosting?
Dude, our teammates wanna. Dude, these guys wanna ghost people. They wanna stream snipe.
Well, let's do it. Wait, we can't do that. Wait, what?
No!
Like, why wouldn't we?
Wait, if we
no, guys, pray for forgiveness, repent. You did not just say that. We are not getting banned. Repent.
You're actually just
repent.
You're just coping.
Repent.
Look, Boosfer, do you want to win the tournament or no?
I don't give a shit. I can win the tournament without you. I can solo this entire lobby.
Yo, no, you can't, bro. No, you can't. Boosfer, I heard Reduce call you shit if you don't get top 10.
Reduce is not getting top 10, so like, what do you mean?
I was just trolling, and then you just.
He literally plays lifesteal. What do you mean? How can he diss me? He literally plays lifesteal.
That's gotta be a threat.
That's not a threat. That's not a threat. Lifesteal is fully scripted. What do you mean? Like every single hit is scripted.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
How does that work?
There's somebody sitting in their ear just saying, "Hit him now! Hit him now! Hit him now! Hit him now!" And they're just doing that, you know? Like, go in. They're not gonna kill you now, so you can be aggro, but don't kill them too. Like
that's
that.
That's why they disable netherite armor because it's scripted.
That makes no sense. What do you mean?
What do you mean? Dude, I'm currently
scripted with or without netherite. Okay.
Look, see, I'm parkouring with my mouse charging. That means we're gonna win. I fucking hate this jumps. Who's crying?
What jump? How do we go back to the lobby? There's no item that puts us back to the lobby, and it's so big. How do I get back to the
you can find like little Shalomonons around the map.
Yeah, that's actually annoying.
What?
Oh my god.
Dude, why are these like? It looks like line. What? What's up?
Guess what? I got the orange guy himself.
Is everyone on your team ready? Are we ready?
I think so,
ready.
yeah.
Oh, you guys are meant to ask if we're ready. You can't just click it.
Oh.
So they should do it like individually.
Yes.
Yo,
What if we weren't ready?
Are we ready, chats? Are we ready? Everyone, chat's ready?
Yeah,
Oh
chat, you ready?
It's Kai left.
Chat, you ready? Chat, spam yes. Spam Boosfer's a nerd if we're ready.
Yo.
Fulbright settings. Enable Fulbright for Boosfer. Yes, please.
Oh fuck. Sorry. Oh. What?
Oh, it's lagging.
Wait, are you a PG? I forgot.
Setting. Show in
No, I don't care. I don't care.
I don't give a shit.
Enable in-div display for Boosfer. Yes. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Hi, Tamuna. Hello. Oh. Right. Dude, chat, I feel like an asshole. I just unmuted on accident. I wasn't supposed to. Oh my. I hate having Discord. Oh my god, I hate that so much. I hate when that happens. Oh my god, chat. Oh my god. Oh my god, it's embarrassing. Dude, I thought I. It's fine.
Okay, it's over.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm back.
Well, like, look how clean everyone else is, and I'm just orange.
I mean, that's like literally our team, though. Like, we are orange fruits.
That's true.
We got mustards and mangoes.
They literally oranged me. I'm supposed to be gray, but I'm orange.
I'm buttering up silver right now.
True,
We're gonna get the speedrun on our side. Surely.
Nice. tourney win today. Yeah. We say that to him, and then
Wait, who you saying that
Wait,
to?
who are we talking about now?
Speedrunner.
throw bingo.
Silver on.
Your team, are we ready?
Is everyone in the team?
Oh,
No,
wait,
I'm
someone
not
already
ready.
accepted. All right.
Oh, well.
Oh yeah, Silver Runs and President Pancake, both speedrunners.
Oh,
You guys know
President
that.
Poundcake is a
Who?
speedrunner?
President? Okay, President Poundcakes. I have a better. I'm a better speedrunner than President Poundcakes.
Guys, right?
Yeah.
Guys,
He's the most iconic person in the speedrunning community, but when it comes to skill, even I would be.
Yo,
I'm not a
yeah.
full-time speedrunner. Come on now. Like he's a cool
Don't
dude,
flame-
but he's
don't
not a
flame
threat.
my dude,
I'm not
President
flaming.
Pancake.
I'm not flaming,
no,
but he's not a
leave
threat.
President Pancake
fact.
alone, bro.
Okay.
No.
I'm saying that he's one of the coolest people in the speedrunning.
No.
I have a frog on my head, chat. Sorry, I wanted to say that.
I'm not
Good
attacking people. I'm not attacking people.
We're just going for
He's-
people's heads. That's crazy.
Okay, like you're British. Your opinion doesn't matter. Sorry.
Wait, I thought there was 8 games,
Okay.
not 7.
Oh, no, there's 7. And we're playing all 7 as well.
Oh, I thought there was 8 and we're playing all 8.
So
I
what are
swear
the
to
games?
say
What are the games? What are the games? What are the games?
I don't know. I can give you a quick explanation of them when we play them.
Oh, by the way, guys, did you see my skin? I have a mango on it.
Oh, Potato
I
Party
see little-
snitching. Potato Party
cube,
American
little cube.
snitching. That's crazy.
What?
Look
What?
in chat. Look in chat. Look in chat.
They're not gonna see it. They're not gonna see it. I didn't say it. They're fixed. Fixed. 11:01. My.
Yo.
Is that your PB?
No, it's only 18, you imbecile. You want me right now.
I'd love to see a rank match
I'm
between you
hungry.
guys, honestly.
How would I
hungry, I'm
even
thirsty.
fake my ranked PB unless the mod is
Earlier,
flawed?
Trevor was
you
riveting and me with
dissing
Brit, and now he's
the
only riveting.
mod?
It's really sad.
What is happening? I'm so confused. Yo, Solo, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Chat, the event is now. Let me actually change the title real quick. Just to make sure that the event is going. I think the event's going soon. I need to delete the last couple bits of the. Oh, yep, there we go. Delete the last couple bits. There we go. Delete that right there, and we're good. Yo, this Wii music is actually. Oh my god, dude.
But we have them in our inventory as well, and we'll get them in our inventory, so we can like trade them in at the end.
This Wii music, bro. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna go crazy. I've heard it long enough.
By the way, that's like for Crown Quest. That's not a joke, by the way. You earn like stuff during the event, and you like catch all into buy armor and stuff. And like another tournament called Crown Quest.
Wait, huh? I'm confused. Wait, not that's nothing for this tournament, right?
Oh no, yeah, no. I when I made the joke about
Okay,
you
then I
getting your
don't care.
inventory at the end, as it was a joke.
Okay.
Wait, I just have an idea.
Run.
Wait, Boosfer, look at this.
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh my god, it's Anthos.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I just found a glitch already. Oh my god, wait, I'm literally just glitching the event out right now.
Yo, don't say it. Just do it.
Look.
Yeah, you're making it lag. Whatever you're doing.
I got another baguette too. I have 2 baguettes. Holy. I got 2 big baguettes. I kind of just want to meow. Meow.
Oh, guys, dying.
Oh, okay, here we go.
Alright, everyone.
Guys, I'm so nervous. Are you guys nervous? Are you guys nervous as well?
Yeah, I'm literally shaking.
No, I'm gonna try to lose on purpose.
Oh my god.
This is loud.
That is really loud, Joe.
Yo, it's actually crazy music. Yo, get this freaking baguettes out of my face.
Avengers assemble? Okay, relax.
Oh.
Are we supposed to go somewhere?
I am a DC.
Are we meant to? I'm just following Trevor.
No, there is. To the right of the trophy.
Okay. Let me complete it real quick.
Yeah, it's over here.
Okay. Yeah.
Why is this
Yo.
so tense, dude?
I'm gonna start.
Kind of like it. Oh, never mind.
Oh yeah, we have teaming choice. We have teaming choice. I forgot we have teaming choice.
Oh, okay.
What?
We need to do something funny. We need to do something really funny. What do we do? Do we just
Stand
jump
still,
off the
stand
balcony?
still, stand still, stand still. Wait. When we're getting presented, log off. Log off. Log off.
Oh, yeah,
That would be really funny.
We'll log off. Yeah, let's log off.
We log off.
Wait, will that break stuff?
No, it won't. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. Yeah, no, we'll log off. We'll log off. If it breaks anything, then who cares? Eh?
Yeah. We get back.
Wait, but we're lost. Wait, no, but we're lost. So a team's gonna do it before us. Watch, pink team are gonna do it. I'm calling it right now. Pink team are gonna log off.
No way. No way.
Nah, there's news that makes
Never mind.
We're gonna get called dickheads when we still like break the event.
2 steps and we log off.
Yeah. No. Okay.
I'm just logging straight off, bro.
Log straight off. Like straight off.
They
Just
can't
log
log
off.
Okay.
This is toxic.
Okay. Golden chair.
I think we're
next,
next.
right?
I think
Next.
so.
Are we up next?
No, it's almost fine. Just get ready. Just get ready when it starts. I think we're next. Something else.
What
Yeah,
is
we're
the
next.
most stressful thing in the event?
And ready, 3, 2, 1, go. Let's go.
Yo!
Let's go.
Wait, can we log back on or does it break anything?
Nah, they banned us. They actually banned us.
Oh, I'm back.
Guys, we're actually so funny.
Wait.
We're so funny. Bro.
Wait, did we get screwed over? Oh, no. Wait.
Shh, let's go do the parkour.
Wait, potatopie solo team? Why does it say that?
Wait, we're supposed to like be in like a decision dome type of thing.
Are we?
We're good.
Let's do the parkour. Let's do the parkour.
We're not in decision zone.
Oh no.
We're gonna get 3
I'm
points.
telling
It's
them.
fine.
Oh god.
Oh, we actually broke it.
Yeah.
We are
Oh,
in
no.
the dome.
No, we're not.
Oh no, I think it's still just a preview. I think it's just a preview still. Yeah, and then we'll get teleported after. We're just not seeing. We're just not seeing the preview because of. I don't actually know. I think we broke it.
It was not my idea. It was all Orbitz.
That was Boosfer's idea. That was Boosfer's idea.
It wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get the vote here.
No, it's vote in
Just
begin.
vote
Vote in
right
begin.
vote.
Oh wait, no, we're not actually voting.
No, we should be in the decision zone.
Oh, we're not voting. That's crazy. That's our own fault, I guess.
Vote for.
Waiting on Boosfer actually. That's Booster's vote.
Is there even magenta in there? Let's go do parkour, guys. Let's do parkour. This was not me. I swear, dude. I swear it was not me.
I hope we get TP to the game, by the way.
It was funny. No, if
back
we don't
to
get TP to the if we don't get TP to the game, just chill. Let's see how long it takes for them to notice. Or is it
Combat
toxic?
cube.
They'll have to.
Combat cube? Okay, this is like
Yeah,
battle.
oh, we actually broke it. We actually broke it because I can't see it.
Wait, what?
I mean, hopefully we just get like teleported there or something.
We got teleported.
Oh, no, you actually scared me. Oh no, this
Imagine
is
if we get put in.
the confusing one. This is
Wait, so
Pandora's
what is
box. This is the Pandora's box game. If Andres or Boosfer, either of you know about it.
What
Never
is that?
played
I
it.
don't know
Never
about
played
Played it now.
Okay, basically we're gonna have like no one really knows how to play this. It's like really confusing. So this is gonna be the first round. There's 3 rounds. So basically, there's gonna be different rooms. Every time you kill someone, we get like a key or whatever. And if we go to the person, we get a key from them. This is basically like
Wait,
how I'm trying to remember.
Sands of time, kind of, or what?
And once you die, you're out.
Is this all teams in or 1v1?
Yeah. All teams in. All teams in.
Oh,
and then once you
shit.
die,
We're
you're
all
out.
fighting each other.
Wait,
Oh.
Isn't this where we have to get keys, right? We have to get keys, then
We need to get
two
key swifts and we have to unlock capture points with the keys.
No, we need to
and
get
then
2 key fragments, then give it to the key leader.
Yeah, and then we
whatever
trade
it's
it
called,
for
and
And we
then-
get a key, and we get
Yeah.
middle, and we get points.
Yeah.
I don't even know what the hell we're
Bro,
doing.
just IGL
I mean-
for me. I don't know what I'm doing, man.
Oh
Yeah,
also-
Chad,
also,
don't even
Yeah,
think.
this idea.
you
I heard
can
you're good with an
understand
axe,
what's
Andres.
happening.
Andres, I heard you're good with an axe.
But sort of, yeah. Yeah, I'm good.
Because we all have different kits. We all have different kits.
Wait, what's the
I'm
axe
good at
kit?
running away.
I don't know. It's gonna tell us.
Okay.
But by the way, so yeah, every single time we kill someone, they get fully eliminated, and we get a key fragment for them. If we get 2 key fragments, we can finger.
Wait,
Okay.
this is go for kills then, no?
So where are we supposed to
We
go?
get like a preview the map. This is preview.
Okay.
Here.
Yeah. So we start on the edge. We'll have a map in our hand. By the way, it's gonna rotate when you move. So if it gives you like head hurt, then just like break it. Okay.
So
Oh, it's iron
So
sword.
killers. We all have to have different kits.
Oh, fuck
That's
this one.
Gunner
I want the iron
or-
sword, dude.
What's this one over here?
Capture key. Use this item
This
to
is Gunner.
unlock.
Wait.
On unlock capture to unlock
Oh, no,
it.
I want
Stand
the
on
other
the. I have the iron one. Let's
Nope.
go.
I'll get the stone sword one.
Okay, Orbitz is kind of tanky here, actually.
I don't want the tanky one though.
What
I'll
do I
take
have
the
like
tanky
I have
one,
like 80 frames here.
Tank
Yeah,
potion,
Orbis,
gain
you're
resistance.
tanky. Do you have like an axe or something?
I have a pickaxe.
Oh.
That's the issue.
Oh. Do you not have anything else?
Okay.
But they said we can preview kits. I thought I was gonna like have a pop up for us to preview kits.
I know, that would be nice, but...
Okay, cool. Right, we need to sit together. Right, it started.
It started?
It started.
Started? There's no effects,
Right,
dude. There's no.
we should all have a key fragment as well, or is it just me?
just you,
I don't
just
think
don't
I have a
die.
key fragment.
No, it's just you. Just you.
What
just
do
don't die.
we? Do we need to even see the map or no?
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm
it's
just
probably
offhanding
best.
it.
I know where we're going.
But
But if you
literally
right
dark
click
there.
the map or something.
No, just look at the map and then it takes you to the map.
This is just meltdown.
Okay,
right?
so to the left. If we go left, there's a
Yeah.
key. There's a key to the left there.
Okay.
Okay.
Full aggro, full aggro.
And then we can trade it in with this dude here. Give me the
No,
key.
we
Give me the
need
key.
two.
Give me
We
the key.
need. We need two.
Yeah, I have one already.
It's up.
You
It's
have
up.
one.
It's up there. It's up there. It's up there. Up there. Up there. Up there. Up there.
Where?
It's up there.
There.
Get.
Okay, I got a key. I got a capture key.
So
I don't know where we
Here,
how we
here,
capture.
here,
Oh,
here,
to the
here.
left. To the left. To the left.
Okay, so we can just capture this point. Just capture the flag now.
He needs to right click it and then.
There we
stand
go.
on it.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
There's
There's
Okay,
green
that's
over
green
there.
team.
There.
Do we want to fight green team or do we want to go back? Let's go back on ourselves. Let's go back on ourselves. 'Cause I think we already have this. Yeah, I don't think they can capture this now.
So. Okay. I mean, they can't capture, right? I mean, that would be getting
No,
points.
they can. They can later on, but they can't right now.
Okay.
I
Yeah,
don't
so
think.
we're probably just
I don't
better
know.
off gaining ground.
Okay, so there's another capture point here as well.
Okay,
But where do we
need
get keys
keys.
from?
Probably
Okay,
gonna
so let's
keys,
go
right?
forward and left. Oh yeah, should we go back and fight them?
This is good. Yeah. Honestly, let's go back and fight them.
Okay.
What team was that?
You
What team was that?
sure?
What team was that?
That was
the
green
Lions.
team.
They
it was
they have
Lions,
Fire
man.
Breath Men, but
Okay,
other than
well-
that, I don't...
Just take fire breath, man. It's fine.
Yeah.
We got this.
Alright, so-
No,
Sorry,
we need to.
sorry,
We need to single out the iron.
They're capturing. They're
sword
capturing as
kid.
well.
Iron sword kid. Iron sword kid. Single out kids, not players.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
I have speed.
What's
by the way,
that?
so
What's
if you guys
that?
wanna get speed and come over here.
The iron axe kid has 2 leather pieces and 2 chain pieces.
They're over here. They're over here. By the way, are we all together?
Yeah, we're here.
I'm
now.
getting there.
Get here fast. Get here.
Oh, this is a line. This is red. This is red.
Wait,
Never mind. This is red. This is red. We don't want to fight them.
why
Oh,
not?
we're kind of
Why
screwed
not?
up.
Wait, let's just fight them, no?
Are you sure? We can fight red.
Can we just
Okay.
capture like the point right here?
We can't because we don't have keys. We don't have keys.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is this a
We're just
mini
gonna-
capture? Yeah, no, we don't have keys.
Guys,
Okay, let's just keep
we're
going.
last place. We're kind of just.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
Let's go. Look at-
Yeah, we need kills.
Yeah, we gotta get kills
We just gotta
regardless.
go,
We
we
might
just
as
gotta
well.
Okay,
We have speed here. Have speed here. Everyone come meet up. Go.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I don't think I got it, but that's fine. Are we fighting them, yeah?
Might as well.
Got one.
That one.
Nice.
Get
Oh,
the la- get the
crap,
last
pink
2.
team are here. We don't want to fight pink. We don't want to fight pink. Go back.
We
go
might,
back, go back.
if we're here, we might as well fight them.
Booster.
We don't want to fight
I know,
pink. We
we're
do not
killing
want to
someone. Me
fight
and Booster are
pink.
killing someone. Me and Booster
Yeah,
are
yeah.
killing someone right now.
It's terrifying. We do not want to fight pink. Trust me, please.
Yeah, pink is running away from us. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, good. Okay, wait. Trading keys. We keysmith here. Keys. Oh wait, no.
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Oh wait, they're coming. Pink are coming. Wait. Go. Pink are coming.
Let's get to us.
Wait, let's go forward. Keep going forward. Alright, trade in with this keysmith. Trade in with this keysmith.
Okay.
Okay?
I can already open it. I think.
Trade it.
They're coming. They're coming.
We need to go. We need to keep going.
They're coming. By the way. Keep going.
Why? You should have a big key from that, no?
No, it doesn't let me trade it.
I have a big key. Okay,
Okay,
can
try
we
this one
capture
over here
this?
then.
Wait. Okay. Never
No, we
mind.
can't. We can only capture ones that are open.
Okay. That one.
If it's covered in bedrock,
we
we
find
can't
ones that are
capture it.
open?
What?
Yeah, but it
We
was.
just have to keep running. We just have to kind of keep running around.
Yeah, keep
Okay.
running. I see a green team here. Fire breath man. Is he by himself?
This is lime team. Do you want to fight them?
No.
Wanna fight them or not?
Back up.
Okay, so there's the yellow team as well.
Oh, there's like a board.
Wait, Andres, how many capture keys do you have?
I just have 2 capture keys right now.
What about yellow team?
You should be able to trade them in then for things.
Okay.
Wait, here, come
there's
to. Have you tried
What are
right?
you
Come here.
Yeah, I tried right clicking. It just says, bro, you don't have what I need.
Wait, do you have... Wait.
You need to. Wait, whoever just split up, give me it. Whoever just split up, give me
I
it.
don't have.
take
I don't
that.
have.
You have to hold
Border
the capture
coming
key.
in.
Hold
Border
the
coming
capture
in.
key.
Border coming
Yeah,
in.
we gotta get in.
Andres, you have to hold it.
Border coming in.
Let's get out.
We can't. We're trapped. Okay.
Are we
Great.
You
trapped
can
in
go
here?
this way, you can go this way.
Well, we can run
I'm
through the
through.
border.
Oh, we can't.
I might be dead.
Oh, we can run through the border. Oh,
I'm
jeez,
dead.
that border hurt.
Yeah, we took
Yeah.
too long just discussing about this key thing.
There's no point in doing the keys. Just
Okay, but we know what we're doing now. But we
you gotta
know what we're doing now.
just look at the points. We got 60 points from one thing just running around, but instead of that, we could have just been. We could have. Nobody was wanting to fight.
But we know what we're doing now. There's 2 more rounds, so we know what we're doing.
Okay.
Yeah, we just go in for
This
kills.
wasn't a one and done. Okay, we know what to do. We just fight.
That was literally just warm up round. Okay, we know what
we just fight. Ignore the keys. Everybody's gonna try to go for
okay,
just fight.
yellow we can maybe take, lime we can take. We don't want to fight pink. We don't want to fight pink.
Yo, by the way, I did not have fragments. I had the whole key already. So I could
I also had the whole key. I don't know why we were going for fragments either.
Okay.
There's 2 fragments. Yeah, 2 fragments for a key. 2 fragments for a key.
And I had 2 keys already. I had 2 keys.
Oh, I thought we had fragments. Sorry.
No.
Okay, we need to trade in points. We need to get points early, but I don't really understand. Oh, wait, the points are in the ground. They're not on top. They're in the ground itself. Oh my god. So we could have unlocked so many points there as well.
Yeah, if we see a beacon, we stand on it. We don't just run away from it.
Yeah, but if it's full in bedrock, if it's covered in bedrock, we can't capture it.
That's bedrock? I thought that was acacia logs.
No, that is acacia logs. That is acacia logs. I'm saying if it's full of bedrock.
Yeah, we ran past something like this so many times.
Yeah, but I didn't. Okay, we didn't know though. It's first round.
Because I think the reason we weren't finding any locked ones because everything was just unlocked. That's the thing. So we get 1 key, we trade that in, we go for kills.
Oh, this looks like a mess.
Yeah.
By the way,
That's so weird though, because I'm looking at one now.
Every single time. If we see the border, we gotta get out. We just
we
can't
get trapped.
Okay, if it's covered in glass, we can take it. Apparently, this is what my chat is telling me. And if it's followed in like the acacia logs, then we can't. So the acacia logs or bedrock or whatever this is, we can't take it.
Oh my god.
60 points got a lot for this round. Yeah, but if we have to, we literally ran around for 2 minutes before we got those 60 points. It's better.
Yeah, but we didn't know. We didn't know, did we? Though that's not like.
I think going full aggro is way better.
It's different kits this time, by the way. It's different kits. There's like a wither kit that I saw that I kind of want. There's a really cool wither kit.
Anything but stone sword. I don't want and that. Oh no.
I can be a healer here. I won't have any weapon, but I've got 4 healing pots.
I have a whole capture key. I have a whole capture key. What's the problem?
I have a lifesteal sword.
Gain one of the following effects randomly. Okay.
Do you guys want
heals or iron sword? Oh, trident.
Oh, that's axe. Wait, that's an axe. Wait, that's an
Oh my
axe,
God.
by the way,
Yeah,
Andres.
the axe, yeah,
What is the axe? Okay, I've taken necromancer because this is actually a really good kit. Holy. I have a necromancer's charm.
Okay,
Unusual
is there a
game. One of
sword
the
kit?
following
Is there a
effects
sword
on
kit?
the speed jump boost
Quick,
full
I have a
invisibility
capture key. We
dogs.
can just go straight and get the point
Fuck,
already.
dude.
Okay.
No, we need to. Wait, do you have a capture key or a capture key
I
fragment?
have a whole key, bro.
Okay.
If I say fragment, it's
What are
fragment.
these kits, dude? Every kit
Wait, the
available
necromancer's
just had
kit's
a
really good.
pickaxe.
Oh,
I
you should
can't
have
do
taken the
anything
necromancer one. This one's really good. Oh shit.
I've got a capture key segment as well, so if we get one more
Yeah. So we
segment,
need one more. So if
Yeah.
Potato, come to the right with me, and then Andres and Boosfer go straight.
Okay.
Because we can go and get a segment. We can go thing.
Okay.
Wait, there's a point right here. Just capture this point right here. Quickly. Right here in the middle. Right here. Capture that. Okay, now let's all go right. All go right.
Yeah, I'm going.
Wait, when you stand on it.
Well, yeah, they need to cap it, but
Oh, you need to stand on it to capture it? Oh
Yeah,
my
like,
god,
what do you
okay.
do?
Yeah,
Right,
yeah,
Potatopie.
you gotta-
Right,
yeah.
Potatopie, pick that up and then trade
There
it
we
in.
go.
Alright, now trade it in. And let's
Okay,
keep
yeah,
going.
I gotta
Let's
keep
keep going.
going.
Now let's go grab this one as well.
okay.
There we go. Now we know what we're doing. This is better.
Okay, get that one too. Yep.
Really? Now, okay, now we know what we're doing. Okay.
Okay, that right over there
Alright.
is Aqua. It's
Aqua team. Aqua team's quite. Aqua team we can probably take. I don't know. Should we go or not? Should we
I
just?
feel like we should. We
I'm
just gotta
going.
fight. We shouldn't be like.
I'm going! I'm a healer kit, by the way, so if you're low, just come to me.
I have a regeneration as well.
I'm instant health. I have instant health, so.
They're top. Up here.
Tops.
We're going straight or left?
We're fighting them straight on apparently.
Any help?
Get this guy. Okay, we're split. Come back to potato
They're
pie.
running.
Okay, I'm good.
Cloud is running towards you.
MC Morgan on one.
I'm with you, Booster.
Yeah, we get it, this guy.
Nice.
Nice, we got one.
I'm a little low, guys.
Cloud up top. He's low.
I got regen, by the way, so finish.
I got Ajax.
Cloud half health.
Oh, behind us is red.
Follow potato.
Okay. There's
Back
another
off,
team here.
back off. Potato, back off.
Wait, I have a capture key.
Red's here.
There's a red team behind us. Fuck, dude.
We're
Okay, go around,
Robert
go
zero
around.
one. Robert 0-1.
I'm dead.
Okay, I'm coming.
I got
Wait,
Oh,
run.
shit. I died.
It's
We
red,
ran
it's all
straight
red.
back, of all people.
Yeah, we gotta stick together a little better there.
just gotta run past them, dude.
How do we run into like Land and Legends and Colosseum on the same team for a PvP game? It's crazy.
Nobody's following us. We're kind of.
Yeah, we're
What do we
chilling.
do? Okay, guys.
Oh, there's a team right below us, right below us.
No, they're split. Oh. That's the two teammates that we killed from the other team.
Yeah.
Oh, Cloud should have died. I should have got Cloud earlier, but I just couldn't. Twitch just
So they're fighting right now, Boosfer.
You have a pickaxe.
That's good.
Just
Oh, border.
Border,
Run past
yeah,
them.
yeah. Wait, Cloud is stuck. Cloud is. Oh no, Cloud made it. Cloud made it. They're behind you.
Yeah, keep
behind
them
you.
out, keep them out.
These are like
I'm
very.
dead.
These are two very good PvP.
Yeah. Not much I can do there.
That's fine. You tried. Are we all dead? Are we out? Or is...
Yeah, we're dead. That one was better than last though. We gotta take it as it goes. And remember that this is also very early on, so there's not gonna be as much multiplier either. So like, you know, this is a learning experience.
Yeah, but what are these kits, man? I just didn't have anything else but a pickaxe.
I wish they would actually show you what you're getting and like.
No, if it's a PvP game, just don't have pickaxes. Have at least a usable weapon.
Yeah.
Like I shit on the dude who was just running with a pickaxe, but it took me like 2 minutes to kill him. It's so annoying.
Yeah. I had a
and my healing,
I'm pretty sure we get survival
did nothing.
Points, by the way. I'm pretty sure we
healing
get
does nothing if
points.
a team just combos you. So it's like it's not a good kit because the healing doesn't make up for the lack of weapons.
Okay, we just need to stick together. We need to stick together this next round.
Yep.
In order to stay together, in order to stay together, we need to have only one person giving comms and everybody following them, not blindly going in. If
okay, so who's taking lead then? So I don't want to.
I'll take lead.
Booster,
Booster, you do.
I can take the lead. I can take
Booster,
the lead.
you're gonna be wild.
And we need to keep an eye on the border. We need to keep an eye on the border.
Because I can take the tankiest kit and I can just take the lead as the front man.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
I don't want axe, but I want sword. Axe is really.
There's some people like the two top teams are the two like PvP heavy teams.
Yeah.
No, they're like the two top teams.
They're just
are the two strongest.
It's not even that they're just staying together. That's the thing.
Yeah, and they're not taking many fights either, though. That's the thing. But they're like they're the two like strongest teams, and they have this game figured out. This is just like one of the hardest games to figure out.
Again, that's good that it's early on in the game, so the multiplier doesn't affect it as much.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, there's no.
I'm not gonna lie. This is like battle in Block Wars, but just the fact that it's 4 people instead of 5 makes it less messy, so it makes it manageable.
Yeah.
Because if like with 5 on each team, that would be horrible.
My ping didn't work.
It's manageable. It's manageable.
I mean, we're still if MC Morgan Play stays alive, we're gonna be in last.
That's fine.
We just need to fix up our comms. Our comms just aren't all there right now.
Yeah, and that's why we're having someone IGL this next round.
Yeah, exactly,
Booster's just gonna be the person that makes the calls, and we just follow.
Okay.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can like call out your health or if someone's low, but like
low,
mainly like.
Yeah. Where the heck is Morgan Play? They're still alive. Oh, they're just chilling in the middle. No one's fighting them. It's crazy.
I know this is like awkward because no one's really fighting.
Well, they are fighting. They're just not fighting. But they're gonna get survival points. Survival points are so key here.
Yeah.
Not really. If we clear half the lobby, we'll get
like when nearly last. When nearly last. By, like,
if we get enough kills, we get first place. Easy game. Kills are just worth so many.
This final round, we just cook. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, pink team look like they've probably cooked there. I don't know actually. FaZe is low. FaZe is dead.
Yeah,
oh my god, Silver runs
first. Ava just wins this, right?
Yep.
Jesus, fair play.
Nice.
GG's.
That was good.
Well, that's a top 10 the Mez player.
Booster, you're gonna go. Okay, you're just go tank, right, Booster? Okay,
I think this is every single kit now. Okay, so
I'm picking this kit. Booster, get off of this kit. This is my kit right here.
Yeah, take the kids. Take the kids.
I don't want heavy. Heavy's bad.
Yeah, there you go.
I think
I might take Necromancer. Necromancer was quite nice.
Scrapper?
I want to take Necromancer.
I have an iron sword. I'm taking Scrapper. I also have a capture key, by the way, so I'll capture the first point.
Trident Expert
okay,
also quite
I'm
good as well.
I'm like the tanky
gonna
one
go
with
Trident,
2
honestly.
iron. I'm going the tanky one, and I have 1 key fragment, so I'll just go for the key.
Okay,
first.
I don't have anything. Wait, no, yeah, okay, cool. Does anyone have a full-on key or no?
Me.
Okay, cool. So let's capture this first point first, and then go right like we did last time.
Sure.
Okay.
Go right or left?
Like capturing points really even get us that much? I feel
Yeah, they
it
get us
does.
60.
It does.
Yeah, it gets
60
us a lot.
each. So if we capture 2 early, then we have get 120.
So it's over here, right? Yep.
Yep.
Everybody stand on it.
It goes way faster.
And then we go right, yeah?
Yep.
Nice.
No, we go
Right.
left.
Okay, we
Go
got
left.
left.
Okay, yeah, wait, but yeah, Boosfer, sorry, yeah, you're gone. My bad.
Okay, no one here. We're good.
There. Where's the next point?
Here, in front of us.
It'd be straight on,
Okay,
it'd be
shit.
straight on, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we can take this.
Let's continue.
Stand on it.
No one's taking in front of us. We can go forward again.
In front of us. Does anybody have an extra fragment?
No,
No.
yeah.
I
Okay,
can
let's
take
just
this
pick
one.
it up
as well.
and then I see a name tag
Oh, crap.
already. Somebody pick it up.
I got it. Yeah, I got it.
Okay.
Follow me.
We need to remember border, okay? Remember border.
Yeah.
Okay,
Let's
the
just
So
map.
go.
are we gonna go right and then right again, Booster? You think?
If these guys don't want to fight, then sure. But they're kind of
Oh,
going
wait, they're
right, so
going
we go
right.
left. We go left.
Okay. Let's hope they haven't picked up that key fragment.
Wait,
Can
actually,
we
we
pick
can't
it
go
Take us
left.
towards
We
the
can't go
border,
left.
though.
Oh, yeah, it does,
Here.
yeah. Oh crap, they're here.
Yeah.
I'm a bit behind.
Fight.
We can dodge
Or we
him.
can just leave.
I'm here, I'm
No
here.
fragment here, so
No fragment, yeah.
kind of.
Okay, but wait, what team is that? It's
It's
orange.
no,
team,
uh,
I think.
This is mid, right?
Oh,
No,
orange
mid
team,
is
okay.
mid is to the right. So can we capture this point? Check.
We need
No, we
these,
don't-
we
we don't
need
have a
these.
key.
Oh no, we can't. These are locked off, these have been captured.
Okay, let's go. Let's check middle. I guess.
So should we just play a bit for survival here?
Yeah.
Let Boost recon.
I'm just
Yeah.
asking a question. I was asking a question, I'm not doing comms.
So yeah, come top.
Okay, that was Redunes. Are we going for
Be
this?
careful. There's a
We're not going for
behind
insaneorbitzz.
us.
We're not going for them.
I wanna
Well,
go,
let's
okay.
get back
Yeah,
in.
we're chilling.
Look
We're
right here.
chilling.
Look right here. Look right here. Redunes.
Yeah,
by himself.
there's a single person. Don't go
Okay,
too
yeah,
ham.
Yeah. He just ran away.
We're just chilling. We're just chilling.
We're playing for
Camp these
survival
like
here, huh?
yo,
Or-
shift near these water things. If somebody's coming up, we try to get them.
Okay.
Yeah, we just shout left or right, yeah? ABJC's opposite us. Wait, is ABJC on their own?
Yeah.
Oh no, they're
So
not.
yeah,
Then,
sorry,
then,
sorry,
like, then,
sorry.
they're on their own, but they're not the only one alive.
See, to our left, kind of, there's a team that just killed a person.
Oh, the team to our right, oh, it's ABJC again.
Right
Person.
here, there's a whole team. Is this the yellow team here?
Yeah,
ABGC? They're
we're
coming up. They're coming
We're
up.
chilling. Andre, stay out of sight.
He only saw me.
There's blue to the left now on our level.
Yeah, I know. If they run up to us, then we try to combo them. But other
Yeah.
than that, we just chill. This is so stupid.
Okay,
Yeah, but
blue
survival
below.
points
They're
are
running
good.
up. They're one person running. They're not gonna. They might run into us, but
nope.
Andre, you're kind of in the. Yeah, you.
Wait, even if we
you're kinda
crouch, I'm
showing.
pretty sure they can still see our game attacks, by the way. So I can still see your
Yeah.
guys' ones.
No,
I can still see
No,
yours.
but I can't see other people who are crouching. I can't.
No, you can't see it through
Oh,
walls.
okay, alright. My bad, my bad.
No, there's a person that's crouching like further
Alright,
away.
people
not
below us,
even
people
be-
below us, people below us.
Yeah.
They're coming, Mr. Cat. Mr. Cat, Mr. Cat.
Crit. Go. Full.
Yes, good shit.
Nice. Back to positions. If anybody needs to heal, then be careful.
Does anyone need
Would you see
regen,
that
by the
yellow
way?
team over there fighting?
I don't. Anybody got regen? Somebody just asked.
No.
I have regen, I'm
Andre,
saying.
further into the corner. Come further into my corner. Andre. Yeah. Good.
Oh, Mr. Cat, bro. Oh, below us.
Yeah.
Landon?
Behind us.
Anthos. I'm dropping.
I'm dropping with you.
Oh my god.
I got Landon.
Oh,
Nice.
Go
I'm
behind.
coming.
I'm all the way down. I might have people follow.
Yeah, gotta run.
Okay, I'm
Can you guys get back
good.
up?
Oh crap, I fell all the way down as well.
I'm coming
I see
back
you guys.
up.
I'm good.
I'm
Wait,
coming
third
to
pipe.
boost.
Okay, we're going to
Be
Boosfer.
careful,
Group of Boosfer,
blue
group of
team.
Boosfer,
Yeah,
group of
group
Boosfer.
with me. Try to get back up.
Yeah.
To Andres.
Yeah, I need help. Good.
Be careful. Don't run up. Don't.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Andres, can you
Andrew,
get
where
back
are
up?
you?
Andres, can you get back up?
Second layer in. Second row.
Andrew, you
No,
need
come
regen,
back
by the
up
way?
through the. Come back up through the.
Yeah, do the
water.
stairs and the water.
Yeah. Yeah, and the water.
Water. Oh, I see.
Behind
Yes.
you. Yeah, the
Any
water.
water. It doesn't matter, any water.
Yeah, this is our column.
Okay.
Let me just heal.
Right, are we do you need regen? Or are you good?
I'm good right now.
Yes,
I'm
I
down
think
3 hearts.
yellow team.
Alright, before we go into
Guys, yellow
a fight,
team is
let me start
missing.
regen.
Wait. Yellow team is missing a person, so we could.
Yeah,
try to-
Cyan is only on there. Cyan's on their own as well.
But be careful, red is under us, and they actually wait.
Us,
Everybody's
yeah.
missing one person besides pink and
Us.
blue. Pink and blue.
Yeah.
So be careful.
There's people below us. It looks like they're about to come up.
Yeah. Shift.
Before we go into a fight-
Andres, shift.
Before we go into a fight, I'm gonna regen us.
Yeah. Also,
Wait,
be
we should all
careful
group
if we.
together so I can regen us.
Yeah. If we're getting
zone,
in.
zone,
Yeah.
Border.
We're
We
good.
should drop yet.
We're good.
Okay, if I come.
Drop.
Drop.
Okay, we're dropping already.
On me. Not fully.
Oh, too far. Oh crap.
Okay, Andre, stay near us. Stay near under us. Stay near under us.
We need to go to boost for the borders here.
Yeah. Just follow
Drop
me
down,
slowly.
drop down,
Follow me
drop
slowly. Don't be too aggro. And then if somebody's
Wait, how
engaging
is
us, don't run out of our positioning here.
Yeah.
Stay here. Just
Stay,
stay here.
The border's here.
Get target red, target red, target red, target red. Get Kai left.
I got one.
Yeah, nice.
I'm stuck though. I got one, but I'm stuck. I'm out. I'm bring him in. I'm back
I'm
in.
low.
Get Andres.
I don't know how I like it.
I'm being targeted. Just survive. Live. I need help.
You guys are the only 3 team left. You guys got this.
Yeah. I need help.
Nice, it's just silver.
Nice,
Oh wait,
nice.
no,
Survive,
and red.
Oh my god, I died.
I died.
You got him. He's one.
Fuck me, dude.
Unlucky.
Silver's like 1. I was trying to survive.
Bro,
Wow.
all my kills just got stolen. That's crazy.
Yeah, we lost a lot of points on the steal.
That's
those
unlucky.
steals, dude.
Fine,
Do you not get like points from team assists? We did get way more points now than on the previous.
That's true.
Yeah, we pulled it back, which is good. We made it.
It's fine.
Yeah,
Everybody
like,
else
we're
also
closer
did
to
really
people now.
well.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
I mean,
also
we're a
did
lot
well,
further
so-
than Aqua, yeah, because Aqua did bad.
That's
That was
good. That's
good.
good.
That
Okay,
was
so
good.
now at least
I
was-
hit so many people and all my kills just got stolen.
it's bad that we
crazy.
figured out how to play the game on the last
one,
round because we
yeah.
would have been top like 3 if we
I
figured it
know.
out. But that's
Oh
fine.
yeah, we know for the
Unlucky.
future. Well, now I know for the future.
Top popped off, are they?
From that last round.
I just did no damage with my sword, by the way. Anybody I hit, one heart, 1 HP, 1 HP per hit. That's just sad.
You know what though? Not. Oh wait. Okay, I was about to say we're last.
Yeah, we're not last.
We got so little points. I get like it's based on the first games, but we got so little points that last game.
No, in that last round we did pretty well because we had only 400. We more than doubled our
Oh,
points
true,
in the last
yeah.
round.
That's good.
I wonder. I don't think we equal out points either. I think that game it's in div.
Wonder what place I'm in.
I'm not watching my individual after that first game.
I
That was-
don't want to look at my individual. I think I'm
I'm looking at
last.
mine.
No
I think we
joke.
get guys.
Oh no! Wait, no!
Oh,
It's
wait.
in div points.
Wait, I see it. I'm 30th. Oh no.
Wait,
I'm
actually not too
20th.
shabby. Yeah,
Wait, Andres, what did you get?
Top 11.
How? I'm 20th and Boosfer's 19th. What?
Let's go.
Oh, no.
Probably got all the kills. He probably got all the kills. That's good. I'm just gonna pop
It's still
off
good
the
though.
last
It's still
round, I
good. It's still
think.
good.
Yeah, I got like 7 kills, 6 kills. How many kills did I get? How can I tell?
I don't know. I don't think it's all true.
But yeah, that dude. In the end, it's impossible to communicate and stay together because everybody's just going ham in. Like
Yeah, I
everybody's just
should have
going
gotten so many more kills at that end though.
I survived for longer than I expected, so my survival points should be
I
good.
got 4 kills that round, the last round. Not too shabby though. What do you want to get?
Alright, what are we voting for now?
Or get it?
I honestly think everyone's gonna go Sky Skirmish. Because they're like I said, they're good at PvP, but they're more movement. At least we can play like that in Sky Skirmish though, which is good. At least we know now we can play like that.
Let's go for a
Definitely,
movement game. Let's go for a movement game.
Okay, do you
now
wanna
we can actually vote. What do you want to play?
Parkour. You wanna do
Is it
parkour?
checkpoint champions?
Yeah, that's parkour. Checkpoint Champions is parkour. We can try and get that out of the way.
Sure,
Like I said, most
sure.
people are gonna go Sky Skirmish.
I have a lava bucket.
Lava Sky Skirmish. Lava Sky Skirmish. Lava Sky Skirmish.
Sky skirmish? Oh,
Lava it. No,
Go for purple. Go for purple.
I don't know what you did. I just did it blank.
Where am I?
For what? I don't know. Oh, we got moved something. I don't know. Alright, go back to Checkpoint Champion. Checkpoint
Yeah,
Champion.
just go and check
Purple,
the
yeah,
champion.
purple.
I don't know what's happening. I
Andres,
can't
you're
move.
full. Wait, what?
Oh, you redeemed Lava Bucket and it gave us all these different
Andres, your
abilities.
favorite game is gonna get taken out now. Sky skirmish.
That's the
Your
one.
favorite game is being taken out. Yeah, Sky battle.
Wait, what?
Yep. GG's.
Wait, did Sky Battle win? Oh, Sky Skirmish win, sorry.
I mean, that's fine, honestly.
Yeah,
I'm fine with
it's
getting that out of the way early as well.
That's all good.
I don't have to worry about that later.
Okay, cool. We can do this.
We're gonna dominate this one. Isn't this
But you
just
do this.
Sky
Wait,
battle
Boosfer take lead.
survival
We'll just do
games?
Boosfer take lead again.
I think.
shit.
Yeah. Okay. I can take lead.
Yo, why am I shaking? I gotta chill out. I gotta chill out, bruh.
We got the chem now. We got the chemistry. We just didn't have it in that first 2 games. We have it now, so it's good. Team games were strong. We're gonna cook.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hungry, dude.
Apex, yo, boost for Apex.
Dude, your voice
we're
is shaking,
mid-tournament.
Andres.
I'm
Relax.
shaking, dude. I'm just shaking, bruh.
Just gotta play in a couple events and you'll be fine.
At least we
With
played good that
Magnus.
last round, though. It's good though. We
No, we
played
did.
good.
We were garbage. We need to do
The last
better.
round, bro.
We need to get first place.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
No, we won't.
Ooh.
We'll get past the point that
Okay.
we want to get to. We're gonna be beyond good.
True.
Oh, should we be like reading what's being read?
What does it
It's just
say?
Sky Battle.
You have an infinite amount of blocks. Playing for kills.
It was
will
a
make your
rhetorical
team
question.
better.
We're not nerds. We're playing to improvise, okay?
Yo,
Okay.
so Boosfer, do you want to go mid here or what? What's the plan?
If anybody wants to bridge to mid, sure, because I'm not bridging.
Okay, we mine those crates, by the way. Those I'm pretty sure those gold crates give us points. See those gold crates on the.
Do you offhand the blocks or no? Offhand the.
Yeah, I don't
Probably,
think
yeah.
I don't think it's laggy. I don't think it's.
There's
laggy.
not gonna be any
Okay.
shields. Can I?
I
start
think
here?
Good.
to the left.
Oh,
there's-
that's why I'm losing. I am EU and this is NA.
Wait, do you think we should go right? Should we go right, Boosfer?
I
have
think
unlimited
Orbis should
block.
take the lead. I think Orbis should take the lead.
Oh my god. Okay, we're going right. Once you guys do those chests, we're going right.
Okay, you guys.
I'm ready.
I'm going right. Okay.
Right. Remember border.
Yeah, borders.
All right, loot this chest. It's like survival games, but in the air.
Got a diamond.
I have gold boots here if anyone needs. I have a golden axe. Andres, golden axe.
I don't want axe. I want sword.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Okay, let's go.
What team is that? Okay, yeah, we don't want to fight red. We should go left.
I got gamer sense. What's gamer sense?
Oh, it tells you players. It grows players in your proximity. Does anyone have arrows? Anyone got arrows?
I need arrows
do,
as well.
but
Can I
I
have-
have a bow. So...
Oh, okay, don't worry then. Don't worry.
Okay.
be
Are we
careful
seriously
when
going middle? Is there full damage? There isn't. There.
Yeah, but go
Yeah,
for the...
there is a little bit, but I mean.
There's hay bales. I knew for hay bale. Oh yeah,
If
we have
anybody
middle,
needs
but I don't know
armor,
if this is a
I'm
good
throwing it
idea
out
or
here. If
not.
anybody needs like a
Oh,
chest
the
or-
loot gets better. The loot gets better.
Yeah,
because it gets better.
yeah,
go for middle,
further
go
I have chain.
Should we go
Does
up?
anyone
Should we go
need
up?
chain?
Okay, let's go up.
Yeah, go up. I got a diamond.
who
Here's
else
an
is
iron
here?
helmet. Iron helmet. Potato.
Red is also
I
here.
got
Red is
them,
also
I got
here.
them.
You wanna go for the fight or no?
No.
I have an iron.
Does anyone need
I'm
armor?
glowing.
Anyone have a better sword than wood?
What does this do? Guys.
No,
do
that's fine.
we
Where
go
are
for
we?
survival
Where are we?
again? Chill.
No, we don't need to play
Person's
for
coming
survival.
for us?
Kaiwa's on his own. Let's go for Kaiwa. No.
No.
Chill.
Back up.
How many arrows do you have, Potato?
I have 6. Do you need some?
Can I
I
have
have
like-
3
yeah, can I just have,
TNT.
like, two?
Wait, hold up.
Wait, are you gonna do? Do it. Go on. Do it for the fun.
Wait, we can't do it here. Let's do it here.
Do it there. Do it right there. Yeah.
People
What
above
are we
us.
doing?
People above us.
There's people above us.
Oh, okay.
crap, we gotta go.
Wait, blue team,
Oh,
blue
it's
team.
lime. Do you wanna go for lime? Do you wanna just go for lime?
Sure.
Sure, yeah, let's do it.
it. Just to be careful though.
I harm imported them.
Wait, no, be careful.
Yeah,
Come back.
Come back.
Are you sure?
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm
because there's a team
sorry.
behind us.
TNT.
Yeah, they're just waiting. Just come back.
They're so low.
Come
as
back.
well.
No. don't
Okay,
do it,
I've
don't
glowed
do it.
everyone. Can you guys see that glow, or is it just me? It's blue
Wait,
down
there's
there.
iron chest plates on the ground. I'm picking it up.
Wait, there's Aqua above us. Aqua's above us, by the way. This isn't good. Do you
Anyone
wanna
need
go up?
an iron chest plate?
I'm good.
nice.
Do you guys want to go
Okay.
up?
Wait, people below us. People below us.
Guys, let's go up. Let's go up.
What-
I
what-
pressed
what-
high ground.
stay.
Okay, let's go up. Let's go.
Okay. Be careful.
Can we mine
Be
this?
careful. Come back.
Yeah, okay.
Come back down.
Yes. We're getting.
People behind us.
Oh no, bro! I fell all the way down.
Oh,
Scratch.
Just
Ah,
Yeah.
I fell all the way down. I fell all the way
Oops.
down.
Jeez.
going up and just not through because we were just getting camped by Aqua.
Oh, there's a top border. Oh, there's a top border anyway.
Wait, should we go all the way down? Wait, hold up.
Yeah,
Is
it
it
looks
over
like
here?
no. There's
Wait,
also a
wait.
bottom border. There's a bottom border.
Is
as
red
well.
full?
Okay, I'm going.
Follow me.
We
Yeah,
should have went for that fight on Lime.
Who's
Because they're all
the-
dead. The entirety of Lime is dead. We should have went for them,
Look right here.
man.
Look down. We're good.
There's blue coming up on our level. Right over there. Wait.
Yeah.
Just
Oh, they have diamond sword!
Yeah,
It's 3 of you against 4 of them, yeah.
And they're definitely gonna rush us because they know that we're missing one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're still alive, so.
We're good. Boys.
The,
Ow, I got
the-
Harming Pod.
Yeah, we see that.
Yeah, I like threw 2 on Lime.
Miscommunication. Does anybody have extra arrows?
I've got
Two?
2.
One.
If you want to use them, go
Never
for it.
mind.
Go
No.
for it. Take them.
Okay. I'm just gonna load up both.
How are we
Is
lost?
border coming in? No.
Now we're good.
Yeah, kind of, I
it
guess.
is, It is.
We should start building a bridge or something.
Yeah,
You
let's
guys
at
could
least
go
get some
for
hit.
red. The entirety of Lime is dead. Border's right behind you. Border's right behind
Oh,
you.
we gotta get him.
I'm jumping in. Get the yellow here.
There's people down to your left.
Yeah, be
if you
careful.
wanna
Be
go
careful.
for
Shift.
them.
We're
But
chilling.
there's a team of 4 down to your left bridging.
I don't.
We need to
oh,
just
wait.
chill.
Just show. Yeah. Push your cover.
Wait, is this border?
Yeah.
I can't see the border.
You can't see the border. You should be able to. You're in the border. You're in the border. Keep moving forward, Booster.
Get this guy out.
Landon, get Landon. Okay.
Got him.
Border's right behind you, Booster. It's
Yeah,
it's not moving. Border's not moving anymore. Okay, border's not moving. Just don't go past the blocks. Just don't go past.
We go up or down? I got hit off.
There's a top border. There's a top border. Booster, go down.
Dude, I can't
Booster, go down.
see
It's
the
top border. Booster, go down. It's top border.
I can't see the top border.
Yeah, that's why I'm calling out for you. Okay.
There isn't a top border, I don't think, right?
There is. It's just really hard to see.
I can't see the top border. There's no top border. It's just tiny yellow particles that are outside of the border itself.
Oh, yours is weird. The yellow particles are the bottom border. The middle border is purple.
Is it my particles that are?
Yo, I can't see. Yeah, I can't see those particles either.
You guys can't see the border.
No, and nothing is like off for me.
Wait, we're fifth. That's good. We're fifth.
I mean, that was placement though. We didn't get that many like points overall.
Yeah, but still, fifth. Is
I mean,
good.
yeah, we'll take it. But
do you want to go right again, or are we going left?
We can get like these are
Oh, turn on particles. Turn on particles. Turn on particles.
Particles are on. Everything is on
Everything's
for me.
on for me as well.
That's weird because I can see it. Are we going? Wait, do you want to go straight or are we going right? Where are we going?
Where
we going?
This is free chest. Doesn't matter where we go.
Okay, we go right. Okay.
I'm gonna go here.
I'm gonna start using an axe. Wait, Andre. Wait, we're splitting up. We're splitting up. We're splitting up.
This is free. This is just free. This is no one's here.
oh, I'm
Free
sorry.
stuff.
Guys, come
Yeah, there's no one here as well.
after you've looted.
Yeah, we will. Potato. Take that and take that.
Okay, that's big. Thanks.
There's a team there. There's a team there.
We
Let's
just
go
go
here.
back.
Let's
We
go
just
here.
go back with the
wait.
team. We just meet up with the team. Booster. Come on.
Okay, are you guys coming back to us?
Bridge to us. Yeah, bridge here.
Yeah,
Okay,
Booster.
potato gun. Be careful, potato.
I
I'm
don't.
gonna have to call out border and because I'm the only one who can see it. Shit.
I
I have a decay grenade. I have a decay grenade, by the way.
Two iron chest plates on the ground here.
I have a creeper spawn egg.
Two iron chest plates. Andre,
I'm already on chest plate. I'm already on chest plate.
Yeah, Andre, you picked that up.
Yeah, I got it. There you go. I tossed it on the floor.
Iron helmet. You gonna need?
Thank you.
Booster. Iron
What?
helmet.
What's up?
I have a decay grenade. I have 2 healing potions. No, I don't have boosts. Boots.
Let's jump.
Alright, jump. Make sure you guys
Oh,
stay.
I'm not
Anybody
with you,
needs
bear with me.
iron boots? Iron boots. Be careful, Andres.
Wait, where's
Here, behind that.
Was the creeper? It's a
Oh.
creeper spawning.
Orbis, you have
whatever.
iron boots.
It's
You have
fine,
iron
it's
boots.
Oh yeah, I picked up to mine.
Yeah, put it on.
Okay. Booster, you take charge. Booster, take charge here. Booster, take charge.
Iron sword for someone right here. Chopped it.
I'll take it.
Iron chest plate in the chest. Okay,
Oh, I've got blocked
Wait,
off.
where is it? Where is it? I didn't pick it up, Andres.
Wait, go to the corner and
Oh.
we can't shift. We need to mine.
I go
out.
to the corner and shift down. Go to the corner and shift down.
You can't.
You can,
Oh,
I just did it.
You can.
Wait, how? What?
To the other corner.
Swim into the corner and shift down.
I'm working on
Yeah,
it.
swim into it.
Swim into it.
Yeah,
and then
there,
shift down.
down.
They're above you. You gotta go.
Can get out.
Okay, we gotta go.
Oh,
Yep.
no.
We want to be on the opposite side. We don't want to be with pink. Trust me.
Unfortunate. We got trapped. It's fine.
Pulling up
They're
right
just not gonna let us come up. They're just not gonna. Does anybody have like a
Wait, this
bow or
is
something?
looted, bro. Oh wait,
Wait,
yeah.
pink are right above us though. That's
Yeah,
the issue.
Yeah, be careful.
Wait a second. I want to try something.
Careful with the TNT.
Yeah, that was mine.
Is Aqua fighting over here? Can we clean
Oh,
this?
bro.
I think so. No, they have diamond swords. Don't go in. They have a
I
diamond
don't know
sword.
what. That's crazy.
Yeah, there's pink
Oh, that's
above
diamond
you,
sword.
blue in mid. Blue
Yeah,
rushing
we're kind
you.
of-
Careful. They're trying to rush us.
Okay, do you want to just keep going around? Keep running around?
Yeah, keep going
Wait.
around. Keep going around.
No shot!
Oh, there's green down. Kill fire breath. Oh. Wait, careful, Orbits. You're in
Don't
one. You're in
go
one.
here. Don't go here. Orbis, come back to us if you can.
Careful.
Fire breath man is stuck in that water pool though. Now they're out.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I threw a creeper in there. I don't know.
Oh, Orbits!
Orbits. You can't be doing that. Come on, Boosfer.
Orbits.
How did they not blow up to the creeper? I don't. I threw a creeper
Oh,
in
we
there.
have
It's
yellow
not-
here.
it's
They're
not-
gonna rush us. No. Don't go in. We just survive. We run around. Survive.
You're by yourself, Booster. Yep. GG's.
I'm trying to survive here.
Sorry, I haven't been that good at sticking together.
Clear comms. Stay quiet.
Okay.
Wait, Andres, are you alive? Nice. Kind of getting finger blasted, bro. Is the border close to me now? Is there a bottom border? There is.
Yeah, there is.
Oh my god, I'm at the bottom border. Oh my, dude, I can't see the border on my screen.
Yeah, I can't even see it. It's splashing in and out. Yeah. Boosfer's got 2 kills. Nice. Boosfer, you're in a really good position there, border-wise, by the way.
Unlucky. Nice. You survived the roll. That was
It's
good.
so hard to know what's happening because the sounds here they don't make sense.
It's only that the border's kind of just going in and out as well. I can't even see it
I
properly.
don't know, man. The sounds here just don't make sense. I'm just gonna turn off the music here. I don't know why the sounds just don't make sense here.
I might just go deafen. Because I can't I don't know, my comms are weird. I don't like comms. I don't know if that's weird or not. So
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah, I'm just gonna follow you guys now.
Wait, what do you mean deafen? Deafen when we're going in as a team?
In the game, yeah.
If I'm like solo.
Oh yeah, well, if you're solo, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, go for it.
I just go mute comms.
We are 7th right
But
now.
we're not playing to stay solo, we're playing to stay alive together, you know?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think we need to rush mid, because everybody just claims a thing, so we need to rush mid. Andres,
Yeah,
you
let's
lead
just
with
get
your
there
bridging.
Okay, I'm just gonna follow you
Shooting with
guys.
the
I'm just following you guys in first.
I think going to the cloud and then jumping to that island right there is faster.
Okay, let's do it then.
So Andres, you
So
gotta
cloud to
go
the
for it. Yeah, cloud to the left, straight instantly. If there's a team there, we gotta contest, or else we'll lose ground and we just lose, you know?
Orbits, we're going straight. We're going straight.
Oh, if you say cloud to left, sorry, I can't follow. I heard cloud to left, I thought you meant that one.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Jump.
People here already?
Okay, thank you.
Some tripping.
Kill cloud. Go in. Nice.
I have an aping. I have the standard
Nice.
loot.
Back off.
Yeah, I'm getting out.
Back up.
Loot up.
I just have the standard loot, by the way. I don't have anything special.
Yeah, come on. Everybody come on.
Yep, I'm getting up.
Oh, there's like really good loot up here.
Border coming in, so we need to bridge.
Area.
Is there a...
Oh, you're getting bowed from somewhere, I think.
Boosfer, careful.
Yeah. Here's a cover for you guys.
Oh, I landed on your block, Qndres.
Wait. Lime. Let's camp light blue. Camp light blue.
Yeah.
Camp light blue.
Okay, I don't
If anybody has a bow, I can give you arrows if you need.
I don't have a bow either.
Red is
I'm
here,
gonna
red
take
is
it.
Yellow's
here.
not right, by the way.
Yeah, guys. Oh.
Yeah, let's get this
red.
guy.
Yo, let's go for red.
Just by himself.
Back off.
Yeah, get backing up.
Back. And
Fucked it up,
you're
yep.
good.
Sorry,
Let's look at light blue. Where's light blue?
Right here. They're bridging right here.
Yeah, they're bridging.
Yeah.
We just skip him out.
Yeah, camp. I'm looking behind, so you guys just camp.
Got him.
Okay.
Does anyone have like a new sword for me? I'm still stuck with the
Yellow coming in. Back off.
Yep, behind.
Run.
Yeah, I'm getting out.
There's a green team
I'm
as well.
half
Try
health.
to run
Just be
around
careful,
them.
just
Try to
careful,
run
yeah,
around.
yeah. Okay, we're good, right?
Yeah, we're good. We
For
don't
now,
have
yeah,
good
yeah.
weapons though.
Boosfer, come back.
Do we want a third party or no?
Does anyone have a spare sword? I'm still stuck with the wooden one.
Yeah,
I
Orbits,
still have a
Orbits,
win
here,
as
here.
well. I still have
Someone
a
take
win
it.
as
Someone
well.
take it.
Cheers.
Okay,
back right now.
border.
Can we go back now?
Border's still quite far out.
Okay, nice. Make sure, like. Okay,
Boost for
make sure
boost
to
for
stay
boost.
together.
Yeah, who's above us?
You want below, red below.
Green
Yeah, red
coming
below
in.
is, like,
Green
below
coming
below.
in. Green
We don't want to
coming
get
in.
pinched here. We gotta pick a way to go.
Yeah.
Oh
we gotta
crap!
pick a way to
They're
go.
either side of us. Where are we going?
I don't know.
Can we go up?
Border's still quite far out.
Wait.
Border's still quite far out.
Run around. Just run through.
Okay.
Actually, that was a mistake. I'm cut off.
No, we're
Yeah,
with you.
yeah.
We're good.
Okay, nice. Andres, just keep going.
Blue's here.
We're-
Nah, keep
we're-
running.
we're
We don't have.
I am with you. I'm literally right
There's
here.
pink. There's red. I mean, there's red.
I can't see the border anymore. Crap. I know
can see
help.
it, I can
Oh,
see
the
it.
border
Oh
is.
my
The border's
God,
here.
you
The
scared
border's
me.
here.
Oh my god.
Wait, Reddit pinched against the border. And there's only 2 of them. Oh no,
Yeah,
there's 4 of them.
There's
There's 4 of
more.
them.
Yeah, there's way
Yeah,
more.
but I mean, I only
There.
saw 2 of them there.
Pink
so.
is looking at us, but be careful. Wait,
Yeah,
is
we
there
don't
does
against
anybody
them.
have a better axe than a wooden axe?
Oh, I just saw. I have a gold
no.
one, but I think it's the same, no?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
same,
it's the same.
But better attack speed, maybe?
Maybe.
One attack speed. Oh,
Okay, it's better.
Oh my god, I have way better frames now.
Okay, we're chilling here. There is.
yeah. Make sure everyone's eating, and make sure everyone's eating as well. By the way.
Oh, people are fighting above us.
Okay.
There's no block trap here either, so if they continue fighting, we rush.
There definitely is a block trap there.
Is there?
Yeah.
There is.
There is, yeah, I can see it. Do you want to go down? Do you want to just jump on
it's
Reddit bomb?
Nah, the
Okay.
border's gonna come.
Okay.
You see
Okay,
bottom
okay.
border? You see bottom border?
I can't.
We
Oh,
should,
the
like,
border's right
start
behind us.
making
Border's right
squeeze.
behind us.
Yeah.
Border's right behind us.
Yeah,
We
we
need to
need to
move in.
go, we need to go.
The border's like literally behind us. Wait, we can go around to left yellow, maybe. I don't know.
Nah, we clean this.
We just take this. We just take this. No one else is here right now.
Other than pink right above us.
I mean, yeah.
Chilling,
but,
we're chilling. Chill under the tree. Chill under the tree. Potato pie, Andres, come back.
Yeah.
Andres, you need to come in here. Border's
Border's right behind us. Border's right behind us again.
Nah, it's chilling.
It's gonna stop soon. It's gonna stop.
Yeah,
Yeah,
stop
make sure
trying.
that
It's
we
right
have
behind
this
us. It's right
player.
behind us. It's right by me. It's right by me. I'm literally crouching alongside it. We gotta go in. Like move inwards.
Yeah, we got him. It stopped moving.
I hit Jack a few times.
One below.
Nice.
Place. Guys, come back to us. It's good to. Oh, Andre's going.
cooking.
Ham. There's nobody up. Good. Yeah, we want
There's two
this
red below you.
aqua
There's
guy.
two red below you.
No, yeah, okay. But we need this aqua guy.
They're dying? Yes!
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay, we did
Wait,
really
won.
good. We did
stuff.
really good. We did really good that
Nice.
round.
Let's go.
Oh my
I
God,
killed like I jumped down on Sandwich Lord and someone else fighting and killed both of them.
We just trapped the aqua dude. he
was
just went
really
up
good.
and lighted the
that was
border.
a huge round. That was a
Fourth
huge
overall.
round.
I'll take that.
That's good. That's good.
In
Really
this
good.
game at least.
How many kills did everyone get there? I only got 3.
How can I say?
I got 4
one.
or
This is
something.
kills.
Oh, I got
I got
2.
one.
I got 2 kills apparently.
I got 4.
Oh, that round, but that's that round though.
Okay.
Yeah, because I killed I killed Sandwich Lord and Kyle F. I killed Sandwich Lord and Kyle F. Let's go.
Big kills. Huge. Good
Let's
stuff.
go.
Oh, 4th Boosfer. No way.
Nice. Good
Yo,
stuff.
Booster Cook. I think. Wait, are we 4th overall now?
No. I don't think. Oh, maybe. I don't think so though. Probably not.
I think
Total
we're like
outstanding.
top 5 though.
Fifth.
Top
Oh,
5
we're
surely.
5th. That's,
Hey, that's good.
Wait, that's
Yeah,
really
top
good.
5
though. That's really
surely.
good.
We're coming back.
Wait, why did so we were 8th
That's
place?
really good.
I think it just.
Dude, by the way,
Oh,
whoever
just
stayed
weird.
with me on that aqua guy at the end that listened to comms, that was great. That was good.
That was
Yep.
me, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was you, but
I think so
because
too, yeah.
died, and now I just dropped down.
I kind of went in there and wanted to try to get kills.
Wait, was
No,
that
I mean,
was
that
that the
was-
round where Orbis just inted, or were we all 4 alive?
No, we
All
were
4 of us were alive. 'Cause I saw
Oh,
Sandwich
okay,
and
yeah,
Kyle
that's
left.
good. Nice.
Sandwich and
Yeah,
Kyle
I mean,
left
we
with
had 2 teams of 2 there basically.
How have I moved
Yeah,
down a
No, wait,
placement?
where's this ahead of me?
Yo, let's go! I moved up 2 spots.
Wait,
How have
where's
I
in the
moved down
where's
to
the visual? Where's the visual?
21st?
Right here, in the front. Booster, you're 10th, and I'm 11th still.
Oh damn,
Yeah,
Andre.
they're
No
good.
way. No, I gotta
Andres,
get
Andres,
top 10. I
Andres.
gotta get top 10.
Dude, and you know what? In that entire round, I use a wooden and a golden axe, which basically just does 5 damage. We literally lost with the. Yeah, we lost with garbage.
1v1 in.
How did we
and it
win
went
with
so
garbage loot? We
I don't
won
know.
with garbage loot. That's
Well,
crazy.
Andres, when you killed Jack, I picked up Jack's loot, and he gave me like a leggings and a golden apple. So and then Sandwich and KF were like both really low. So I just jumped both of them and killed them both, which was huge for points because obviously they're on like the 2 good teams as well.
In my opinion, I think the border was moving too. I think the border moves too fast. I think
Nah, I don't
But you
think
couldn't
so.
see it. It just kept not being able to
That's-
see it was
Yeah,
bad.
the issue was the top border was a little bit invisible and also maybe a little bit too low, but I think it was
Okay,
pretty
what do we
good.
do next?
Do you want to just try get parkour again? Checkpoint
Yeah,
champion
Scott.
again?
What is parkour?
Checkpoint champion, right?
Checkpoint champion, yeah.
Please. Get it out. Everyone wants to Ballista Bingo. Ballista Bingo's out next. Everyone's like, dude. Any checkpoints?
I think ballistic. It's either going to be ballistic
I
bingo
will
or
give
multi-space.
Sub if you CC.
Oh wait, pink team joining us?
Okay,
Huh?
wait, hold up. Oh, wait, there's a lot
Oh,
of people
I
here
suppose you
now.
said
Wait,
that.
No
Oh,
way,
wait,
no
hold
way, no way, no way. Yeah, I'm not gifting any
Yeah.
subs. I'm not gifting any subs.
He hasn't uploaded
Nice.
in 3 months.
Yo! 3 months? It's been almost 6 months now, dude.
Oh.
Maybe
3 months is just being nice.
It's like dividing by 2, you know?
It's like checkpoint
Huge.
champion. Whoa,
Alright, good.
Damn, somebody almost got out ballistic bingo. Come on, we leave that for last, right?
But we want to get like the in movement games. You guys, I know you guys said like you're not too fond of.
I mean,
like,
I'm gonna do great
PvP,
in
right?
movement, but there are other people in this game that are just gonna ace it. You know, there are other
Well,
people-
Guardian of the Chamber. That's PvP. That's like battle box. But
yeah,
we all
leave
have the
that
same
last.
kit.
We leave that
so-
for last. We leave that for last. We leave that for last.
Okay, so
What
there's
was that
different
one that
course
we
levels. I think you can do the course levels up until you get stuck, and then you can TP back.
Do you have to go through the portal, or can you neo?
You have to go
around
through
it?
the portal, yeah, to get the point. Well, yeah, the portal gets you the point. There's no
So
point
this is
going around
Parkour
it.
Warrior.
It's
This is
a
just
path.
Parkour Warrior.
Yeah.
Why are there 3 sections? Is this
I think
So
it's
easy, medium,
there's
hard?
all of them.
easy. No, there's easy. So every time you do a parkour, there's easy, medium, hard. If you can't do the hard one, you go back to medium. If you can't do medium, you go back to easy. And you can teleport through. You can return back to the checkpoint. You have 10 minutes. 10 minutes to do it. It's basically Parkour Warrior.
Can you
yeah.
just do easy and then be done with it, or do you have to do?
Well, no,
every single
no.
one?
But if you finish it, then you probably have to go back, or you can go back and.
Oh,
do
so
the
this
other
is like
ones.
the old Parkour Warrior, where you progress as far as you can.
I think so. Yeah, I think.
Wait,
I just typed in chat, is it not showing? It's not let me type in chat.
No, they probably
okay.
mute chat.
No, you
when
can
they're
manually
explaining
change
the game.
difficulties. Oh, so it's just a straight line, and you start with the hard, but if you don't want to do hard, you click a thing, and then you get swapped to the left.
You can TP back, yeah.
So
Yeah, the further.
Yes.
There are no
Boosfer,
points for
do you wanna do
completion.
you want to do
No,
hard?
but we can do all of them. You can do whatever you want. You have 10
Oh.
Oh,
minutes.
you can?
You're not limited to one. You can go back and
I'm
change
doing
it.
every single one. I'm doing every single one.
Yeah,
How
I
many
think
minutes
that's
do
the
you
goal.
have?
10 minutes.
Oh, and it's just 19 levels, easy game.
I just
How
asked, can we do
many-
easy? No, we can't. We can't do easy, medium, hard on the same level. You pick one.
Oh, okay.
But it's the same points though.
Well, no, like, what do you
You
mean?
probably get more points for doing hard.
Okay.
You get more points for doing hard, yeah. I didn't even make the first jump. That's crazy.
I'm going straight medium, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm going
Dude,
medium.
they don't make the.
I'm going hard. It's the first one, so I reckon it's easy.
Fuck it.
Oh my god, it's so loud. You can only do 19 levels. There we go.
Okay.
So loud.
Ah,
The first hard is easy. The first hard is so easy. I've done it. I've done the first hard.
bro, how do you do that jump?
Yeah, the first one is not. I should probably not be doing
Okay.
this. We should just like really.
I need to turn the music down.
Oh, never mind. The hard is not that hard.
Oh my god, come on.
Okay, there we go. I'm gonna try hard. Let's see what it's like.
Yeah, but it gets hard. Like hard. Obviously, they get harder to go on. So like the hard you're trying now.
You have 10 minutes, right?
10 minutes, and it says on the right. So we have 8 minutes 36 seconds left. Yes, I've done it.
Does time matter as well?
No, you don't get bonus points for anything. It's just completing the levels where you get points for. No!
Oh, can you? Holy shit, I'm ass.
Same.
I was on the fucking last one.
Oh, no way! That was the last one.
I'm so ass! I'm just interested to see what the hard is, honestly.
Unless like teams have like full of like people going medium to get more like levels completed.
I shouldn't be having this difficult of a time at this.
Oh, what the fuck is this? What the fuck? How many am I on? I can't tell.
It says how many you've
4 out of
completed.
19?
No, but like, I'm gonna deafen. I'm gonna deafen this one second. For example, yeah, have a look.
Why is this hard? Dude, medium is harder than hard.
That's what I'm saying.
The medium is harder than hard, dude. What the fuck? What is this difficulty balancing?
I see.
Okay, never mind, I take that back. Yeah, dude, medium is harder than hard. What is this?
I'm just like acing all these medium ones. Okay.
Dude. What?
You have 2 minutes, by the way, Booster. I have 593 individual points.
What are we supposed to do here? I'm so confused. I'm just speedrunning easy, dude. I don't care.
Yeah, at this point I just want to get the points done.
I'm just speedrunning easy. I don't even think easy is gonna be easy.
Easy's really easy. It's usually just
Yeah.
What the hell?
Hello, I'm back.
Did you complete it? Did you do
No, I
easy,
just-
or
I-
did you do all hard?
I'm just no, bro. I've just turned to just only doing easy now.
Yeah, at
Yeah.
some point I also did.
I was like doing medium and
just
stuff,
made that
and it just became.
realization.
Medium
And
is
it
the
just became
same as
only-
hard, just a little bit. Like some mediums are even harder than hard, dude.
Right.
I don't know.
Hey, Salmon got.
Oh!
Yeah, now I'm just speed running easy. But we're like,
That's what I'm gonna do
we're
as
like a bit behind red.
Dude,
We only have 42 seconds left.
Yep.
dude, I hate that you can see even seeing your teammates is annoying.
I wish there was a way to like turn it off.
I'm gonna lose my fucking mind, dude.
No, I failed. Pain.
Yeah, this is just ass. It's not that these levels are hard. It's that they're very long, so you have to be consistent for so long.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yep.
Yeah, like now I can't even complete this level in time.
Ah, I fell. Yeah, it's over.
Come on. Please. Oh my god, okay. I completed that level at least. I mean, 7th, it's not horrible.
That wasn't great.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't give a shit, dude.
Yo, yeah, we got parkour out, bro. I don't want that parkour.
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
glad.
give a shit, dude. I did 7 hard levels. I'm just happy
how many
about
points
that,
did you get,
dude.
Boosfer?
I did 3 hard, 4 medium, 1 7 easy.
What do I see? I got 340.
Individual.
No, individual in total?
Yeah.
Or game? I don't know which one.
No, individual by
Oh,
yourself.
of course,
598?
Pink did well, of course. The movement,
593.
Andy.
I'm so confused.
I just did 7 hard.
No, I think that's wait, that's your individual. I got 255 for that. What?
I got 853 individual.
Yeah, see, Caitlin, he probably did all hard, man. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Oh no, and then
This is too big of a. I think they're giving too many points for parkour. I think parkour should be worth way less. I think, yeah.
It is what it is.
This is the first event where I don't want to like do parkour. In other events, I'm like good at.
But they
parkour
finished. They
compared to other
finished the
players.
entirety of hard. That's why they
Yeah,
got so
exactly.
many points.
Are you surprised?
No, of course I'm
all,
not. I'm just
all
saying.
of Red Team did?
No,
No, I don't think the
No, no.
entire team did. I'm not.
there's just some individually good parkour
Like
players
Kaylin
that
did.
are all the team.
My 7th in the event now. Oh god, that dropped
wait,
me
are
so
we-
much.
event.
Voting?
It's just team balancing. Team balancing. We didn't get a
Not
single
yet.
good.
No, I think this is Twitter vote. This is Twitter vote.
Oof, I did really bad there. We should
21st
still have
though.
God damn it. Wait. Just showing me.
The parkour is very easy, very hard in this event though. I feel like that's encouraging for people that aren't that good at Minecraft.
Yeah, I mean it just straight up like, and then the points gained
It's
for it
just
is so much.
yeah, it's just straight up too hard. The difficulty of this is designed for players like Kalen. Maybe
Yeah.
he likes
okay,
it a
so
little
what
bit
do we want
harder
to do
as
for
well,
the
but
audience
it's
poll
like-
here?
That's literally it.
Well, we don't. I have no idea. Isn't that the audience? I don't know. I feel like everyone's just gonna do bingo.
Probably, but it's third most voted. So like, what do we want to like get everyone to vote for to get it out?
Guardians of the Chamber, right? Or honestly, I don't even.
Do we want to save that for
Rapid
later?
Racers.
Or...
Actually, I don't know. Damn.
Yeah.
So what are we voting? Wait, we don't. What?
Chat, everyone, do me a favor and vote here for what you don't want. Wait, but don't vote yet.
Don't. We probably don't
We
want to
should
play.
save-
Is
Guardians
there
of the
another?
Chamber, right?
Is there an? What about the Ace Race game? Is it in?
That's rapid.
Yeah, that
Racing.
should be Rapid Racers.
Yeah, let's get that out. Holy
So, but
shit,
we need to
I
vote
like
for the one. No, but wouldn't we be voting for the one we're trying to save though? Because it's the third most voted, not the most voted. So the most
that.
voted one
Yeah,
guarantees
let's
us
vote for
saving.
that. Let's vote
So
for
what are we
that,
what are we
man.
saving? Guardians of the Chamber or Rapid Racers?
Right now, it looks like multi-sleeps.
I'd say we save Rapid Racers.
Yeah, vote for Rapid Racers. I just voted Rapid Racers. Save that.
Okay.
Wait, is it Twitter votes?
Yeah.
Twitter vote, sure.
Yeah, put the link in chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna put a rank in mine as well.
Oh,
Okay,
multi-sleeps
chat,
is winning.
everyone-
Guardians of the
everyone's
Guardians of the Chamber
chats.
second.
didn't
Rapid
even
Racers
know
in
we're
third.
voting on-
Vote Rapid Racers.
Rapid Racers is what we're voting.
Rapid Racers.
No, wait, Rapid Racers is
Rapid Racers is third right now. On my screen
Wait,
at
can I
least.
go-
Yeah, Rapid Racers is third. Yeah. No, Rapid Racers is second for me now.
Yo, I need to go pee so
Refresh.
bad.
Do it then. We probably have time.
Yeah, we have time. We have 4
Oh
minutes.
yeah,
so-
you have 4 minutes. Okay, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna go do that
Guardians-
as well then. I'll be right back.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna go as well.
Wait, so what are we voting for? Guardians of the Chamber?
Vote Rapid Racers.
We're voting for Rapid Racers.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. Okay, chat. I'm gonna share a link in here. Vote for Rapid Racers. If you guys have Twitter. So vote for Rapid Racers. Dude, I did so bad in the parkour.
Hey, is anyone here? You're all talking to your chats,
No,
aren't you?
no, we're not here. What's up? What's up? What's up? What's up?
I'm just checking in on my favorite team.
You should make the parkour a little bit easier. It's designed to like top.
Yeah, I don't
players
think-
a little bit.
I don't think enough people finished, but no. The whole point of it is that you're not meant to finish. So
But isn't that like a little bit like I'm not even a bad Minecraft player. How is like an average Minecraft player not even average? Like, what if a not even a good Minecraft player wants to play in the event, that's not gonna feel very encouraging for them, you know? Like, they should at least be able to complete 2 hard levels. I think there are some people that wouldn't even be able to complete 1 hard level. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yes, scaling definitely needs to be ramped.
I don't know what you guys are going for,
increase
so I don't want to like shit on anything, but it's like that's just like my insight.
Put it in feedback channel at the end of the event, and we'll
It's actually
try and
true though. Now I'm looking at what Boosfer's saying. It's like everyone that's like.
I know like there are a lot of good players in the event right now, but if you guys eventually get some players that are not so like cracked at Minecraft, I don't know, because you guys did say it's a chill event. Obviously, currently at this state, it looks like a very sweaty event. But if like any chill players want to like participate, I feel like they will just completely get their confidence shattered in the parkour area. And then the points are gonna be very different and stuff like that, you know?
Definitely something we need to work on. Yeah.
But I do understand that, like, it's supposed to be hard, you know? I do understand that.
Why is Kenzie here?
I'm seeing how you're doing. I'm just dropping in because I can't be here for long because there's like a minute and I need to start the game in a minute.
Goal points are balanced.
I think Kenzie's just going around just in everybody's voice chat saying that they're his favorite team and.
Oh, okay, got you.
So he came to our chat.
Yeah, he said that we're his favorite team. You know, is that a lie or is it true, Kenzie's?
I think he's left.
Oh, damn. So, I'm never participating in this event again. I just got left on red. This is crazy.
GG.
Oh, boys.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Ready.
Alright, it's fine. We're gonna cook the next. See, the thing is, right?
I did tell my chat to vote. I don't know if that did anything.
We're only we're less than 1,000 points behind.
Rapid Racers is second now.
Yeah, so we're playing Guardians.
That's the one we didn't want to play.
Yeah,
yeah, unlucky. It is where it is.
That's the one we.
That's why we should have voted for that. We should have voted for that to make sure it wasn't third.
But you guys.
I mean, there's no way of knowing what
other
people are gonna vote for, though. That's
yeah,
not
but
all of us voted
Rapid
for that.
Racers. I kind of did tell my chat to vote Rapid Racers, so my bad.
That's so good.
It is where it is.
We're voting for the game we wanted to play last. Great.
It's fine. Bingo will go crazy. Bingo will go crazy.
I mean, we haven't been really popping off on PvP games. I'm not gonna lie, we haven't been really popping off in PvP games either.
That's because they're messy. They're messy games.
What place are we? Okay, we just gotta not get last according to the prediction, you know? Do we even have a chance to get first still, or at least top 2?
I mean, I'm sure there's mathematically,
We're less than 1,000 points behind with 3 games.
Yeah, and with the more games later on, like, we can cook.
Have to pop off right now. Like, this is our time to pop off.
We have 4 games, yeah, exactly. We got this. I'm quite good at the race map. I'm quite good at it.
GG's, we lost. Start praying.
Wait, so what's
no, we're not.
The chamber? What is that?
Yeah, just battle box. We all have the same kit.
Okay.
I think unless I'm wrong, it's a bit like the block was. You know how they place the guardians at either side and you have to mine the other person's one? I'm pretty sure it's that.
Block Wars doesn't have anything like that.
Oh, so it's Mayhem I'm thinking of then.
So
okay, cool.
CS:GO with the same kit. Gotcha.
Block Wars battle box game is just.
Oh wait, no, yeah, you're right. Sorry. Okay, yeah. So basically, we go to either side of the map pretty much, and we place our guardian thing, and you either destroy the other person's one or kill the entire team and destroy it, and then that's how you win. So we need basically we need to make sure.
What if we don't place it? What if we don't place it?
You have to place it.
But what if we don't place it?
Otherwise, I think it places it for you, and you get screwed over. So we have to place it.
Yeah, let's just place it.
Yeah.
Is there only one person who chooses, or can everybody?
No, I think it's just one person. I think someone picks up. Maybe I don't know.
It would have been funny if all of us could just right-click on different places at the same time and we get 4 places down.
True. That's smart.
Yeah, no, that's not how that works.
Ban Anthos.
The time has ended.
Yep, we're just waiting.
So we just got to defend and fight, but we all this time we all have the same kit, so it's better.
Is your team ready? Yes. Nice Boosfer.
Oh, you're first. You get bonus boost from me first.
True. I wish.
Bum.
That's fine. I'm 21st. I can get top 20 here.
Guardians of the Chamber. Here he goes.
All right, let's do it.
Oh, Guardians of the Chamber. Here's a tutorial.
This is where we cook. We're gonna go 9 for 9. Here we go. Okay.
Yep, surely.
Oh my,
for
my,
9.
my, oh.
7 for 7. I knew
Yeah.
that.
Guardian box. You guys also have a guardian
Does
box?
everyone have it? Yeah, because it's just
yeah.
we're scouting.
Okay,
That's
let's
fine.
all go in each corner of the room and just right click, okay?
No, because we're just scouting. This is the scout.
3, 2, 1. No, I mean like when the round starts, you know?
Wait, so there's
If
this.
you do not place your box, then you'll be given negative effects. Okay, so we have to place it. Otherwise,
Nah, we can win with the negative effect, okay? We just
Nah,
all go
probably
in and mine the
bad.
things.
I found like a really good place in point B to place it, like behind the leaf.
Okay, so we literally battle every single team. Okay, cool.
Can we like place
We just
it
yeah,
on,
one team.
like on top of a leaf or something?
I think
Or
so.
on top
Yeah.
of
You can place it
trapdoors?
wherever you want. You can place it wherever you want. I
What's
guess
the point
I'm
of-
assuming not on a chain. What's the
Let's
point
just
of what?
place it. Let's just place it in a place where it's hard to reach, you know?
Yeah, that's the idea.
Just stay alive.
This is CS:GO.
Don't die.
Wait, can you
Camp
go here? Oh my
Camp
god.
camp our guardian box at all times. Don't be afraid.
No,
of
this is
anyone.
where we cook. We're gonna pop this. We're gonna pop off. We're gonna pop off, and this will come back.
Don't be afraid of anyone.
Yep.
Versus blueberries. Don't.
I have the
don't
book.
even-
I have the book. I have the book.
I have the
I have a
box
box
as
as
well.
well. We all have a box.
I have
Oh,
the
so it's
box
first to
as
place
well.
it. So it's first to place it. So
Yeah.
we choose.
I don't
want to
place it. I don't want to place it. I don't want to place it.
I don't want to place either. I don't want to be the one to place it.
I guess I can.
Okay, Andres has the game plan. Andres has the game
Come
plan.
here, come here. It's literally CS:GO. Follow me.
As if you said go, but we both
We lost.
placed
He said CS:GO. He said CS:GO. We lost. We lost.
We go A.
No, but I left it.
It's not.
How do you know? Oh, you can see that highlight. Okay.
Okay, so there we
Now
go.
we have
So
so
now
we
we
have to
gotta-
defend it, but also go for their one.
Attack. Me and Boosfer attack. You
No,
got it.
no,
okay,
we don't do
okay.
2 for 2. They're gonna stick together. Everyone always.
They're
sticks
all-
together
there's 3 of them
in
pushing.
mode. Yes, and one's defending. See, they're being silly. We can't let them be silly.
I'm with you, Boosfer.
Shot him twice. Nucleary's low.
You're kind of in me.
Sorry.
No.
I wonder. Be careful that nobody's like
Got
going
him.
for our things, you know?
Yep, I'm coming back to the thing. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're good.
Kill one. Kill one. Kill one.
Nice.
Okay, nice. Now we
Backing
rush.
up,
Now we
backing
rush.
up.
Now we rush. Just make sure you have eyes on all of them, which we do. We have eyes on all of them right now.
A little low, okay.
Lucky's low.
Kill Waggy. Nice.
Kill both. Kill both. Kill both.
Nice.
Go in.
Just kill them before you mine it. Kill them before you mine it. Let's kill them. Yes,
Nice.
nice. Okay, now mine it. Now mine it.
I'll mine it. I'll mine it. I'll mine it. I'll mine it. I'll mine it. I'll mine it.
Or from, yeah.
Bro, boost for stop. Boost for stop. Boost for stop. Boost for stop. You're being silly.
I'm mining it. 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 Do I get points if I mine it? Like
No,
individual
I think
points?
we share points. We share points for
Yeah.
mining it. So it doesn't matter if you mine it.
Somebody
No, it's
stole my
okay.
ace, by the way. Who the fuck stole my ace?
Yeah, it was me.
Orbitz?
Sorry.
Orbitz?
Oh.
You better shove that mud cake up your ass. Because I will be
already
coming
have.
for you.
I already have. I
You
already have.
stole
I already
my
have.
ace.
And I killed Pancake as well.
Don't do that next time, okay?
I didn't
okay.
know, bro. I didn't know. Sorry.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
Should've
Okay,
gone
red.
next time.
Okay,
Should've
right
gone
up
next
against red. Same plan.
This should go.
time. I just flank.
No,
Okay.
we need to stick together. See how-
No, I mean like I slowly flank. I see
Yeah,
their
but see how one of them
position,
split up. See how one of them split up and it killed them. We have
Yeah,
to stay
exactly.
together. As soon as they died, it shifted the entire plane off.
Don't
it.
win at plan A. Don't win at plan A. I don't get split up.
Okay.
Okay.
Plan
Yeah,
A.
they're going B, so that's good. Place at the back. Place at the back. Actually, no. Place at the front so we can keep an eye on it. That's good. There we go. Okay, cool. Right now we need to just hold them off. Make sure they don't sneak attack us. As soon as we kill one, it shifts the entire momentum. All 4 of them are still there. If you can't see someone, call it out. Okay.
Yeah.
If you think someone's gone missing.
One's going left.
Wait, two.
Help
I'm just
me.
Yeah, I'm coming back to you.
Move around to us. That's it. I'm low.
What?
Oh, they're right here.
Wait, they're to the left. Be
Yeah.
careful.
They're not really pushing though. I feel like we
Pushing
need
through
to
middle.
like,
Pushing
make
through
a
middle.
push. He's
Got
not
one. No, I'm dead.
Oh crap.
I'm alive.
Ooh, I'm too hard.
I wanted him dead.
I think so.
No.
Yeah.
We didn't kill Mr. Cat. One's going
Okay,
left. One's
okay,
going left. Back to back.
Back left.
I need help.
I'm really low.
Nice. One behind us.
I'm dead.
Tyler, slow.
Fuck!
Oh, not nice. I got him.
Okay. One left. Mr. Cat left behind. Just shooting. Up in the
Hey,
corner.
Bruce, we
Can
need to
ping?
together. Bruce, I don't have any. I'm half.
No, I'm dead. I'm dead.
dead.
Mr. Cat is
Sorry,
at.
Andre.
Mr. Cat is at 249, -2 up in the tower. Behind, like crouched
Oh,
behind.
I didn't see him.
He's literally playing.
He's looking at you?
Guardian.
Get him.
You can just shoot him once and he's dead.
Nice! Stop, Orbit.
Let's
go.
Big play, big plays.
We're in first place, by the way. We're chill. We're popping off, popping off.
Oh my god. Oh,
Did we get banned if we typed S? If we typed S, did we get banned?
my god. GG. Oh,
Nice. Good stuff.
Holy.
Bro, I got destroyed by Kyle, man.
Alright, we're going again. We go again.
We're up against that. We're up against that. I quit. We're up against. Okay, this is Kel Awesome and thingy.
Here we go. Pause.
Go ahead.
Not even close. Not even close. Are we going B again?
We're going A.
Wait, we're going A. I thought we were going B.
Nah, we're
right?
going A. We're going A.
Okay, if they start running A, we need them to go back.
They're going towards B, so yeah, we just.
Are they going B? Yeah, they're going B.
You can see which side they're standing on, and then choose which side.
Yeah, of course. Okay, right. This is ideally we need to get rid of Kel Awesome and Landon Legends first. Obviously, don't just target them.
This is not their team.
Don't waste your a guy's running around to the left, by the way.
Oh,
Cloud is
sorry,
running to
this
the
is
left.
AJ's
Cloud is running to the left. Cloud is running to the left. Two people running to the left.
Cable this guy.
I boned him once.
Wait, someone's middle, someone's right. Someone's middle, someone's right. Captain Ajax is right. I'm going for Ajax. I'm going
back
for
to you,
Ajax.
Orbit. Back to you, Orbit.
I'm going for the captain. Oh, there was their teammate. I got a bit carried away.
Ajax is low. Ajax is less than half health.
No, one's on
Andre.
I him. Ajax is like dead. Ajax is. Wait. Our guardian. Is anyone our guardian?
I need help.
But they're
Coming
coming. They're coming.
to me.
Above you,
They're gonna rush in.
They're rushing in, yeah. Get this guy.
Kill him. He's loyal.
MC Morgan,
Dude, I'm dead. Andres, why did you go alone?
Morgan dead.
They're all one. You got this. Nice.
Cloud is dead. Cloud is low. Cloud is low. Our guardian.
Nice. He's low.
Cloud is low. Our guardian.
He's loading.
It's a 1v1 potato. You got this. You got this.
Oh no.
No, unlucky. You tried. It's all good. It's all good.
Thanks for giving us that. Appreciate you so much. Love you.
Interesting. You shouldn't go alone like that.
I got carried away. I should have stuck with you guys. I shouldn't have chased Cloud. I'm sorry.
Oh man, I missed one arrow. That's on me.
Nah, we got it. I mean, to be honest, we almost won where one of us just ran it down, kind of. And that's kind of impressive. Yeah, that's impressive.
Okay,
yeah,
but we need you better. Who are we up against now? We're up against Cyan. Okay, we're actually up against the team that I fought last time.
Alright.
They're easy.
Alright, we got this.
Okay, which side are they going?
We're going.
I think they're gravitating towards.
Let's go B. Let's go B.
Do we want to fight them early or?
No, we
We're
don't.
gonna be fighting them early if we go B.
No, they're going. Yeah, they're going B.
Okay, go A.
Unless they do a bait into it.
Andres, A.
They're going A. Yeah, they're going A.
Go B.
So let's go B. Let's go B.
Okay, yeah.
Guys, we're going B.
Let me place it. How do you place it?
You just right click it.
Oh, it's because I had my crossbow in my up
Nice up, Booster. How do you get into the house?
I hit one.
Come back.
Oh, the side is different. Oh, there's someone on the right. Someone on the right. Landon Legends.
Yeah, I know.
I just got shot by Kel Awesome. We need to be careful not to get shot. I've been shot twice. Should I try and flank? I can try and flank him.
Guys running at me. Turn.
Nice, okay. That's
Okay,
Landon Legends. That's good.
That's really good. I'm 2.5.
I'm forces. Kel Awesome's been.
Oh, one pushing up space runners.
Yeah, they've been shot twice.
They're one.
Okay, someone behind. Boosfer.
I don't have him. I'm one hit.
Don't mind.
There's another on 7. Go. There's another on 7.
Behind you. Battalion, no mind. Don't mind. Behind you. Get out.
Yeah, I know.
One's on 2, one's on 7. You got it.
Oh, you know what? You did good. That was good.
Close. Yeah, I don't know. We're kind of thrown because there was one dude who rushed us behind, and the other two of us just ran forward for some reason when we should have just turned and got him. Because we did get him, but he did a lot of damage to us.
You there.
Yeah, Potato was with me, and you guys just ran.
But I mean, I don't think we should all 4 collapse on one guy.
No, if we collapse on one guy, that's good because then he gets to deal less damage to one of us because he dealt like so much damage to me.
Space, which
I'll engage for Kaylin, Ava, Reggie, and CJC. Okay.
Play smart. Go A.
Yeah, we did. If we, they're going B.
This one's gonna be hard.
This one's gonna be easy. If we all collapse on one guy and get rid of them, then that's really good. Then it's a 4v3.
Okay, fair enough.
We're still top 3. And we're like 210 points higher than Blink.
We got this.
Wait, place it. Nice. Okay.
Freaking arrow just shot.
Just make sure not to
don't
get tagged
be like
early on
that,
because what I
Orbitz,
keep
don't
doing.
be-
Yeah, I know.
Two going left. Two going left.
Someone's on the left, yeah.
One on the right. One on the right. Actually,
Okay, Boosfer, do you wanna go for the right one with me?
yeah, I'm going
Two
for it.
v one
He's
here.
here.
Okay, go, I'm coming.
One's up top. Oh, one's to the left. They're coming
Get him,
behind.
get him.
I'm half health.
Ow.
I gotta
Someone's
get out,
above
I
us,
gotta get
Kellen's
out.
above us.
They're like in our base. They're in our base.
Kellen's above us, Kellen's here, Kellen's trapped me. Kellen's killed me. They
I'm gonna
went
mine.
for
I'm gonna
me.
mine. I'm gonna mine.
Where?
Yeah, go,
Oh
go,
wait,
go.
no. He's on our base. He's on our base. I'm dead.
Yeah, I'm mining.
Yeah. Just stick it.
They're not mining us.
Yeah, because it's just one of those. Literally just stick the mine.
I couldn't mine, dude.
Wait, Andres is 1v1. Andres is 1v1. Kalen, you've
They
asked
are full
Kalen.
health. They're full health.
Yeah, Andres, you needed to follow him there. I don't know what you were doing.
You couldn't find him.
No, but you can see his name tag. You got it though. You got it. He's 13. Nice.
Oh, nice try.
okay.
Okay.
It's just 1v1, so we're just
I
losing.
just don't know where he's at. I need some, you know?
Yeah, I think Orbitz said that he was on our
Yeah,
base
and
when
I
he
flanked
wasn't.
around and he wasn't
Yeah,
there.
he wasn't on our base. He was
I
like in
thought
the
he
middle.
was. No, Kalen killed me and ran towards our base, but then must have went back on himself.
No, he was running straight back to their base because I was
Oh,
mining, so
shit,
he was
sorry.
just not staying there. Yeah, guys, you just need to find his name tag and then call
They're
him
still
out.
third though.
You
They're
can't
still
have
third.
that.
Yeah, we're good.
We're up against Lime. Okay, okay. I feel like this is a win.
It takes like ages to mine though, by the way.
Every
Yeah.
team is bad. Every team is bad. We got this.
Exactly.
Don't press tab. Don't press tab. Don't care who it is. Just go.
Yeah,
for
they're
it.
going A.
We're gonna be. Which one with you?
Be careful, be careful. Don't get tagged. We're all peeking. That's not good. We're kind of split.
One's up there
Nobody
with,
up there. There's nobody
yours.
up there, Andre.
Yeah, there's two of them up there.
One's in mid. Two in mid.
Fire Breath Man's up to the left, by the way. Oh no, never mind. No, they're not.
Be careful, be careful. Don't peek that.
Fire Breath Man's in middle.
Don't peek that.
Yep. They're just all in middle.
Okay.
They're not flanking at all. We can just kind of sit here and let them push us maybe.
Yeah.
Weight box hit. Weight box for like half or so.
That one.
Made box is a sneaky
Andre,
color.
don't get.
Yep.
Fire breath
All
man
four
is-
of them are still here.
Another one.
Don't get hit. Don't get
Come
hit.
again.
Wade box is flanking around to the
I'm
left right
going.
now.
Wait. Hold middle. I'm gonna go with Andre.
Yeah.
Wade box is
saying mid.
Wade
I'm
box is
low
at our base. Wade box is at our base. I don't think he knows I'm behind him though. Yeah, he doesn't know I'm behind him. I got Wade box.
I need help. I need help. I need help. I need help.
Well, one's dead. One's dead. One's
Right.
dead.
On. Yeah. Right.
They're dead. Nice.
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 Yep.
Keep going.
Guy behind us.
Oh,
Behind us.
one,
Behind us.
one.
Turn.
Booster. Mining. 11.
Nice. Huge comms.
Alright, nice.
Nice. I'm Fire
Fire
Breath
Breath
Man's
is
on
one.
one.
Fire Breath
He's in mid. He's on base.
Booster behind you.
Going on base.
I'm going.
He's mining. He's literally one HP. Just get him. Nice.
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 Good stuff.
Nice.
You guys
I
got
missed
mine.
that as well.
I don't think we're gonna have enough time.
Yes, you do. Just start mining. Just don't go inside each other.
Can we mine? Like, does it speed up if we both mine?
I don't know. I don't think we're gonna have enough time to mine it though. Please, come on,
Yes.
bro.
Wait, you got it. I think.
We got it, right?
No, we didn't get it. We didn't
I
get
don't
it.
know.
Do we have extra? Do we get extra points if we mine it though?
Yeah,
Probably.
you get like
How
an
much?
extra like 100.
Oh,
don't press
dude.
tab.
Oh, we didn't get it. No.
They need to
But
make it.
I should have went for it while you was fighting Fire Breath Man. I'm
They
sorry.
definitely need to make it faster to mine because you can't even make any plays.
Like this
on
is
that.
pink team. We're up against pink team. By the way.
I'm planning it.
But then if they make it too fast to mine, Booster, where are you going?
Someone got here.
No, I'm just checking.
Hey.
One going A. One going A.
That's
rest
damage
would be-
one. Yeah.
I hit him once.
Yeah. Some of them going left. Some of them go left. Come with me. On me.
Stop. Fire.
I hit Musky and Sandwich with a bow.
He's low.
Nice. Got Jack.
Nice.
Nice, good stuff. Sandwich and Musky have both been hit with a bow. They're both quite low-ish. To an extent.
I'm kind of pushing to the left, so you guys just
I'll
pressure
come
them.
with you. Okay.
Not pressure them.
Phase raise
Go,
on
go, go,
20.
go, go, go,
Phase
go,
raise
go,
on me.
go.
Phase raise on me. Phase raise on me.
Go. Nice.
Sandwich for one.
He's one.
Dead.
Nice. It's a 2v1. 2v1.
He's 10. You got it.
Nice.
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 Mine.
Good shit. Okay, good.
Good stuff.
That puts
We
us
like
in first.
gold
That
that.
puts us in
Dude,
first.
potato,
That's good.
good comms there. If you didn't say that you're following, I would have just not pushed in there.
Okay.
Bro, this guy plays CS:GO like it's a religion.
Yeah, guys, that's good.
yeah,
That's good. That's
but it
good,
helps.
that's good.
There we go. Oh, we should have. If we. By the way, if we mine that box in time, it takes too long. It takes so long. That's like more than 10 seconds.
Apparently.
Yeah,
So if you
exactly.
look
So
at the timer.
if they really,
I should have run for it while you was fighting fire breath, man. I'm sorry, I just didn't think.
Hey,
there's really no way to like. There's
Oh
really
my
no way
God,
to
bro, I'm
flank
sweating,
here.
bro.
There's no way to make plays here where somebody distracts and somebody mines.
Yeah.
Because
That was
it
really
just
good though.
takes,
That was
like-
really, really good.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. That was
We
good.
won what? 4 rounds?
Why
Yeah,
am I
that's good.
shaking, bruh?
This
No,
is
you're doing good.
intense.
You're doing good. You're doing
Mika,
good.
thanks for the 5 gifted. What the?
Mikas
Yo.
has gifted
Thank
a
you so
sub
much,
to
Mika. I appreciate you so much. Yo,
_N3.
I'm so sorry, chat. I'm playing like garbage. This is my first ever event, and I'm like shaking for some reason. I don't know. I gotta calm down. I gotta calm down, chat.
Mikas has gifted a sub to Naught Long Legs.
I trust me. Yo, let me just get in the zone.
Come back, especially with the point multiplier. Andres, how many
It's not good
kills did
enough.
you
We're
get?
not first. I mean, we
4
did
kills,
throw
4
like a
kills.
couple.
Okay, so we got
Those
7,
games that
7,
we
7,
lost,
and
we
4.
could've
That's
won.
good.
Mikas has
Those
gifted a
games that we
sub to
threw, we could have
Jirabear.
won.
Yeah,
So
7
we did
kills?
throw a little bit.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, we all got
So
7
still
kills.
good.
And you got
We all
4.
got 7.
Damn,
Dubs.
Wow,
I
okay.
suck.
I think we still did really good though. Other than like pink, we got like a lot more points
I'm
than.
so sorry. I'm playing like garbage,
Right.
and my comms are bad.
You're
I'm
fine,
sorry.
bro.
Bro, you're
No,
good.
no,
You're
no,
good.
no.
You're good. Don't worry about it. It's
Hey,
all
It's
good.
your
good.
first event. It's fine.
Nervous.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, cool. Look. That's a big gain. We went from like, bro, how many kills did they get to
Mikas
place that?
has
I got.
gifted a sub to
Well, no,
Yeah,
they
no,
probably
we-
just did really well individually, but then didn't like other people on their team just kind of threw. Like we
Oh,
played
but
well
then
as
I-
a team. We all got 7 kills, but like we weren't like crazy high.
Where are we? Bro, that moved
We're
us like
6th.
nowhere. What? We were 7th a minute ago. That
Uh,
moved us nowhere.
1,300.
I mean, look, we're only
50
200 points behind
Yep.
4th. We're what
Mikas
500
has
points.
Mika,
gifted a
thank you so
sub
much. I
to
appreciate
Earth
the gifted.
Jaguar _.
Oh, for to get to second, we were less than 1,000 points behind.
I
We're
don't
now
wanna see
1.3k
these individuals,
behind.
bro. I'm 14th, bro.
Again, it's still,
Yo, 17th. Let's go. I carried.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
Akron
nice.
signed that like really
No, we
well.
moved up in position actually. We're
Dude, the entire sign is like.
yo, I
like,
moved up. I'm 22nd.
Dude, the entire sign is just like like 3 of them are top 10. I think. No, 2 of them.
Yeah, it's just a good team.
Damn.
MHR is complimenting your team skin.
I love the team skin boost for. See, guys, see, putting in effort into making the skin works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh shit, Booster, you're 10th. Fair play.
I got to pack.
No, you're
I
under.
got to pack. You don't want to know. Trust me, this next one I'm gonna pop off.
I'm 17th right now.
Yo, why
Which
is
is
my
good, I'll say
FPS?
that.
Yar Bonzo. My FPS is like literally 10.
Alright, we still have like, I mean, what we have like, so we have bingo, which I feel like we can be quite good at because our communication is actually really good when we actually communicate. So that we can pop off in. Then we also have the ace race one, which I get rapid races, and then
Ace race
sleep.
is
They're the
gonna be
last
individual.
3. They're the last
I
3.
feel like we should honestly get Ace Race done first, just so we don't have to worry about individual points in the final.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think people are gonna save it. But we'll go
So
rapid
rapid
races.
races.
Rapid races, then bingo, then well, no, multi sleep is also individual as well.
Redunes? Redunes the gun. Redunes has a gun.
Oh.
Boosfer's gonna go after you. Boosfer! Oh, he shot
He
you.
didn't do any.
How did red team
We're
get so many
definitely-
pings?
This is gonna be bingo.
I love bingo.
Oh yeah, bingo as well.
Whatever, it's fine. We just gotta calm here and do well.
Then in the final 2 games are just solos, so it's actually just individual then. Bro, Sanjos has 800 more points than me. That's crazy.
I mean, yeah, he's a better player.
Nah, he sucks.
Oh,
he
yeah,
sucks.
just-
We got it. We got it. He sucks. He's
No, I'm
ass,
just
he's ass,
saying like
we
it's
got it, we
crazy
got
like
it.
the difference.
Nah, he's
Alright,
ass,
bingo.
he's ass, we
Okay,
got
I
it,
don't
we got it,
actually
we got it,
really
we
know
got
how
it.
bingo
Yeah,
works.
it's pretty much just bingo.
Either.
That's all I know.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. I mean,
Oh wait, it's in the sky. It's bingo in the sky as well.
Huh?
So I don't know if we go into the void if we die or if we respawn. That's the issue.
I don't know. You can test it if you want.
No, we don't test it.
Oh yeah, let me test it.
Yeah.
Right, see that's the map. It's in the sky. I guess like what I don't actually know. Did anyone ask like how the rows work? Do we get bingo for rows or is it
It'll
just
explain
like
right
is
now.
it like
It'll-
lock up?
It'll explain in chat right now. Here's a
Yeah,
tutorial.
explain. Yeah, just wait.
Okay,
Okay, so
3 players spawns with some
as many crystals within 10 minutes. Okay.
Dude, it's so hot in my room right now.
Yeah, I got my
Should
fan.
I-
out.
should I
Okay.
get naked,
So
guys? Should I
it's
get
first.
naked?
It's first come first serve.
Is this spleef?
Not. Yeah. This is sleep.
Oh, it's bingo. Oh god. Is this Skylands? Does any
AJ, love you.
if we need anything for that, so I'm going there.
Okay, so you just complete anything you can, and the quicker you do it, the more points you get.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
What do you mean complete anything you can? Is
Slash
there gonna be a
return
bingo
bingo
board?
You'll get like a bingo card or something.
Okay,
And
if you
then-
die,
Like-
slash return bingo items, right? No, am I tripping?
Yeah, I'm assuming that's what that means.
Oh, what is this?
Okay.
Speed boost bingo card. Oh shit.
Wait, why is there a sword? Can you fight people here?
Probably fight.
No, it's really for mods.
Mobs, yeah.
I think the speed boost is the thing.
Wait,
boost, okay.
wallpaper. Boost for this wallpaper.
Oh, you have to right click it. Shit. Okay. Composter. I can make a composter. Oh, you have to jump off the edge. Are you serious? Oh yeah, I'm gonna go for a composter.
Wait, as a thing, like jumping off the edge, or
Yeah, like thing. Let me go for a composter.
like as a bingo thing, correct? Should I
No,
do it?
no. Sorry.
Oh.
No.
Okay.
I meant like to get down.
I got composter.
Nice.
Bro, but... Okay.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
No, fine.
I'm going
birch
for red
boy with
concrete.
chest.
I'm
I can
going
do the
for red
birch boy with
concrete.
chest.
I'm gonna go for red concrete. If I get.
I got a birch boy with the
Yep, I'm getting
chest.
birch mode as well.
No, I've already got it. Is it each?
Wait, how do I use the birch? Wait, did it not register?
No, it's per team, but it doesn't, for some reason,
I'm
tell us when
so
we've done it.
confused.
Wait, so wait, it is.
Yeah, but it doesn't.
Okay.
Oh, if you hover over it, it says collected or not collected.
Okay.
Oh, it
Dude,
changes
where's
every
the-
single time you complete one. It gets rid of it.
Oh, what? Okay.
Yeah, it's proper weird. Okay.
Where's your
Somebody,
rockets?
I'm gonna
Are we
get
supposed to have
shears. I'm gonna get
rockets?
shears.
Yeah,
gonna get
there's a
shears, I'm gonna
speed
get
boost
shears.
thing.
I'm gonna get shears for cobweb. Wait, you got shears?
Yeah.
Okay.
Barrier. Oh, the barrier blocks is what we've already got. Okay, snow. Where do I find snow?
I'm gonna get rails because I have a mine shaft.
Okay, I'm trying to find snow right now.
Please tell me that no, not everybody mined. Nice. Are you sure you got cobwebs, Andres? Go to the mine shaft. Go to the mine shaft.
Oh, someone sheared the grass. Someone sheared the grass. Whoever made shear the grass.
By the way,
Shear the grass?
Yeah, it's
Why
like
did
grass,
this-
I think.
No, I think you need soak.
why did this spider just fall off the edge?
Yeah, you don't get. You need soak touch for that, brother.
I thought. Oh.
I'm gonna try lapis if I find lapis anywhere.
Light grey carpet. Where even is all this?
I'm trying to find
I'm trying to
yellow.
find snow.
like,
I don't know where snow is.
Wait.
So bad. Like the fact that you can't just have it in your offhand is so sad that you have to right click it.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, it slows down again. Like, very
Light
well.
gray carpet.
I'm trying to find light grey now.
I'm just trying to
Oh,
find
snow. I got
spider.
snow. I got snow. Oh, but you need silk touch now.
Add things. Deep slate. Is this deep slate? Dude,
I don't know if it's gonna work. But I want to try something.
cobble deep slate.
It does work. Nice. Okay, I was about to get snow. Block of lapis. I'll go for a block of lapis.
Anybody going for a block of iron?
Yep, me right now.
I'm going for that right now. Oh,
There you
okay.
I'm getting a block of lapis.
You want to get it? You can get it if you're close to it.
I
you get
can,
it.
yeah, I can.
Okay, but
I'm
go
just
for it.
finding iron.
How do you make a loom? Feathers, no?
No, you need.
Are you sure you can't cross the
two
ships?
string,
Yeah, got it.
and then for like a crafting table thing. I got the
I can't find any iron, so Andres, if you have the iron to make it.
white terracotta. Anybody get the? Okay, I'm gonna go for
I got
the white
snow.
terracotta.
But the barriers is what we've already got. The barriers is what we've already got.
I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
that's
for
like
white
black rock.
terracotta.
I see diamonds. Is there anything for diamonds?
No, you need
Just
to,
take it
get
anyways.
lapis. Yeah, get lapis as well.
I've already got the lapis block.
I can't find iron.
TNT cart, yellow stained glass, white terracotta. Oh, spider eye. I might look for a spider eye.
Yeah, I'm looking for spider eye. Is like just if you see a spider, just kill it. But other than
Is
that,
it auto
just
smell,
don't.
by the way? Is it auto smell?
No.
I have no idea.
It's not. Okay.
I
That's
found
fine,
one
okay.
gravel. What is this?
I had gravel. What do you need gravel for?
No, I got it. I just need the red concrete. I'm going
Okay.
for it. Don't worry. I got gravel. It's fine.
Oh,
Wait, do
that's
you see
fine.
block of lapis lazuli?
Okay, surely there's a flower somewhere here, right?
That's what I've been looking for, but I don't see it.
The red flower? You can see it. Is there any bone meal that we can get possibly, maybe?
If you kill, I saw skellies earlier. I'm waiting on my iron to smelt, and then I will.
I hate this texture pack, dude.
Yeah, it's not great.
Oh yeah, we're doing
grass.
horribly
Okay.
here.
Yes, I got a spider eye.
Nice.
Okay. Light grey carpet. How do you make a target block?
I'm gonna go for a kelp block. I'm gonna
Isn't
go
that
for
like
kelp
hay
block.
bales or something? You know, you can like use the search thing, right? Is that? Target. I don't have the item store.
How do I make a loom? How do I make a loom? How do I make a loom?
2 string and crafting table. So just.
I can make it. I can make a loom. Did you already make one?
Yeah, I made it.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay. My bad.
Wait, did I not put?
Okay, target's hay and redstone.
Wait, did you not get the iron bucket?
I'm working.
Did this guy just try to steal stuff from me? Can you steal stuff from people?
Yeah, I guess why not?
I wonder if you can fight people in this or something.
Yeah, same. Why is he more cobble, but I can't believe mine.
2 more.
Mud?
Wait, I have iron potato. I have 1 more iron.
I mean, it's mine smelting. It's gonna be done in like 10 seconds.
What's that? 5 minutes.
Wait.
There we go. I got block of iron. Cool.
I'm going for kelp, by the way, so don't go for kelp.
So what you get?
Somebody get yellow banner if they can.
I will try and find flowers. Do we still need bone meal? I can go back down.
If somebody got white, go for white terracotta, because then you can get white glazed
I have
terracotta.
bone meal. I have bone meal.
Yeah, so go for white terracotta. You just need to get the clay block in the lush cave and then smelt that. Just
we already got
the full
grass.
clay block.
Okay.
Yeah, smelt the clay block and then smelt turn it into white terracotta. You need 8 blocks, I think. If you have the white concrete, like white dye, I can come to you or something.
Yeah, we really just need to find yellow right now. Like, what? Birch forest.
How do you get gray? What's gray? Light gray. That's just coal. No, coal, right? No.
Well,
Terracotta.
Who has white dye? Who has white dye? Who has white dye?
I don't have any.
No.
Somebody had bone meal.
me.
Can you bring me 1 white dye?
Yeah, what? Where are you? I see a red person. I think that's you. I'm not sure.
Negative 245, negative 32.
Is this you? Or is that up there?
I'm in.
That's top. Why did I see top?
I'm in a
Oh, I see you. I see you. I see you. Are you climbing up somewhere right now? No, that's space brownies. Fuck's sake.
No. I am at negative 244, negative 32 in a forest.
Negative 244.
Yeah, negative 32.
Negative 32. Oh god, I was gonna complete one.
I'm a yellow
okay.
dude. I'm a yellow dude.
Yeah, I'm coming.
My Y level is like 53, so you should.
Do we have anyone working on weapon horse armor yet?
Where are you? Where are you? I'm here.
No. You should work on that.
Okay, I'm trying to find cows. I saw them.
Where are you, Boosfer?
I'm in a dark oak forest. I'm in
minus
the Y53. Yeah, minus 244, minus 33. I'm at Y53.
Minus 244, minus 244. God,
I see you flying, I see you flying.
Oh, I see you down there,
Yeah, come to me.
Alright. I just dropped the bone meal for you.
Nah, you're good, Where?
There.
Yourself. Thank you.
Okay, light grey carpet. I might try and get that, but I don't know how I'm into it.
Nice. Stuff.
Wait.
Light grey carpet? Yeah. If Qndres has shears, maybe borrow them. Also,
I have shears as well.
We need six yellow wool. We need 3 blue wool. If you could try to go to the I'm gonna try to go to the
the shipwreck.
I'm gonna try to go to the ancient city and see if I can find some wool there.
That's what
I still can't find any cows. I saw them earlier.
Anybody got hay block or anything?
No.
Okay, make sure to at least carry some redstone with you because you can just get a target block easily.
I'm just trying to look for sheep right now, aren't I?
Hopefully
Does
not.
anyone have gunpowder on them?
No, my creeper blew up.
Damn it.
Surely this.
Oh yeah, level 4 some. I don't even know how you make level 4
Oh! What is this?
Wait, we're 3rd right now. That's good. Okay.
Yeah, we're doing decent.
Anyone have sand?
I can grab sand.
Yeah, I can get some.
I'm right here. And let me grab it, Potato. You keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, anyone sees any cows at all, honestly, just kill them and make the horse armor.
Yeah, tell me where to go, Qndres. Tell me where to go.
I have no
I got
idea.
sand.
I don't know where you're
Your
at.
cords,
I
F3, your cords.
I got sand.
Dude, holy fuck! Okay, there's a monument that I found.
Qndres,
Why is
F3, your
everything
cords.
deep ocean?
Yeah, I got sand already. Don't worry.
Why is everything
Oh,
deep
okay.
ocean, dude? Oh, you
I'm
got
still trying
sand.
to hunt for sheep.
Are you going for the
Wait.
yellow?
I see more sheep, but I see more-
Wait, why am I looking for sheep?
There's a cow.
Go for yellow glass, Andres. Go for
I'm
yellow
going for the
glass.
TNT in my
Can
card.
you even cry?
Okay, go for yellow glass as well if you can. I can bring you yellow dye.
Okay.
I'm at potato pie right now.
I see one more gunpowder.
Old Growth Birch Forest, I think this should do it. There we go. Okay, I got red and yellow dye. Does anybody still need red? Do we still need red?
No, so we still need the TNT. We need a blue
We do still
bed.
need
blue
red.
bed.
We do still need red. I can
Wait,
get red.
wait.
I can get red.
Okay,
I've got blue. I've got blue dye.
uh,
I've got blue dye. I need wool. I need wool. Has anyone got wool for a blue or string?
Yeah, I
Oh,
got blue.
we only got 30 seconds.
Okay, nice.
I just need a creeper.
I got yellow dye. I got yellow dye. Anybody need yellow dye?
No, I see a creeper.
I mean, we need to make the banner, but like I don't.
No, yellow glass. I'm gonna make that. I'm gonna make that.
Right, no, we don't got
Trying to make
creeper here.
that.
How much?
it's
That?
over.
Oh, yeah, we don't make it.
That's fine though. We fourth. That's still good.
Yeah, that's decent. I just couldn't
just
find any
lost at the
cows at
beginning.
all.
I was just very
Couldn't
lost
find
at the
any
beginning, dude.
creepers. Oh, damn.
I was, dude. They need to make it so you see it on the map. I was so lost at the beginning, dude. I was just flying aimlessly.
Yep.
Lost so much time on that. I mean, obviously blue gets it because it's just silver, you know. It's just like-
Yeah.
I think, didn't they just finish? Right? Did they finish?
I think they finished the entire card, yeah.
Jesus, dude.
Probably, yeah.
Also, as if Aqua keep placing above us, we're not gonna get top 2.
Also,
So now
is
we're
the-
just
does-
now we're
did-
just
did
kind of
every-
fighting to do well.
Did everybody get the same board? Because if we get different boards and we got
No,
like
you should get
three
the same
wool,
board.
Same boards, Booster.
No,
yeah, because
don't
we got
have the same
3 wool objectives. I don't know how they got wool. Did they just grab wool? from
String.
the-
I realized it. Yeah.
Well, no, I mean, there's
No,
sheep-
no,
there's
string
sheep
is bad.
mobs.
They could have just went to the deep dark, the ancient city, and
I mean, we
gotten
moved
the
up.
cyan wool there. If you can recolor
There
that
it
could be
is.
huge.
Oh, I was looking for a mine shaft and I finally found like one, and it's got like a shit ton of string on a spider spawner. That's what I was looking for.
I wonder how much individual.
We're less than 1,000
It's
behind
4
second place.
string.
Yep.
It's
Oh,
4
nice.
string for wool.
Maybe we did
We're
pretty
in
good.
6th though. We're doing good. Like
And again, we're less than 1,000 behind second place, so like anything can change these. In these last
18th.
few
Let's
games.
go.
place am I in now?
I'm still 22nd.
I think I was split between teams.
Oh,
I'm not sure,
13th?
How do you see it?
Right here, literally in front of
This
you.
is 11.
14th to 14th, 14th.
Where?
Bro, do you not see it right here? Seriously.
Oh, I'm 11th. Nice.
Alright, okay, this is it. 2 more games, right?
Okay, so we are. Yeah, I mean, yeah, we're like less than 1,000 points behind now.
Yo, it's
so.
still winnable,
Yeah.
guys. It's still winnable.
Yeah, way easily.
Well, if we absolutely destroy Spleef and destroy the race one, yeah.
Yeah, I doubt we destroyed the race one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, we should get again. We got to get race out of the way right now. Hope for
even
our-
if we
Everyone
get it
wants.
out of
Everyone
the way
wants.
right now.
Everyone wants.
We can't afford to do bad on that, so I'm gonna definitely try hard on that. I'm gonna do bad,
Yeah,
but
the
I'm gonna
races
try,
one.
dude.
Yeah. Oh, I could have done so much better in the bingo one. I'm sorry.
Same.
I
Dude,
it
was
took me
just-
because but the thing is, I know like
Yeah,
like I
I
know
was just
how to do stuff. I
confused.
just zoned
I was just
out.
confused that you needed to right click, dude. 'Cause
Yeah, I
I'm
didn't-
pretty sure the team that won, they probably just took their time and spent a minute looking at the board to plan things out.
Yeah,
Probably just gave it
yeah.
to everybody.
Honestly, what I
Also,
was
we
just doing
kinda-
is I was just going for anything we didn't have. And if I...
And
Well, the thing is, though-
Switch it, man.
fuck that resource back. They need to
Bro,
allow
I
us
draw-
to take off that resource back
Rapid
on the
Races,
speed
right?
running. I couldn't see what
Yeah,
was
Rapid
what.
Races.
Yeah, okay, nice. Okay, everybody wants a
Oh.
split finale. Oh shit.
my god. Oh, just died.
What just happened?
I just got...
Yeah, only the pink team wants. Yeah, it's probably just the pink team, dude.
He just killed the entire team. They can't demolish me.
Yeah, it's messed up. Yo, what is...
Wait, who did you kill?
Yo, we should...
Pink
I don't
team,
know.
the only ones who won it. The only ones who won it split. What is the question mark? Yo, let's go to the
We
question
don't
mark.
know.
Let's go to the question mark. Let's go to the question mark.
You sure?
Yeah, it would be more
Well,
fun to see what it is.
But too late now. It's gonna be reparations.
We go for the question mark in the finale. Surely.
I just looked at them. They were just the entire team was just standing on Maury's sleeve. I just hit them every single one of them with the line and run. Wow, okay, Boosfer.
Yeah, we're doing Rapid Racers.
Are we?
Wait, it's time. Maybe it's...
Wait,
no,
is
it's...
it?
No,
What's
doing
the
rapid
question mark? The question mark doesn't
No,
even
there's 5
come
in
up on
there.
the
There's
votes,
6 in
dude.
here.
Yeah, I know. Let's go for the question mark next round, surely. We
No,
don't
the
want
question
split,
mark
right?
is the question mark is an 8th game. The question mark is an 8th game. That hasn't been
Yeah.
added yet.
Oh.
Oh, so it's not...
like,
oh,
so
it's...
it's,
okay.
you just refuse
Oh,
to
so
vote?
it's the 7 games. The next one is split. We're playing split.
So you just refuse to vote? Let's just go on the question mark anyways for fun, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. Also, Boosfer, you killed my entire vibe. I was laughing, man. That was so funny.
Question.
I'm shaking.
No,
Every
I
time I
genuinely
say
thought
that.
it was funny, dude. Know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Sounds like it.
Oh, you
So
can't
yeah,
type?
this is where we probably just need to like mute up and focus for each of us.
Yeah, I'm gonna try hard. Yeah.
Fuck you guys! I don't want a British person
Fuck you,
spitting.
Boosfer. All right, chat. Everyone, chill. Clear comms. I got this. I got this, chat. I just gotta. Just get first, chat. Just get first. That's the goal. Right. So it's literally just parkour or just finish the lap. Okay. All right, let's get it. I'm gonna start a little back and just go 3, 2, 1. Okay. Oh, what? It's like a jump boost. Okay. Damn, so left is like the way to go. Okay. Okay. Not gonna lie, I kind of love these little colors. What? Was a little too big for that hole? Too big for that hole too? Huh? Okay. Yeah. That was really good for me. That was really good as well. Holy shit. Well, kind of fly style key. Okay. Yeah, these are like little new laps, I guess. Oh no. fucked it. It's fine. Ugh, I hate these little... Bruh, I can never fit. My skin doesn't fit. Yep, it's the skin. My whole team's ahead of me, I think. Okay. Am I done? Wait, I think I completed it already. Chat, did I complete it already or no? Oh, I did. Okay. Chat, what points did I get? 17th. Oof. Wait, this is actually... Oh, damn. Our team has to hurry up and complete it. I think a whole team already completed it.
That was not enjoyable.
I got 17th.
Wait,
that was pretty bad.
Okay, I got 23rd.
Somebody in the Discord said you don't need to VOD review, but I saw people taking some shortcuts that...
Yeah, that's
100%.
Dude, I definitely saw that. Some people
this is just
right away.
Yeah, this is just one of those demos that just don't make that makes it less fun for the...
Yeah, people were just playing it casual.
Regular.
Yeah.
Nah, not even
No,
casual.
yeah,
just
just
those who aren't used to it, you know?
Yeah.
Somebody in the Discord said it's like all the maps are gonna be new. You don't need to VOD review, and this is
I saw the same thing.
VOD review. And like half of these things are just taken from MCC and Block Wars. Literally, the whole water part is just what Block Wars does, but just
It is what it is.
I don't know, man. This is so far the worst game of the event. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I don't like it. Should have taken this out first.
Oof.
Yeah.
One player left and he's done. Oh no, not done. It's sub pound cake.
Yeah, it's over, I think, right?
Nope, there's one person left, I think. There's pancake.
Ah, okay.
Oh damn, wait. Like is that a skip right there? I don't think so.
Is Orbit still in? Is Orbit still doing it, or is he?
No. There's only one guy left. It's just counting.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, we're last place, by the way. Holy shit.
Yeah.
By far.
Hello, I've got on Defin. How did we do so bad?
I don't know. I mean, it's because like I thought we didn't need to VOD review.
Yeah, I thought we didn't need to VOD review. This is purely VOD review. I'm
like
pissed.
you just
they said, yeah, they literally said, oh yeah, everything's changed, you know.
But people definitely
no, not even that. Everybody, like when I asked about in the Discord like an hour or 2 hours before the event, I asked, yo, is this voice chat VOD reviewing and can I join? Somebody, like I think one or two people said, it replied straight to my message saying, you don't need to VOD review for this. Like what?
Yeah, it's kind of.
This entire game is VOD reviewing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
well.
pop off and spleef then.
Yeah. I mean, it's a multiply, like 3.5 multiply, so I mean, You never know.
Unless the first and unless all the top places just do really bad, I don't think this is happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, well.
that's bad.
Well, yeah, we can't win, but as long as we don't come last.
I'm just tilted because the people in the event just lied. It was just unfortunate. The layout changed, not the map. Yeah, but that's not what people said. People said don't.
Yeah, no,
VOD
people
review.
said like it's changed.
This whole event, you don't need to VOD review, nothing.
2,000
Not
points
even this game. Some
behind.
other games are also good for VOD reviewing just for strategies as well.
Can we get 2,000 points in the finale?
Doubt it. Well, no, we can't get 2,000 points on people, don't know.
Well, that's just spleef, right? This is just spleef.
Unless all 4 of us win multi-spleef, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
It's alright though. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
Am I
okay.
individual? I want to place top 20. I came 21st.
23rd. I'll take it.
You're 23rd?
Yeah.
I 18th still.
Two
Okay.
pushes ahead of me. No way, dude.
I'll take a top 20.
143 points. It's crazy. 2,800 points. Impossible. Honestly, guys, I'm waiting for kills in the multi-spleef.
Yeah, I mean, we might as well. Nothing to lose at this point. I don't think we can really come last. Like, last place is 2,000 points behind us.
Yeah.
So, we might as well just go for kills. Play a little bit more risky.
I'm just gonna go full aggro. I don't
That's
care
right, yeah,
anymore,
that's right, yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, just play
I'm
separate.
gonna try to grief the top team as much as I can. That's my
Yeah,
plan.
that's
Just-
smart.
yeah.
Everybody
What do
go
we set?
for
Wait,
question
stand
mark.
question mark.
Everybody question mark. Question mark.
I'm just swimming away.
Watch. There's gonna be another game that's just purely VOD review. How funny would that be?
Yeah.
No,
Well,
it's-
let's just split. Why not?
If it's another VOD review game, I'm quitting. I'm rage quitting. I swear to God, I'm rage quitting. I swear.
Wait.
Yeah, watch this be like survival games or something.
It's not an actual game, so.
It's just spleef, I think, right? Just instantly go spleef.
Free 1,000 points for each person. Surely.
It's
What is it?
One person voted ballistic bingo. Multis, and then, oh yeah.
Wait, it's possible to vote?
How did ballistic bingo get a vote? Yeah, I didn't know that.
Wait, how? Yeah.
Oh, we should have done that. But I'm pretty sure they do it manually though. They choose the game manually. So it doesn't really
Oh
matter.
yeah, so it is spleef. Okay, so this is just a scam then.
yeah, because that game is not hasn't been added.
Question mark
Yeah.
hasn't been added. That's what I'm trying to say.
Oh, okay.
Well, like I
Okay,
mean, I
so-
figured it might be like a
So
surprise.
with this, I could be completely wrong, but you get rockets that you can blow people up with. I can't remember if you do or don't.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
there's
just-
just a bunch of different things.
So the spleef changes every now and then,
Yeah.
and like blocks respawn, and then there's a border that slowly moves in. So just try not to stay too close to the edge because you can't see the border. Spleef is VOD review, yeah.
So there's
True.
6. Okay, damn, wait. No, there's 3. There's multiple sleeves. As
I
the
just
gun goes
typed it
down
out there.
and the type of sleeve changes, the map goes down. And
I'm pretty sure there's only one layer as well, by the way.
only one layer?
Oh wait, that's
Yeah.
kind of
It's like a
crazy.
I'm pretty sure it's like a bulky layer. That's why. I could be wrong, but as far as I remember, it's like a bulky layer.
Okay.
Yeah, map shrinks inwards and down.
Hey, as long as it's not a VOD game, we're fine, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
We
so
didn't
you
need to
know,
VOD
yeah,
review
you wanna
for
know where to mine.
this.
You wanna know where to mine and stuff.
Surely there's not some function to the spleef platform that we needed to VOD review, right?
And then we spectators call out as well, like.
Let's start the next round.
Okay.
There are like no sound effects in this event though, which sucks.
Did you just have them turned off, maybe?
Wait,
Oh, I
wait, is it
have
already
a
started? Oh no, okay.
Oh,
This is-
okay.
So the first one's probably gonna be like slow.
Wait, even
Yeah.
when I got hit by arrows in the arrow game, or hit people, I didn't get that ding.
Oh.
Weird.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whoa.
Wait, is there only one layer? Oh no,
there's
there's multiple
layers
layers.
below.
My bad.
I'm targeting all of pink. Where's pink? I don't care. Where's pink?
I see pink.
I see pink. Go for pink.
Pink's over by me and Boosfer.
Oh, you got snowballs as well.
Oh, 2 pink down, 2 pink down.
Try not to
Try and get
target
them off the top. Wait, you can't hit
I'm
me.
coming with you.
That's bad.
No,
Yo,
you
mind
just
the layer
target-
above you. Mind the layer above. Oh.
Tenacious
Happening
glass. Ice spleef. Oh yeah,
What
you
is
can fish and
happening?
rod people.
Oh, that's wacky.
Use hitboxes, dude. Yo, mine above you. Mine above you.
Oh shit, I'm on the last layer.
Why are
Okay,
you on
we
the
got
last
pink
layer,
down.
bro?
How didn't Nomad not fall there? That's crazy.
Okay.
How the fuck did Nomad not fall when I just did that? That's crazy. That's
Wait, what is
great.
this?
Oh, this is
You
just like, you
shoot.
have like an egg gun. This kind of sucks.
I'm dead. I am my first dead. I'm first dead. This
No
is
way, bro. No way, bro.
Bro, I was just getting targeted
Going
by
hard.
everyone. I was getting targeted by everyone. That's crazy.
Orbitz, what's happening, dude? We need to pop off
I
here.
spleefed
to
Nomad.
win.
I spleefed
Oh, shit.
Nomad, and they just didn't fall. By the way, they just walked over my blocks. They walked over void. They actually just like that.
Okay, I'm down a level.
I'm also down a level. There are still
I'm still on top
5
there.
people up top, dude.
Okay, nice.
Mind the layers above you, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I just fell down to it.
Oh. Yeah, I saw you fall down too.
Red Wings is getting killed.
Why am I getting targeted, bro?
Never knew.
Nice, that's good. That's a good kill.
I got another one.
Wait, this is the last. I'm on the final layer.
It ain't kind of a kill. That's fine. I got 0 points again. You serious?
I'm on the final layer, dude. No way.
Just don't stick together.
Nice bows. Oh, they take out a big chunk of space. Be careful.
Yep.
Alright, so there's 2 of you on the bottom layer and potato in the middle layer.
Shoot above you, Andres.
So annoying, I might know that.
Oh, I'm down 1.
Yeah, all of you are bottom layer right now.
I killed someone.
Oh, I almost just jumped off. Okay, we're good.
Oh, there's so many.
Bro, I need
layer,
to
bro.
pop off in the next 2 games, otherwise I ain't getting.
Oh wait, are there
top,
multiple games of this?
There's 3 rounds.
Okay.
Mine above you, mine above you, mine above you.
I need to pop up, otherwise I'm not getting top 20. Oh, AJX was going for damage and died.
I got somebody hooked.
Ah, I'm down.
You got like fishing with it off there.
No, I just got squeezed.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, I just put myself. I got peek.
I just got killing.
It's just you,
Nice.
Boosfer. It's just you. You're on your own.
What? No, please. Mercy.
The top teams are just like there's 3 different colors on the top, and they just ignore each other.
Yeah.
They just came to a pack. Like Ava could have easily got them, then and just left them.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't feel safe, bro. I
Oh,
got
nice,
somebody.
dude.
nice. That was good.
No!
Wow.
I got 3 kills. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's fine.
Yeah, you did good.
How the fuck do we only get 206 points?
Yeah.
But I died straight away.
Yeah.
Isn't it supposed to be 3x multiplier, bro?
No,
Wait,
yeah,
let me guess, let me guess.
on after.
Show them.
Let me guess. Survival is gonna give you a 300 points. Watch.
Probably.
Oh look
Yeah.
at Red Rabbits. They've only got 278.
No, like the
This guy
final
died
survivor is
on
gonna get 300 points. Watch. Oh my god, that's so small platform, dude.
Oh, Musk
Oh
is
my
teaming
god,
with the
everyone's gonna die here.
Yes! Red got targeted. Let's go.
Yeah, red
Oh,
cell,
Sandwich and Kalen spleefed each other. That's so
Oh, the
funny.
blue is just.
Dude, I hate that Firebreadman just never gets targeted, dude. Nobody ever targets him.
Well, there's
I'm
only
surprised
three
they
more
didn't
Scared
leave
of
him.
him.
Oh my god.
Ava could so easily get rid of Moxie here. But
Yeah, there
yeah,
we
like
go,
before.
dude.
Teaming on the top. That's kind of stupid.
Oh no, I mean it's smart. It's just annoying.
Wait, is 3 different teams teaming?
Pretty much. Yeah.
Nah, bro.
Oh, well, someone just died.
Please win, Lucky, please. They're just ignoring each other. Oh,
Nice,
Lucky,
okay,
nice.
pick out. Nice. Okay, that's good. We came last though.
Nah, cross teaming on the top layer, that is crazy.
Yeah, that's kind of.
That is insane.
Yeah, no teaming on the top. Come on now.
It's fine. We got this. I won't die straight away this time. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna try to stay passive, maybe.
I'm still targeting pink. I'm still targeting pink. Where's pink?
Bro, I see what you mean. Yeah, blue just got Yeah, you're right. They just got 400 points away.
I don't
That's
understand
crazy.
that.
Yeah,
Like,
you get
I'm just
so
gonna go
much
for
for
survival, I
survival.
guess.
Maybe it's just a strat to not even try and go for. Or you can just straight up shoot people with the bow. It's just like you shot someone.
Does it do
Shit just
knockback
shot
at
me
all?
down.
Nah.
Oh, wow.
I've just
Why
fallen.
am I getting shot from the top, bro?
I hate Lucky. I hate Lucky.
I'm at the
I hate
bottom
Lucky.
layer, bro. Wait,
Oh,
Qndres,
no.
Qndres, start mining the bottom layer. Start mining the entire bottom layer, bro.
Yeah, mine it out.
I
Mine
know
out.
because it regens. It regens. There's no point.
No,
but
I
you
mean,
mine
like,
it
if
out so
somebody
people
falls,
fall
if somebody
down.
falls,
Yeah.
Somebody, like, instantly falls, you know, you get kills. Mine, like, a big hole, big hole, big hole.
I'm on the bottom layer again. Are you serious? I need to stop going for kills. I don't want to be first dead again.
Mine the middle, like, mine the entire middle, dude.
And I'm chilling. I don't want to be first dead again. So I'm down bottom layer.
Why is somebody trying to... No way! Pound Cake is targeting me, bro. Nah, Pound Cake has to go. Pound Cake has to go, bro. I'm gonna chill, dude.
Bro! Oh, wait. Leave me
Okay, I got
alone.
one pink down.
Yeah, everyone just targeting me pink.
Bro, why is
Get
this
away
red
from
dude
me.
want me dead so bad? That's crazy. Bro, there's 3 of us on the bottom layer right now.
Good, good.
Oh yeah, the red outline is what's gonna fall.
Oh! Pound Cake! More like no cake!
Ooh,
Yo.
you got him.
There's like people around us. Let's just claim an area, yeah?
Go.
Okay, all the
That's
pink
a
are up the
lot
top
first,
layer.
Yeah, but that's
All the
first.
pink?
But we don't really
Yeah.
care though, do we? Like,
Shoot the
'cause
top,
there
shoot
is
the top layer.
we're not really in competition. It's more line we need to worry about because they're the ones we're actually in competition.
Well, no, who cares about getting a lot? I mean, I don't know, man.
Dude, no way, bro. Oh, this guy got
Yo, DGC's cracked. They're just flying.
lag. Oh my god, somebody fell through everything!
I mean, that was terrible.
Five man just fell through everything!
I got pixel craft.
No! Bro!
Orbitz are trolling.
What's happening, dude? You're trolling.
Oh, they just hey, like, bro. Every single time someone like sees me, they just go for it. It's actually crazy.
Shoot the top layer, shoot the top layer. Oh, never mind.
This is a this is such a safe one as well.
Yeah, dude, what were you doing, bro, Orbitz?
I'm
Qndres
actually
behind you,
fine. I'm
behind you,
not
Qndres,
gonna
behind you,
go
Qndres, behind you, behind you, behind you, behind you,
So
behind
it's just yellow and red basically not killing each other on the top again. Like, what is this?
for it.
you. Call out cross teaming, call it out, call it out, call it out.
Crazy costume, actually.
I'm just gonna survive, dude.
I'm on the bottom layer, shoot.
Oh, nice. Be careful, silver.
I'm dead. Not much I can do. Like, they're just teaming on the top level. That's so stupid. Like, there's nothing you
Oh,
can
man.
do about it.
I don't know, man. I mean, the top level is eventually gonna get out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter if they're teaming like.
Dude, why are they, like, doing this? This is my area, relax, Roscus.
I mean, there's a reason why they're top, 2 and 3.
Top layer, up and down, dude. Why am No, relax.
Oh wait, 2 of you are still alive. Get off the red. Get off the red.
What the fuck?
What just happened?
You fell through like the gap. There's like a gap in there.
I thought the entire layer gets regenerated.
Yeah. And well, no, the red, not the red part. Apparently.
Unlucky.
It just fell right
The
there.
Reducer just shot someone off. Oh no, Kalen did. Yellow are gonna. Yellow. I think it's gonna be yellow and red.
I think we're
like
just
both.
scoping, guys. I think we're just scoping. We're just.
Yeah, I mean, it's over at this point. There's no way we win.
Yeah, but we can't finish below lime. Like we're losing to lime right now,
Our
I mean-
points are tripled here.
which is my fault.
We literally lost because people told us that we shouldn't VOD review, and they just straight
Yeah.
up.
Well, I mean, I
And
still
then
should have
they-
VOD reviewed
and
anyway.
no, and then they specifically kept that game that needs VOD review for last as well.
Yeah, but
Of
we should have just
course.
VOD reviewed. That's our own fault. That we should have just VOD reviewed.
No, we were told to not VOD review, so we
Yeah,
didn't.
but just be
and we-
like, it's, yeah, I don't know.
Had that
I
map been in Mayhem before?
Yeah, it has been. But apparently they made little changes to it.
Yeah, they said that there's gonna be
Never been
new.
to
So like,
Mayhem.
what's the
Let's
point of
go.
VOD review?
Now I know
Yeah, none of us
VOD
are.
review every time.
Yeah.
What review any tournament? So kind of I mean, it was my fault for going in blind.
Well,
But
to be
it's
fair,
our
Boosfer,
fault.
me and Boosfer were gonna go with the draw, so.
Yeah, okay.
I was gonna VOD review a game if it specifically requires VOD reviewing, but like people just said this is highly PvP, right? It doesn't need VOD review, so I was like, chilling, yeah. Maybe watch the update video and I'm fine, but then it just wasn't.
Just hold right click. I didn't realize.
Did you just shoot at me, Orbitz?
I didn't mean to.
Did you just shoot at me? Now you're dying. You're dying. You're dying. You're dying. You're dying. You're dying.
No,
you're dying.
bro, please. Actually, bro. No, I want to finish in the top 20. I'm not going to now.
Dude, everybody target Orbitz. Let's get him out first again. Did you get out first, like, in the both rounds?
No, I didn't get out
wasn't
first last time.
Boosfer, me.
I was first the first round. We still runs with blow. Killer. How are people just... Bro! This dude is floating! I'm chasing them and they're just floating! What is this?
We're just shipping at each other. Dude.
I'm
gonna try to stay on top layer so I can like kill them, dude. So I can kill the people that are teaming. That's just cringe, dude.
Again, I think the strat with the ice one at least is just to mine above you. Just break the top layer, get him down.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Yeah, the top layer is usually like so peaceful.
I haven't spoofed anyone yet, by the way, because every time I mine someone, they just don't fall down. Killer. I'm not even gonna shoot anyone on this one. I'm just gonna run. Fuck it.
I mean, yeah, that's probably the move with this at least.
No, I need points. I need points. I'm just gonna get eliminated if I don't get points. What? Who is shooting? Someone shot me. Someone shot down at me. That's crazy. I hate it. I actually hate them. No. They're just a hater. There was no need to shoot down there. I don't know why they shot down at me.
What?
Bro, how am I fault? Nah. Bro. EU ping is actually throwing me.
I'm telling you, EU ping is throwing. It's EU ping. It's EU ping.
Bro, I'm mining people, and they're just standing over my mined block. Nah, Spleef has got to go. Spleef has got to go.
I need to get people, dude. I need to get somebody, dude. Everybody caught on the top here is just shifting, dude.
Nah, Spleef needs to go. Spleef needs to go. Because I'm mining people and they're just not falling.
I'm the only one at the top that just doesn't.
Yeah, I'm dead. I'm out again. I'm out. I'm not even getting top 20. This is crazy.
I'm dead.
I think that might actually be the worst Spleef performance, by the way.
Oh, I didn't kill anyone either. I killed no
I died like first, then like fourth, and then second. That's actually the worst. I think that might be the worst Spleef performance.
Hey,
and then Mayhem ever. Hey, new record. I want to ask you in the Discord.
I don't think we'll get last though, because Lion's second place. So that's good at least.
I'm gonna fucking die somewhere here, dude. Why am I getting targeted? I don't get it. Everybody's at the bottom just shooting at me, dude. Dude, like...
Unlucky. Yeah.
I just got fully targeted by every single person at the bottom, man. Like, look at the top. Look at the top. It's three different teams.
Yeah. Again, I think that's kind of a problem that people can.
Oh, by the way, we all got joint 7th in div on the Valorant one, by the way.
Okay.
On the CS:GO one. That's cool.
Like, bro, why is cross teaming even a thing, dude?
I mean, I guess
any
might as well.
Yeah, any like, there's no way to enforce it, I guess, unless you make it like a norm. I don't know.
And they can enforce it by just being like, if you do it.
No, they could just make something like if people refuse to shoot for a little bit, they get something like slowness or something.
GG's.
Like everybody has to always be aggro, you know?
Yeah.
Something like that. But I guess any Spleef game in any event could, like, I'm surprised nobody's doing that.
No, I did horrible, Bablu. Bablu, did you sign up for the next one? Hope you did, bro. Hope you did. I asked the team with you, by the way. I literally said Bablu. Bro, we'll talk after, Bablu. We'll talk after. We'll talk after.
I don't think we should get 8th here.
It wasn't even like people who it wasn't even the people who survived at the top. It was specific people who just specifically didn't target each other because they probably just had an agreement from before, you know? It's
yeah. I never know.
Because I still got spleef when I was at the top. Nobody was calm against me. I mean, I wasn't calm against anybody.
Bro, I was just mining people, and I was like, I just saw them running over gaps on my screen. I was just getting screwed over by penguins.
Oh, we got 7th. Hey, we take that.
We take that as a win. I mean, I enjoyed that, though. I still enjoyed that.
I mean, we got predicted to be 6th by somebody, so we let them down. Unfortunate.
True, unfortunate. Okay.
Wait, so who made top 2? Who made top 2?
Yellow and pink.
Let's see.
And they were the 2 teaming at the top. That was the agreement. Yeah. It was that yellow, pink, and what team is that? Oh yeah, it was literally yellow and pink.
Booster's on top of me.
Yeah.
Dude, oh my god.
Well, apparently they went from 6th to 1st.
Oh no, wait, me and you were 26, 27.
No! We
honestly ain't bad. I'm not mad. For my first event.
Oh man, it's just that last game.
A little bit. How do I drop? Like, I guess I know I had a really bad speed performance, but dropping from 18th to 23rd is crazy.
Like, we didn't do anything. So.
Yeah, try. At least we're together, Potatopie.
Yep.
How did I drop 18th to 26th out of 32 people? That was horrendous. I mean, to be fair, I jinxed myself. I literally said it. I'm gonna prove you all wrong by finishing bottom 5, and and I finished bottom 6. So I kind of proved them all because everyone was predicting like top half.
Well, what's the final event?
So the 1v1 game.
Okay. Do we have to stick around for this?
Yeah. We don't have to. It's fun to though. It's Bridge Bonanza.
Oh, so just bridges.
So it's just bridge. Okay.
It's just bridges. Come on, you stick around for it. Why not? You might as well see the entire event out.
Whatever. Fair enough.
Oh, bro. Bottom 6. And you know what though? You know, I played crap so that they like Bruce. Remember what we talked about? I mean, Bruce was deafened. Bruce was deafened.
Who's talking to us?
Bruce was deafened.
Yep.
We said we made like a joke about playing crap. So we get like a buff team.
Oh my god, chat. Honestly, I think me and Boosfer played this really well. You know, GG's to everyone though. I mean, I think I probably should have gotten more points toward the other like PvP game modes, but I'm not sure if you guys saw my frames were like 60 at one point until I finally learned that I can do 2. Oh, I'm just died. Oh wait. Oh, so just. Oh, okay. Literally just run to the. Oh my god. You just don't want to. Oh my god. Wait. Okay, cool. I think you can clutch, I guess, right? Okay. I mean, there's also a lot of people that played. I mean, now I know how to play this. You know, for my first event, I like this. I actually like this a lot. And shout out to the MC Mayhem team. W event. I ain't gonna complain. I could have played better. You know. But again, like I said, my first event, I did honestly. I expected to do worse. I told myself that I was gonna get like top 20. But hey, obviously, sorry to the believers. I'm so sorry to the believers. I did indeed not get top 8. Satch. That means I have to kiss Boosfer shiny bald head. Thanks for following, Monkey. Appreciate it. You did good. Thank you. For my first ever event, pretty good. I'll take that as a dubs. I will take that as a W. So like what? It's the first one just to get 3 goals? Okay. Like right here, they get 1, right? Oh my god, no way. Oh, that's close. It JC just going in. Ava JC is just going in right now. Oh, well, they got 2 people camping them. You know what I would do? I would just go literally W key. Just W key and just place blocks. That's always what works with me. Okay. How do I do this? There you go. It's actually pretty cool though. Bridges says final. Round over. Wait, what? Oh damn, they scored. Okay. Damn. I'm going for a golden grapefruit right now. Low key. Let's see what they have to go. Wait, who are you guys rooting for?
Pink.
I kind of don't care. I don't really know anyone in either of these teams. So
Yeah, low.
yeah, yellow would be cool to see come from behind because they weren't even in the top for most of the game, honestly. I popped off in Spleef.
Thanks, fellow killer. Appreciate it. GG's, GG's. Yeah.
GG's.
I mean, I won't.
Yeah, it's the first event. What can I say, you know? Oh my god, Red Dunes. Wait. Oh, they got the point. Damn. Damn. Yo, Mika, thank you for the 5 gifted. Wait. Yeah, I was gonna say, wait, it didn't pop up. Yo, Mika, I appreciate you so much, Mika.
Has gifted a sub
W
to
Mikas, thank you so much, Mikas. Thank you. Chat, by the way, I'm not upset, by the way, chat. I'm literally not upset. Well, I am upset, but for myself. But, like, not toward anyone. I'm just,
Mikas has gifted a sub
I feel like I could have played way better. I definitely could have played this 10 times better. Thank you, Mikas. Appreciate you. Mikas, make sure you type in Discord, by the way, so I can give you a rank on the Discord. The Quimp rule.
Mikas has gifted a sub to kind of.
Give you the... Yeah, the roll. The cool roll, the big boy roll.
Mikas has gifted a sub to TST cookie _.
Did get the VOD? Yeah, we just didn't. I didn't know we were supposed to VOD review like that, and apparently everyone was VOD reviewing. But like the multiple people that I asked, they just said like, "Oh, you're good. You guys are good to go into Raw." So you know, I didn't really. You got it twice. So I'll roll the Quimp roll. The Quimp roll. You'll see. You'll see. Just talk in Discord real quick, and I'll give it to you. Just talk in general. Yeah, I kind of like the music too. Is this soundtrack on Spotify? I like this song. All right, I got Donawald. Yo, 77 lice. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's fine. Hopefully, if we are in next event, we do way better. I'm not right. W. Hello, lice. Hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, how art thou? The water section. Honestly, you know what I actually hated the most? The elytra section, actually. That didn't make any sense to me. Because I didn't know you have to double jump, or you have to like jump right when you hit on blue. Like, you know, people, hey, maybe like a little hologram that says jump on me or something, you know? That's just me though. On YouTube, oh, I bet. Oh, I wish it was on Spotify though. So I can just make because it's like a good, like, you know, practice parkour or something. Really, really good parkour. Practice parkour for myself. Practice event, my bad. Wait, what? When you die in hard, you can go medium and get medium hard points. Thanks for follow fair line, appreciate it. My voice grin. W. Yes, Joker, you lost points. I'm so sorry. I failed you. I failed you. My bad, my bad. Listen, I started to like panic. Okay, the first 5 games, and I started to like shake. I'm not sure if you guys saw, but I started to like, literally shake. Wait, they literally just. Oh my god, I was gonna say they were just going all in. No way, they just win. Wait. No, they don't. Wait a second, there's a sneaky snail down there though. Wait, they don't know. Or do they? Wait, is there someone on there? Oh, it's not. Never mind. Tripping. Wait. Oh. They're all there again. 4 there. What? He is busted. Look right there. Look. Look. Wait. Wait. Right there. See? He's I'm gonna do the next one too. I'm gonna do the next one. Oh no! Wait. GG's. Right? That's GG's, right? Yep, that's GG's. GG. GG's. Nice. Well, GG's. Okay, that's GG's. That is GG's, chat. That is GG's. I think that's it though, right? Is that it? I don't know if that's it. Is that it? Wait, Wolves will beat the. Wait, what? Is that it for the event chat? Is that it? Is that wraps? Hope so. I think so. I think that's the event. I think so. Oh. GG, guys. Bum, 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 bum. My teams are all muted, chat. My team is literally all muted. Thank you for hosting.
Yo, GG's was fun.
GG's, yeah. Thanks for teaming, boys. Thanks for this group.
No problem.
I didn't know next time I should probably VOD review.
Probably VOD review, yeah. Practice a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, before.
But is what it is.
Yep. GG's though.
GG's.
Bum, 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 bum. Yikes, chat. Oh, is Boosfer gonna mute? Boosfer. In a penguin accent, because I'm not entirely sure. Yeah. It's yeah. I think it's it. Everyone's leaving. Okay. I think that is it for Mayhem. That is it for Mayhem. Hello?
Yo, what's up?
Yo, GG's.
Yo. GG's.
Next time I know to VOD review.
Yeah, and also I feel like we would just I don't know, they did a mistake of putting 4 people that are new at the event. Like I don't understand how they put 2 pairs of players who know each other but they're both new at the event together when we don't like there was no reason for them to put 2. No, me and you, we knew each other, and then Orbitz and Potato Pipe knew each other. Why they would smash these 2 pairs of new players together makes no sense when the rest of the teams have at least like 3 players that have played in the event before. It just makes no sense. I don't know. We needed at least 1 experienced player in the team to tell us that we need to review. And we were lost on the bingo. We were lost at the beginning of the first game as well. And all of that could have been avoided if we just got 1 player that knew the event, that have played in the event before, you know. But,
that's right.
I don't know. Yeah. We're just bad. We're just everything bad I said about the event is we're just coping. We're just petty. We're just petty that we lost. Yeah. The event is fire.
I'm playing Crispy with you right now.
Fuck that.
I just lost because I just jumped up. Nice W on Qndres.
Your ass. Okay, well, thank you for having me. I'm gonna jump off.
You're gonna jump off? All right. Bet.
Yeah, because it's like almost midnight.
Oh, yeah,
for me.
you're
I gotta
right.
jump off.
You're right.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
All right, good night, buddy. Thanks
Good
for
luck
tuning.
with the rest of your stream.
I love
Yeah,
you,
thank you,
Bye-bye.
thank you. Peace.
All right, Edentria. Oh, hello, Mr. HT.
I was gonna say, thank you for playing the event. It was
No,
fun
thank
watching
you for
us
hosting.
perspective.
Thank you for hosting. Or wait, what are you? You're the.
The project lead.
Thank you for being the project lead. I appreciate you.
Well, thank you for playing it. It's always fun to watch people play. It's what you create. It's
I
just-
do have a question.
Yes.
Thank you for hosting. I have a question. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yo, Arrow, thanks for the raid. How was the stream, bro?
Oh, that's funny. Have a nice day.
Actually, okay, no, I do actually have a question.
Okay, I did see the big thing. I was watching y'all's perspective, and I realized where we went wrong. Yes, we did not intend y'all to put y'all in a lot of newbies. I noticed that.
Yeah, that's a. Oh, wait, one sec. Yo, double raid. Yo, Boost, thanks to the raid, bro. Hello, Boosfer Raiders. Hello, guys. Hello. I'm currently talking to one of the admins of the server. Also, if you guys want to duel me, get on MCPUP Club, and yeah, duel me. Sorry, I'm back. Yeah, that's the thing that I saw. Like, was our team the only team was brand new?
Originally it was also going to be Lime, but then Shane got subbed in. We were trying, like, I realized where we went wrong. We were trying to make it so that we paired people up that click well together instead of, like, because we want the people to have fun playing with their friends. So that was not intentional with the experience. The reason it was just more we've had situations in the past where we've had some just immature players get paired with new players.
That
so
makes
it
sense.
just. Well, I'll make sure to bring that up to the team makers. I'm really sorry that happened.
No, you're good.
I also will note on the cross teaming. We will also be a little bit more.
Yeah,
we'll figure out
that
some way
cross
on that.
teaming killed some teams. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, I think didn't a whole team get like second place or first place? Cross teaming? I don't know, but regardless, definitely for the future. Things to
And
look
also, you didn't hear this from me, but next event, the racing game is getting a rework.
Okay, good.
So that's also just something I want to know. We are trying to make it better for newcomers by making it obvious where the skips are and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
that's another thing. Because we were told to not VOD review at all because everything was going to be new. So we were
I was shocked to hear that. I was like, wait, that's not right. I am so like, if you tell me who did that, because I will bring that up to the host team, because that was just kind of either it was like a mistake, because yes, the layout got completely reworked of the entire course. But that's kind of what I think people were applying.
Okay.
So I'm sorry to hear that.
No, you're good. Also, will there be like what's it called, a practice server for the event? Or is it NDA?
I'll answer that question. I'll answer that question, not Johnny. Because he's not allowed to talk about it. Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay. Maybe. I like that answer. Wait. So, are you retired? Or are you like W? Are you still on the team?
So I'm the project lead. He's more of helping.
Johnny's the project lead. I retired from the dev team. I just come here once a month to make sure stuff doesn't break.
Gotcha. So who am I suing? Because Solomon, guaranteed me 3x points every single game. Who is this lawsuit going to? Who am I gonna? You answer that question? Yeah. Who's answering that? That's it.
My lawyers have said not.
Oh wait, your lawyer. Okay, well, you know what? They might have lawyers. Those are your lawyers, bro.
Yeah. You can sue Shalom, but we'll pay for the legal fees. So.
Okay. Wait. So did you hear the question, or like did you? I'm guessing you heard some of the things that happened. About the whole teams.
Basically, I'll explain. So you know how people cross team on the top layer, multiplayer. Basically, it is blatantly becoming a problem.
Well, not sorry, not that. It was the whole we're like the only newbie team, I guess.
Oh yeah, that also. Yes.
Yeah.
We did not know that until like right now. We're like, wait, hold up, we're the only newbie team, but it's cool. It was our first time. We know now.
It's the only newbie team. It's unfortunate. With this insight and team making, because I did help this. Orbitz. This team was built around Orbitz, and that's why I pushed Orbitz and told you guys to VOD review. Oh, well, I told Orbitz to tell you guys to VOD review a lot. But yeah,
Or
well, Mr. Qndres, because you do have 72 viewers.
Wait, I do?
Currently, yeah, you do.
I'm back. Hello.
Yeah, well, good. There's another event in 2 weeks' time.
Oh.
Which is MC Mayhem 24.
Oh.
And don't know if anyone in the chat cares, but teams for it are coming out tomorrow.
What?
So
Already?
Oh, I just lied to my chat. I didn't know you were announcing it. I lied to my chat. Told them I didn't know it.
I'm not. It's not being announced for 20 minutes, but I'm just popping around streamers. So yeah, teams tomorrow for the next one.
Oh, you bet.
Kenzies, DM me my team, please.
I just need to check with team makers first to check balancing, then I will DM you your team.
Well, yeah. I mean, after this, I go to 26.
If you got in.
If I got in.
Yo, but everything aside, thank you for hosting. I appreciate it so much. That's actually a fun event. For my first event,
Thank you very much.
It was very, very fun.
You've been trying to sign up since 22. I'm glad you finally got.
Yes,
got in.
I know. Right?
Yeah, I can make it.
You know how long I've been waiting
Yeah.
for, right?
Yeah.
I remember I DM'd what 22?
Yeah.
I think it was 21.
Yeah. 22. Orbitz has been waiting for since 22 too. Yeah.
I wanted to get in bad, but hey, I'm glad this is my first event, and hopefully I can beat him more. This is fun.
Yeah, but yeah, lot still to go. We've got a lot of changes still unreleased that we've coded. So the next 2 events are gonna be
Get
very
Shalom
fun.
to keep coding. Yep. Keep him coding.
He's coded everything until January. We don't need any more.
No, we need more. We need that one more game. Listen, hey, yo, between me and you, hey, listen, survival games. just saying, make your own twist.
Survival game.
Survival game. You
Oh,
know what?
I'd love survival games.
Maybe
I'd love
like
survival
maybe
games.
like an ultra hardcore game mode. I don't know.
Oh yeah, wait, Kenzies.
Well, Qndres, now I'm not on the testing team. Like 3 months time, me and you team. Yeah.
I bet. Yo, for sure. Yo, I'm telling you, give me some time to practice, bro. This is my first event. Listen, this is my first event. Give me time to, get better, get my team comms go. I'm not gonna lie, my comms kind of sucked that whole game. Not gonna lie.
Wait, Kenzies.
Yes, Mr. Insaneorbitzz.
Did I get the world record for the worst spleef performance?
No, you didn't.
No.
What split performance? Yeah.
Wow.
If you count tests, no.
No, we don't count tests.
Oh.
Thema birthday was horrible.
Wait, where do those things go up? Oh wait, they're here.
Oh, yeah.
I want to see how
I've now got 29 VODs to watch.
Oh.
So I'm gonna have a fun next few days. I want to watch every VOD. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We didn't do that bad. Wait, I'm looking at the. Wait, where did I do good? Oh, we did. Oh, yeah. GOTC. What's that again? GOT. That's
Guardians of
the Chamber.
Yeah, we don't talk about that one, dude. Listen, I also did it really bad because, dude, I was shaking because this is my first event. I was shaking the whole time, dude. I couldn't. I just couldn't for some reason fight, dude. Every time I went to a fight, I would shake. I was nervous. I don't know.
We had no movement Andes on our team, by the way. Every single team had movement Andes, and all the movement teams came last. All the movement games came last. We got screwed over so badly.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah. It was fun. Snipping into the combat cube. How did what y'all think of combat cube? That was
fun.
I clutched on half a heart.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was insane.
Yeah, I saw that with you and Misty. Yeah.
Oh, that was insane.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of your clips on your teams because you've had a lot of good moments.
Hey, me?
Wait, when does the highlight come out?
Me?
Is there highlights?
100.
There will be highlights coming out. Will be highlights for everyone. So we'll do top. It won't be top 10. We'll just do best moments.
Okay, that sounds sick.
Yeah.
Oh, but thank you guys for hosting once again. This is a fun event.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Hope I get invited to more. Smiley face. Face. Nudge, nudge. Please invite me to more.
Well, you'll find out in about an hour. So.
Ooh, about an hour? Wait, what? Winky face, nudge, nudge. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you guys for hosting. I'm out of here. I will see you later. Peace out, guys.
Yeah.
Love y'all.
You too. Have fun.
Bye. Chat. W staff members. Yo, chat. Can we get some hearts for them? They are amazing. They literally came to my chat and made sure we're all cool. Hey, I'm cool. Chat, I'm cool. I am literally cool, chat. Okay, let me get out of here. W staff. But chat, I have to get going. I have not slept. Oh, by the way, that's another thing. Chat, I'm literally on 3 hours of sleep with only 200 milligrams of caffeine. Like, hello? Is that even normal? 3 hours of sleep? Sheesh, man. All right, chat. If y'all are new, join the Discord. Join the Discord if you're cool and you're PogChamp, okay? If you're not cool in PogChamp, still join the Discord and say hi to me in there, okay? But I am gonna go. I am gonna rate someone. Oh, I can rate FaZe Ray. Cool. Copy. Or I can rate this person. I will rate this person. Okay. Chat. I'm gonna go. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for being here. Make sure you guys give Sandwich Lord a follow and like the stream and tell him W win. Chat, say W win. W win. Or no, that's actually W means W. W means win. W team. There you go. W team. Chat. Say that in their chat, okay? All right. Thank you guys for watching the stream. I will love you all tomorrow and the next day and forever. Okay. Bye guys. Peace out. 07s. Bye. Love y'all. Thank you guys for watching the stream. Peace out. Bye. Maybe stream tomorrow, actually. Yeah, stream tomorrow. Just join the damn Discord. Just join the Discord right now. Look, if you join the Discord right now, I will say your name. I will say your name right now, the Discord. Yo, Naughty Longlegs, thanks for joining the Discord. Yo, Reaper, thanks for joining the Discord. Yo, Mark Ian, thanks for joining the Discord. Oh my god. Lolly Aloran, thanks for joining the Discord. Thanks for joining the Discord. Alright guys.